Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the Chaos Clash, baby. It's time for Sigmar. We got the Empire update. Very excited for this, but these are our top 4 players. We have Tim the Wilder facing off against Lord Chicken Feed in the first series. In the second series, it's going to be Hitman Hippo versus House Cat of War. And for anybody wondering how to get involved in these events in the future, all of these events have open qualifiers on Total Tavern. So essentially, you just play in one of the qualifiers, and if you reach top 4 of the respective qualifier, then you're going to be qualifying for this event. So it's open to anybody. You just got to practice and beat some of these very, very sweaty players indeed. For Sigmar, for the Hammer, indeed, we do have some pretty sweaty games coming up. Get ready for it, man. Get ready. So like I said, first series here today is going to be Tim the Wilder facing off against Chicken Feed. Hitman Hippo versus House Cat of War is going to be the second series that we cast. There will be a third place match as well. So the first round is going to be best of 3. The second on the bottom side will also be best of 3. Finals best of 5, and third place will be best of 3 as well. So that's it. Come on, ogres. I wonder if we see an ogre game. Yeah, it could be an ogre match today. Who knows? Yeah. Fun times are here. So only restrictions we have in place for the tournament are going to be the Thunder Barge. The Thunder Barge is incredibly broken, and it has not yet been fixed, so the Thunder Barge is going to be banned for today's tournament. Aside from that, we don't really have any restrictions. You can pretty much go hog wild on whatever else you're interested in. Yes. Cursed allergy season, yes. House Cat of War is a great name, it really is. It is. It's going to be great. We've got a hippo versus a cat in the second series, and we got Tim versus some chicken food in the first match. Well, without further ado, let's waste no more time. As much fun as I have sitting here chatting with you guys, we're going to jump into the first match and get it going. So game 1 should be loading up here on the screen in a second. Yes, there it is. Precious is going to be Tim the Wilder bringing in the classic sweaty greenskins, facing off against Lord Chicken Feed, who is going to be rocking Karl Franz on Deathclaw, as well as a landship on the other side as well. So the landship here, a very nice tool against the greenskins. Although, here's one thing, the basic landship does not cause terror. So if you want to get the big nasty chain terror routes against the greenskins, I would probably recommend bringing the variant of the landship that does cause terror, the ROR. But let's break it down for the Empire, and let's see what's going on with this old army right here. So for the Lord kit, it is going to be Karl Franz. Now, Karl Franz is a pretty respectable fighter, and since he got his HP buff in the update, he got plus 1000 HP, he's going to be much more resilient against the greenskins and that small arms fire, so he's going to hang in there like an absolute champ. You got to love the electric counts coming in game 1, right? On the side, going to be spearmen, so mostly just chaff units. Typically against the greenskins in the front line, you don't want to put super good quality troopers because that's when the greenskins come in, they do a ton of shock damage on the charge. So you want to throw units that have relatively respectable melee defense while also being a little bit cheaper. So it is going to be swordsmen in the front, backed up by huntsmen. Huntsmen are there to shoot against squigs and warboy biggins, very, very standard. The landship is just a very disruptive chariot, which has broadside shooting coming in here from the handgunners. Also frontal cannons. It's extremely good. Landships are amazing in my opinion. And Franz is just there to terror out and look super cool and send a message to his opponent. Now for Tim the Wilder, it is going to be a classic sweaty greenskins. The greenskins did get some nerfs in this patch. And so far, it's very limited. We've had about 3 or 4 tournaments since the update has come out. The greenskins have been, it doesn't seem quite as rough as it was before. Squigs got a cost increase, warboy biggins got a cost increase, and little changes like that can add up to make it a little bit more smooth. Yeah, the games today are replays, which is great. So it's going to be smoother, there's not going to be any lag, and we can get it going. So Savage Orc Airboy is also quite a nice unit. What's cool about them is they're very fighty, so if you try and dive them with some cav, they can actually fight back relatively well. They do struggle against armored cavalry, so Empire Knights can shut them down, but typically the Empire in the Greenskin matchup will utilize its terror to do very well. And look at that, Goblin Great Shaman already out of the gates. Look at this guy, he's got his little cane here, shooting a nice shot at Karl Franz and immediately scurrying into the tree line. An itchy nuisance indeed, as Franz loses about 200 HP from that missile, so yeah, not too terrible. Now, what's cool about this system is we can do a little bit of fast forwarding while the players jockey for position. Now, domination mode is very different now. The objectives open instantly. So basically, there used to be this phase of players really, really kind of playing around and, taking their time to engage. Now, that still does happen. People like to build up their forces. Like, for example, you might load into a domination game and see, oh, my opponent has something that I don't know how to handle. So you got to dig into your toolbox, or you don't have the tools to handle. So you dig into your toolbox and look for something that can handle it and try and build up a critical mass of those. That's why you often see build-ups and people taking their time. Outriders are going to be the call-in for the Empire for Lord Chicken. Outriders did get reworked, and honestly, I think they're quite a bit better now. You know, previously with the Empire, you would mostly see like war wagons and whatnot, right? But now I'm seeing a lot of Outriders being used. I've seen them in a handful of matchups, and they don't seem bad at all. So the land ship is patrolling the lines. This thing is so ridiculous. Look at it. Oh my god. Yeah, land ship's pretty great. Yeah. But it doesn't shoot cannons from the broadside. It needs to be facing what it's going after for it to shoot the cannon. So here it would only be shooting a 10-gun fire, which I think is intentional from Lord Chicken. I think he's just kind of sitting back and making sure that, you know, the Greenskins respect his authority here. On the other side, we do have Squigs as well as Savage Orc Airboys, and Savage Orcs moving in with the Goblin Shaman. And is it going to be double Goblin Shaman? Vindictive Glare, and don't even try it. Okay, so they're just going after old Franz. Yeah, you can see magic missiles flying everywhere. Fran's going to get an Earthblood right there, which will mitigate the damage that just came in. But the Greenskin Wall is here. Now, here is, as somebody who mains Empire in competitive play, my one thing about the Empire against Greenskins is do not give them a wide engagement. If you take a really wide battle line and engage them across a wide battlefield, they're going to pound for pound beat you down because Orc Boys, Squigs with the wall active, it's rough. You need to make your engagements a little bit more kind of focused on a smaller surface area and use your terror to really win those fights. But so far, the Empire shooting not doing badly. We see the Squig herds getting melted, and that's a really nice play by Lord Chicken. Because basically, Lord Chicken popping those Squigs, forcing them to rampage, and now they're going to be rampaging into, you know, Spearmen, which is basically a hard counter against them. We also see the dreaded land ship of Marienburg shooting across, and the Squigs are like, screw this, we're going back to eat some mushrooms. Certainly not fun for them, as they do flee the scene. But now the Greenskins are going to be on their way in, and it is going to be a big angry wah. Objective number 2, taken by the Greenskins, Outrider fire. Very respectable. Karl Franz going to be trying to hold down the western flank of the battlefield, preparing to engage against the Greenskins here. And he has some nice applications here. He does have magic damage, so against the Savage Orc Boys, you have physical resist. He's going to be doing the full amount of damage, which is quite good. But typically, the best way to use Franz is to engage him with like some cheap Empire Knights and have him augment their abilities here. So the Squigs come crashing into the front line. The Huntsman immediately going to be retreating into the woods as the State Troopers try and hold back the tide of the Squigs. On the other side, we get Goblins engaging versus the, I believe, Grundle's Defender. So they're a pretty decent Spearman unit. They have almost 50 melee defense. Actually, 52. That's really, really good. Yes, we do see the land ship trying to hold it down on this side as well, but the Savage Orc Airboys pouring in some pretty good firepower against the land ship, which does have a 90 armor, but no sort of missile resist of any type. It's not like a steam tank, which has that like huge missile blocking percentage depending on which direction it's facing. But the Prince and Emperor is going to be landing in the middle against the Green Tide and trying to hold them back, supporting the Grundle's Defenders, which are holding quite valiantly, defeating a Goblin unit, holding back a Savage Orc unit. But this is where it gets extra crunk, ladies and gentlemen. The wall going down in the valley here. 2,900 value here for the Greenskins against 1,900 for the Sons of Sigmar. And that is going to be a massive damage buff. But the Sigmarites are holding relatively well so far. Fran's trying to hold down the flank over here. And the land ship just kind of sitting and broadside shooting at whatever Greenskins it can. I think it was a pretty colossal mistake here for the Empire not to bring the ROR land ship, which has grenade launchers. The ROR land ship is much better against mass infantry, whereas this land ship is, you know, it's good against the Boar Boy Biggins, I suppose. That's where it would be better than the other one. But the Imperial lines seem to be collapsing a little bit. The land ship is folding up. The Greenskins seemed amply prepared for this build. The Goblin Great Shamans putting a lot of magic damage down on the land ship with those Vindictive Glares and don't even try it. It's getting melted pretty effectively. So now the land ship's going to be moving across and trying to help out against the old Savage Orcs here. But the lack of terror, I think, is really, really hurting. Yes, Franz causes terror, but there's a lot more terror that the Empire can bring. On this side, the Imperial flank looking pretty rough. Lord Chicken Feed here. Going to be losing his Jade Wizard, maybe. No, it looks like the Jade Wizard is able to get away, but not before he takes a massive beating from those Savage Orcs. Spearman holding and Spearman holding here, but honestly, it looks like the Empire is going to start folding up, and they are down on points as well. You can see a massive value lead for Tim the Wilder. 6.8 against 3.3, absolutely brutal. And a lot of that is damage on the land ship, you know, admittedly, which is expensive, but not as much as you would think. Land ships only cost like 1,700. I think they should cost as much as steam tanks. From my anecdotal experience, I think they're a little bit undercosted, but, you know, we'll see what happens. So land ship rolling through the boys, the blood roar of Karl Franz and Deathclaw active, so you can see the leadership starting to get a little bit fickle for the Greenskins, but overall, this is looking very, very tough for the forces of Sigmar. They're pinned back on 1 point. And we see, Sterling's Revenge coming up RORs, but we see the land ship and Franz taking an absolute hammering right here, ladies and gentlemen. And even though Franz isn't doing badly, he's still pretty healthy and he's fighting well, doing a lot of damage. I just think the Empire just took too much of a beating early on. And that is exactly the point I wanted to articulate about going wide against the Greenskins. you want to play narrow and have like a smaller formation, force them to crash into it, and then push out using your terror and really powerful single entities, in my opinion. Trying to go wide against the greenskins is pretty much always a recipe for disaster. Although, I'm trying to think if the Empire could do it. Maybe if they switched up. No, it's just so hard to do. It's so hard to do. So here we got Spearmen and Franz and the Blood Roar coming into play. They are able to secure objective number 3, maybe, if they can push the greenskins off this, but the points are really going against the Empire right now. We do see Lord Chicken with his dreaded landship. The landship's doing a good job. It is running over the Night Goblin Shaman here. It's broadside shooting. Going off pretty consistently. Looking at the value of the landship, about 1,200, so it's almost paid for itself, and now it's going to be running into the Savage Orc Airboys, but eating a lot of shots. And oh boy, Boarboy Biggins, if they decide to attack this, that's going to be brutal. So the Squealing Hogs are getting in. The Wild Hogs are here. Anti-large attacks. That is certainly good against the landship, although they're not the most, adroit of I guess, cavalry riders, but they do reroute to chase down that landship, but they are intercepted by some swordsmen. Karl Franz a little bit surrounded here. You know, he's in some danger, but the terror is quite good, and man, I love that Franz is actually like a decent pick now. It's great. It's how it's always should have been. Now, as far as the Imperial reinforcements, we got Free Company Militia and Sterling's Revenge coming up. That's certainly they're okay fighters, but they will lose against most of the greenskin equivalents like Orc Boys. Even Savage Orc Airboys will give them a bit of a run for their money. Karl Franz anchoring on the landship, trying to keep that thing alive, knowing it's really the backbone of the Empire. And if anything here could, weasel them back into the game, it for sure would be the landship. But the landship sitting at about 1,500 value. Empire does have its Outriders back here. Outriders doing good damage against the Boarboy Biggins. Much like, in previous patches, you would basically see the War Wagons being used as an answer against the Orc Boarboys. Fran's going to be jumping into the formation here. We do see the Free Company Militia and the Jade Wizard and Spearmen. They're fighting into good targets. Like, Orc Boarboys don't want to be fighting Spearmen units. Overall, this is a pretty cost-effective fight for the Empire here. And Franz and his landship trying to cause that perpetual fear and terror on these bad boys. But man, oh man, like, he just barely gets control of this objective, but the greenskins are just all over it. They have the other 2 captured. They're up in value. Now remember, there's a ton of healing on the Imperial roster, which is not reflected in this damage meter. So yeah, if you're watching, give us a more advanced tip here. It'd be cool to see how much was healed and the actual remaining value on the battlefield. That would be some really interesting metrics that would, I think, be very useful. But nonetheless, Spearmen with shields pushing back against the Squig herds. Orc Boarboys surging into the tree line, getting a good engagement against the Empire Knights. Empire Knights did falter and didn't get their charge. It was they rolled Snake Eyes on their charge roll, and then they got countercharged. I've felt that in tabletop many times with my old Hemogryphs and Empire Knights. Now over here on the other side, Savage Orc Airboys just going to be wasting these Free Company Militia, and the Greenskin Wa is so persistent. Looks like they're going to be cleaning out this game, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see too many tools for the Empire to come back. And I think that the build had a handful of flaws. I think that, I certainly think Franz is an okay pick. I don't think he's a bad choice at all in this particular matchup, but trying to match their width was a problem. I think against the Greenskins, bringing like 2 sources of terror is really good. And had that other landship in the ROR, I think the grenade, because Greenskins are always going to be swarming with infantry, right? Like always. So bringing the ROR landship would have been pretty big. Elspeth in this matchup, you wouldn't want to bring her because she's more for killing like big, powerful characters. And the Greenskins will often go very cheap, expendable lords and characters. So I don't think that's really the issue, but I think the build needed a little bit more of a focal, like kind of tight strategy rather than going wider and letting the Greenskins overwhelm. Because if you have a wide battle line of Spearmen or Spearmen with shields, like an Orc Boy is going to crump them super hard, right? So you're going to have a hard time. Yes, the Empire does have a little bit of healing, which is keeping them in the game. They're probably still down by 1,500 to 2,000 value with healing taken into account. And we do see some Flagellants being called in. I think that's a good call. I think we wanted to see some Flagellants and Sigmar Sons earlier. They're coming out now. We do see Outriders getting hunted by Savage Orc Boarboys. The sneaky stabbing is on, and look, the Wild Hogs are getting in there. Get him, boys. Sweet pig. Yeah, they're hunting down those Outriders. Outriders going to be fleeing. Couple of Free Company Militia being called in, but Tim the Wilder sitting at 1225 on points here, so he's looking pretty comfortable in this first duel of fates between these 2 people, who are, of course, clanmates. So these guys probably train together and play together. They know their dark secrets, but there is much to be explored in the meta. So far, anecdotally, in tournaments, Empire's been doing extremely well. They are easily a top 5 faction. Along with the Greenskins. Greenskins and Empire are both very, very high-tier factions. In the previous update, Greenskins were very dominant against the Empire, but now I have seen a couple Empire builds in tournaments the past couple days, which have done extremely well against the Empire or against the Greenskins and have been winning that matchup. So it certainly is winnable for both sides. I think Tim the Wilder just had cleaner execution on the main engagements, and the Empire is basically going to be out of steam here. Goblin Wolf Riders mitigating this. This is a really nice play by Tim the Wilder. it's just like in other RTS games, right? So say that you're coming from Age of Empires, okay? You know, somebody's all-inning your base with English longbows, some sort of a rush. Well, what you want to do is you want to get some horsemen, and you want to intercept their reinforcements away from their main army to keep them from getting to what is metaphorically in this situation your base. So intercepting reinforcements in domination mode and cutting them off from getting to the objectives is very, very similar to mechanics in StarCraft, for example, where you're intercepting reinforcements during a rush. There's a lot of traditional RTS principles which are applied here. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be game one going to Tim the Wilder here against Lord Chicken Feed. And what a good match it was. Karl Franz had a good performance. He fought well. He lived the entire time, which is something that, you know, may not have happened on previous updates with his old HP. But that is going to be game one going to Jawa, baby. Let's get it. That was the very first game of the tournament. Very first game. So we will get our scoreboard updater here. Let me get that fired up here. I'm a bit of a potato, but don't worry, we will get this. And there we are. Do this, and that is going to be game one going to Tim the Wilder here, and our very sweaty tournament of the day. So the greenskin build, nothing is going to shine insane on value. Like everything kind of performs a little bit, right? Savage Orcs really tore apart that Empire front line. You know, Arrow Boys brought down the Landship. Landship did pay for itself at the end, but I think there were some flaws in the build that certainly cost Lord Chicken. I think some grenade launchers were needed. There was no grenade launchers. And also having the Landship that causes terror, I think would be a little bit stronger. As far as cavalry goes, I think a little bit light on cavalry, but that's normal for that matchup because Boar Boys typically dominate you pretty hard. All right. Yes, yes. So let us load into our next match. And what's great about replays is we can just go right through it, dude. It's going to be awesome. This is our bracket for today. We got Tim the Wilder versus Lord Chicken Feed here, and then we got Hitman Hippo versus House Cat of War. By the way, 3 players today are from RTK, and we have 1 player, Hitman Hippo. I believe he's in Rat Clan, but that wasn't his name in Discord, so we didn't put that down. But if you would like, we can update it. But yes. One Ton Hammer, thank you for the donation. Greatly appreciate it. Yes, yes. All right, baby. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. The Landship is a little bit OP in some matchups. It wasn't utilized, like, that wasn't one of the matchups where it's really strong, but there are some where the Landship is very, very destructive. Alrighty, so let's load into the next match, ladies and gentlemen, which should be a mighty fun one. Yes, indeed. Let me just delete that so I do that again, and here we go. All right. Here we go. Welcome, welcome. Green is certainly very strong indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game 2. This is an opportunity for Tim the Wilder to close the series out very fast and very furious against his clanmate here, Lord Chicken Feed. And here we are. Tim the Wilder going to be leading the forces of the recently nerfed Kislev, facing off against Lord Chicken Feed, who's going to be using the Dawe. Satisfy the grudge. They have wronged us. All right, let's get it going. It's time. I'm curious about new application. The Dwarves might bring some Slayer Pirates. I think that would be something they would bring from the new range. But aside from that, I mean, the Thunder Barge is banned because it's super broken, but Slayer Pirates, maybe a Doomseeker here, maybe. But a lot of the Dwarf units that are new, I don't know if they're going to be super good in this matchup. You know, it's time. Korn is actually doing pretty well this season, Mr. Iron Gut. He's doing pretty well. Yeah, we were seeing a ton of Korn play in tournaments, and he's over 50% win rate, which is more than the High Elves can say. That's for sure. All right, guys. So for Kislev, it's going to be a very obnoxious build. Double Little Grom with Chariots. It's just pure pain to play against. So it is going to be Tim the Wilder on the forces of Kislev, facing off against Lord Chicken Feed. Certainly a fan favorite name, I would imagine. He's going to be coming in with his own Jawi Wow, so a very wide Dwarven army. But, you know, it has classic Dwarven combined arms. He's got some Bugman's Rangers, Blasting Charges, Ekron's Miners, and there is going to be some cannons being called in as well to trade against the shooting of Kislev. And for Kislev, it is going to be an Ice Witch of Tempest, and the reason why you bring a cheap Ice Witch of Tempest against the Dwarves is basically just to drop a big sweaty Blizzard on top of them. So Blizzard on top of their Bugman's Rangers or Longbeards, whatever, is going to be pretty good. On top of that, we got Kislevite Warriors. Kislevite Warriors did get nerfed in this update. They lost a little bit of stats, but honestly, they're still pretty damn cost-effective against Dwarves as a cheap armor-piercing piece, but very weak against Blasting Charges as well as Dwarven bow shooting. Now, these are the epicenter of action. Little Groms are one of the most obscene artillery units in the game. Their ability to shoot and run away and relocate is brutal. They can usually outmaneuver and outduel enemy cannons and are really, really problematic in my opinion. Heavy war sleds, going to be 2 of those. You know, dwarves and chariots, the best of friends. Honestly, dwarves don't seem to struggle too much against chariots like they did in Warhammer 2, except things like, you know, heavy war sleds, for some reason, are still quite good. So those guys can thump. We have some horse archers, 2 objectives grabbed immediately by Kislev and Tim the Wilder. And looking at Lord Chicken Feed's Dowie Legion, his dwarf warriors stand at the ready with blasting charges. Bugman's Rangers back here. He does have cannons of his own, so the dwarven cannons are going to be ripping some fat shots into what appears to be the horsemen over here. Yeah, we zip over and we do see the Kislev horsemen getting shot, but evading those shots pretty well with their mobility. And look at this Gust of True Flight, the dreaded tactic being used here by Tim the Wilder. So this gives his little Groms 585 range. Absolutely brutal, absolutely brutal. So that thing is going to be able to outrange the dwarven cannons. The dwarf cannons are at 440 range. Malachi McKyson could put the dwarf cannons up to 490 range, which arguably could be very good in this matchup. Having like 2 dwarf cannons with Malachi would be able to outrange the little Groms consistently, and I think that would be really big. But oh my god, the Rune Lord getting hammered by little Groms actually, jeez. That is pretty savage. So the Rune Lord here just trying to run an open field to avoid some of those shots. Meanwhile, the dwarves, I would imagine, are going to be, you know, sounding the horn of war soon. They just want to grab their side objective before they move up. You know, dwarves are a little bit, you know, a little bit ponderous as they move forward, but soon they will be on their way up. And yep, as soon as they grab the objective, the Dowie war machine marches to war. The Beard Tide, yes. And honestly, it's a pretty standard dwarven build. Bugman's Ranger is an interesting choice. I think, you know, normally you would think, hey, Kislev is super armored. Let's bring like Thunders, or let's bring, you know, Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes, which are super good now, by the way. Super good. They have like mad range and really good against armor. But he decides to go for Bugman's, which makes me think that he's expecting his opponent to bring a ton of Kislevite warriors, which are very low armor and very vulnerable against missile fire. So more cannons coming out, little Grom bowling over these bowling pins of dwarves. Longbeard's taking some substantial casualties as they have lost 18 models. But, you know, the one concern I have for Tim's build is that it's not, like, this is a thick dwarf build. This is big and wide, and it is thick, baby. It's going to be incredibly tough to bring down. That is a lot of armor here. And on the outside, we do see the horse archers, a little bit of peppering fire. In Dom mode, so previously in domination mode, the skirmishing phase of the game wasn't really prevalent. I mean, it did exist to an extent, but now that objectives open early, I've been seeing the meta shift towards almost every faction that can, bringing some light skirmish cavalry like horse archers, and then fighting over the points in the beginning, which I personally think is a better change. So here comes the heavy sleds. And yeah, good question from chat. How is he going to slot the sleds? Well, he does have a cannon back there. The cannon can do some work, and the bear sleds moving in. But yeah, this army is incredibly vulnerable against the bear sleds. The bear sleds moving through, running through the dwarf warriors, and now the bear sleds of Tim the Wilder are going to be going deep into the secondary lines as well. And what is the dwarf answer going to be? All right, we got basic slayers coming out. The cannon is shooting into the, what appears to be the heavy sleds. Yeah. So cannon shooting into the heavy sleds, and it will wear them down in time, but overall this is not a good engagement for Lord Chicken Feed. He doesn't want to be getting run over by sleds like this. That's got to feel pretty darn bad. Little Groms from downtown shooting at the dwarven cannons. Dwarves are now pushing forward with all their might. They do have their clutches on the 2 objectives, and the heavy war sleds are pretty healthy, although that cannon is doing respectable work against this one. Bugman's Rangers also shooting into them as well. And you can see Slayers being called in on the other side. So the Slayer unit is going to be desperately running across the battlefield. A bit of a blunder by Lord Chicken not to have some anti-sled tech, in my opinion, but we'll see if it ends up mattering. More Bugman's Rangers being called out. The Dwarven Cannon enduring very well against some of the DPS. And doing, you know, good work. The sleds have almost lost a model here. They get hit again. They're at 4 of 4 models still, but they are losing some HP. And the dwarves do have a lot of dudes. There's a dude tide here for the dwarves. The beard tide continues to move forward as the little Groms are trying to trade into the dwarven cannon. But, you know, dwarves are high leadership across the board, including on their cannon crews. So like an Imperial cannon or, you know, Cathay, for example, their cannon might have run at this point. The crew might have run from the damage they're taking, but these ones, they didn't hear no bell. So Rune of Slowness going down from the Rune Lord, who's hiding behind the pillar right here, and that is going to be locking down the heavy war sled as it is starting to get shot a little bit by the cannons. Gonna need to retreat here. Blizzard being cast here by by Tim the Wilder on Lord Chicken Feed's backline. The Longbeard's getting pounded pretty efficiently. Now we see a Snow Leopard coming out. Interesting. So the Snow Leopard summon, and it is an anti-large duelist kind of unit. It looks like it's going to be trying to get that Rune Lord who's admiring the Elven architecture here. I know it's a little bit of a grudge. But even still, Kislev is getting good value against dwarves, but I cannot tell you guys how many games I've played against dwarves where you're getting good value and you're like, wait a second, why are they still in the objectives? Why are they still pushing me? This could 100% be one of the games. You have to take a couple of things into account when you're looking at this situation, is that this little Grom here is almost out of ammunition. This one's very, very low on ammo, and I believe the other little Grom is probably running low on ammo as well. And once that's done, the Dwarves are going to be securing some substantial advantages in terms of the grind, because that's a lot of the Kislevyte army that's invested in that shooting. So now we get Winged Lancers coming out. So Winged Lancers did get nerfed. They got a cost increase in tandem with their buffs that they got, but this is going to be a beautiful charge. The Winged Lancers of Kislev going to be getting a fat charge here into the Dwarven lines, and there they go. They get hammered and bowled over pretty well. Although Bugman's Rangers are incredibly stalwart. They have 38 melee defense, and also they have passive regeneration. They're immune to psychology. There's a lot of things they do very well. Dwarf Warriors here, still getting hammered, but yeah, the Dwarves are keeping that momentum up. They got a lot of Warriors all over the place. The cannon does finally get shut offline, but Slayers and Slayers are on their way up to try and deal with the Chariots, which have been an absolute pain for the Dowie here. Now looking at the value, 26 against 4.6. So pretty big lead here for old Tim the Wilder, but we're going to see if he's going to be able to close it out. We get the Rune of Wrath and Ruin being popped on those armored Kossars. Meanwhile, the little Groms are going to be surging forward to do glorious, glorious battle. And they're still Chariots, actually. Little Groms are kind of like, you know, okay Chariots. But this is a little bit scary. Yeah, you don't want to be sending your Griffin Legion into Slayers. Slayers will be able to tear them up pretty good. Granted, Griffin Legion's armor will give them more buffering than light armored big targets. But even still, you don't want to stay there too long. And the Dwarf Tide is staying in this game, which is weird. You know, it kind of looked like they were getting massacred a little bit, but I'm telling you, so many Dwarf games look like that. You're like, oh my god, they're getting massacred, and then they just stay the course and keep fighting, right? Longbeards are also super hard to break. And Kislev doesn't have a lot of armor piercing in their melee game. Most of the Kossars are going to be the shooting variant, which arguably are probably better. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of armor piercing outside of the Chariots, which means that the incoming waves of Slayers and Miners with blasting charges could be a little bit, you know, frightening here. Now, the objective in the middle is held by the Dwarves, and the Dwarves are behind Tim the Wilder on points. It did take some time to get that. Lord Chicken Feed going to be pulling his Slayers back. Meanwhile, the little Groms are kind of like paperweights for now. I mean, they're okay at fighting, but overall, probably worth an unsummon for Tim. So Tim's going to be sending those back to the Shadow Realm. As does he use a Rune of Slowness? He does. So the Rune of Slowness activated on the Slayers, not Slayers, on the Griffin Legion, so the Slayers can catch them. Now the Power Mohawk's going to be sprinting forward to try and chop down the Kislevite Chariots as well as the Griffin Legion. Probably are going to see some of the Griffin Legion falling here. So one Griffin Legion falls to the Mohawks. Slayers pouring forward and certainly satisfying some grudges. I don't know what grudge they would have against these Kislevites, but you know, Dwarves will find any reason to grudge, as we all know. Excuse me. So Slayers chopping away at the Chariots here, and honestly the Dwarves are starting to pull back on value. 5.5 against 6.7. The difference is starting to, yeah, little Groms ran out of ammo. The Sleds are kind of running out of steam a little bit as they've been worn down by some of the Slayers and shooting over the course of the long game. And now you can see the sustained fighting prowess of the Dwarves and the insanely high leadership really starting to pay dividends. And Dwarf Warriors with Great Opens, a unit that costs 500 gold, will trade super cost effectively into Armored Kossars, which cost 700, right? Because Kossars are paying for, you know, hybrid shooting and a bunch of other stats, whereas the Dwarf Warriors with Great Opens are born and bred for one purpose, and that was just getting into armor and trading well. So on the middle objective, we got Slayers duking it out, and Dwarf Warriors with Great Opens defeating the Armored Kossars here, and more Slayers are on their way up, as the Dwarven Rune Lord is going to be dropping a fat Rune of Wrath and Ruin. It's not bad damage, honestly. Pretty respectable against those Kossars. A couple blasting charges saturating in as well. And I suspect that Tim is going to start getting maybe a little bit desperate as the Dwarves continue closing this gap. You know, he doesn't have that initial advantage he had with those two little Groms and his magic, because there's a couple things that are going in the favor of the Dowie, right? Kislev has blizzards, right? And it also has those the ammo on the little Groms. Those are two things that are going to be running out as you get to the late game. And the Dwarves are going to, they don't really care about magic, as we all know. So they are going to be taking advantage of their sustained leadership and their fighting power, and that could be enough to get them back. It's hard to say, though. They took a hell of a beating in the beginning. So another blizzard going to be going down from Tim the Wilder, and is it going to hit? Yep, it's going to hit there a little bit, and it will be tickling the back of these Slayers. Slayers do have some spell resist, being Dwarves of 35%. But even still, you still want to bring magic against Dwarves. There was always that argument back in the day, like, oh, you know, they're Dwarves. Don't. I remember hearing this like Warhammer 1, Warhammer 2. It's like, oh, don't bring magic. They have magic resist. But it's still worth it. It's still worth it. Even if they have 35% mitigation, it's pretty big. So Dwarves duking it out here. They got Slayers. They got Dwarf Warriors with great weapons just fighting tooth and nail against these Kislevites. Blasting charges coming in. Explosions. It's like a movie scene, man. You got the Slayers fighting in the flames. Pretty epic stuff. Slayers will trade pretty terribly into Armored Kossars, but even still they are unbreakable and will help bolster the numbers of Dwarf Warriors that are fighting. More Slayers surging into the secondary, and we do get Winged Lancers being called in, but the Slayers are all over them right now, so Slayers going to be intercepting those Winged Lancers. you know, making their charge falter a little bit and also killing a couple of models on the way in. And on the back, we get another Dwarven Cannon being called in out of reserves. Tim the Wilder does see this with his dervishes and is going to be attempting to shut this down, but the Dwarven Miners are there to defend, and though some of them will be getting punted by the cavalry, the Dwarven infantry here should be able to overwhelm the dervishes. It's going to take a minute because miners have pretty awful killing power, but they will get there eventually. Now on the side objective, we do see Tim going for a little bit of a ninja, which I do like quite a bit. So Tim taking advantage of the mobility, realizing that the fight versus the dwarves in the middle is not going well. We see 9.5 against 9.3. The 3,000 value lead we see for Tim the Wilder here is gone. Lord Chicken has closed the gap, and there are going to be some miners with blasting charges heading on over to objective number 1, and that should be enough to stabilize it in tandem with these dwarves here. These Dwarf Warrior Great Weapons. Tim's going to try and keep him off the objective, so he's trying to charge him before he reaches it. But the miners, for the most part, do reach the objective, and they will be able to hold that for now. On the backside, the dwarves calling in more reinforcements of Dwarf Warriors. The cannon is going to be back online soon. Middle objective is going very, very well for the Dowie. The Dowie also have a more impactful combat character here. The Rune Lords are good fighters. Even though they're quote-unquote Dwarven Wizards, please don't put me in the book, they are good fighters as well, especially Thoric Ironbrow. This guy is not bad. He doesn't have the same AP that Thoric has, but he can get down and dirty and fight against some of these troopers if he needs to. Slayers all over here. We got double Slayers and Bugman's Rangers in the secondary. And, you know, even though Bugman's Rangers aren't super good against armor, their staying power is incredible. Their ability to fight off light cavalry charges. Like, if you put a Bugman's Rangers in straight-up combat versus, like, you know, a Dervish, they might actually win that fight, which is pretty awesome. And they're going to heal and keep providing that those goodies the entire game. I mean, not the best value. They took a hammering from those chariots in the beginning. And I do think the Dwarf Army had some issues in terms of the early build dealing with chariots. You know, maybe like a Thunderer unit mixed in there, something, I don't know. Iron Drake Trollhammer Torpedo could have also been very good, but, you know, they still managed to recover from it, just sheer to, you know, tenacity and willpower and, you know, the high leadership, like I said. So Costified Dervishes force off the objective. The Dwarves got that one on lock, and on the backside, we got a lot of Dwarf Warriors. The Beard Tide comes, but we see Tim the Wilder maybe swinging this objective back. Kislev able to get a fresh sled in here, and we do have some Kislevite Warriors, but that Dowie Tide is on its way. Now, Lord Chicken has a little bit of time, but Tim the Wilder has got the second objective here. Let's see. So this one is owned by Kislev. Oh my god, the Dwarven Ninja Cap! Oh man. Oh, this could actually be game-breaking here. It kind of looked like Tim was about to get back in this game with the middle cap, but the fact that the Haggard Secret Agent MI6 Dowie here, they got on the back and they've taken this objective. Oh, what a blunder. Tim didn't see this. It would have been so easy for him to stop too. And now the Griffin Legion's going to be coming across, but will they get there in time? We do see the Dowie. Oh no, don't move off the objective, Lord Chicken. What are you doing? Okay, he goes off to try and keep the Kislevites from getting onto the point, and he's not capturing it anymore. Oh no, Lord Chicken! Lord Chicken, get back on the point! Oh, he could have captured that. Okay, he moves back on the point with one of the Dowie here. Oh, what a colossal blunder, though. He should have stayed on it. Man, and Tim the Wilder might just win the game off this. We're going to see. So Tim manages to secure the objective. The MI6 Dowie failed in their mission. Now on the back point, Dwarves holding objective 1 firmly, and the Dwarf Tide is here and they're pissed. We got more Slayers coming. We got a cannon back online. Cannons are a hard counter against these chariots. You can see the chariots getting nailed by those. And the Dowie Tide might be able to get these objectives back as well. We'll see. We see Kislev holding, but man, Kislev Warriors do not like blasting charges. The Dowie firepower, brutal stuff there. Brutal stuff. And immediately that objective starts to flip. Tim the Wilder bringing some dervishes to the back objective, knowing that he's a little bit desperate. Lord Chicken is still up on points pretty considerably. Miners of blasting charges going to get run down by Costified Dervishes, but they should be able to hold their 80 armor, and that's what's really good about Dwarves. Even their lowest tier unit is a very good holding piece. Very, very good holding piece. As the Costified Dervishes try and ninja that back objective. Meanwhile, objective 2 here is going to be flipping back to the Dwarves, and I think that's going to be enough time for Lord Chicken to get back in the game here. I mean, he's up by a couple hundred points, give or take. Not, you know, like 150 or something like that. Chariots are going for the Lord kill. You know, Lord killing dwarves, I mean, it certainly helps because it will lower their leadership, but a lot of the dwarf army is unbreakable, and this dwarf lord's literally at like 5%. He's still holding. He hasn't broken yet. I think he just is about to break right now. We'll have to see. In the backfield, we get more miners with blasting charges. Cannons coming in as well, shooting into the heavy war sleds. Heavy war sleds getting pounded. Cannon's doing excellent in terms of the value game. This one's up to about 1,800 value right now. It's been a great tool against those. And the Dwarves have officially pulled the value lead. The back objective looking pretty safe. Although the miners have moved off the objective. Lord Chicken needs to be much more careful with how he plays his points. But he does have Ekron's miners coming out. Ekron's miners should be able to arrive and deal with a number of threats. Although the Griffin Legion play here is very, very strong. Although it's rapidly going to become a situation where the dwarves can just straight up sit on the middle of the map and not care, because they're so far ahead on points at this point that, yeah, they can basically just sit. It's a triple cap situation for Kislev, which I think is going to be super hard. Tim is fighting tooth and nail. He does finally manage to rout the Dwarven Rune Lord here, but in the middle we do see the Dwarf Warriors moving forward. More and more Slayers coming to satisfy the grudge, and Tim is in desperation mode. He's having to send heavy cavalry in non-stop just to get speedy reinforcements, which means the Slayers are going to be able to feast. They're going to be able to drag down a lot of these Kislevite cavalry, and fighting on the point is not going to be super viable for Kislev. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is probably going to be GG well played here. We got 15 seconds left in the game. Obviously, it's GG. And the Dwarves with their MI6 cap on the back didn't quite work out. But hey, they tried. I liked the play. And that is going to be game 2. Going to the Dowie. The grudge satisfied. The sweaty Kislev has been tamed here today by the tenacity of Lord Chicken and the Dwarves. We got a 1-1 series, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it going. Well played, GG. All right. So 1-1. Cannons were, Little Groms are pretty decent, but against Dwarves, arguably Little Groms against Dwarves, maybe just going wider would be better, right? Like, they barely paid for themselves, if at all. The sleds were extremely destructive. Extremely destructive. 2,200 here, 1,600 here. I mean, the sleds were MVP. The Blizzard character was always fine, and the Kislevite Warriors, you know, more or less held their own. Yeah, the build was good, but it makes me think, like, I wonder how the Little Groms, like, if you're just cutting those and investing more into the heavy sleds and playing like a more aggressive style. This build was pretty unorthodox for Dwarves. It didn't have a lot to deal with chariots out of the gates, but it managed to hold. It managed to hold. Thanks for all the great videos, commentary, and Haggard shenanigans. Keep up the great work. We will. That's right. So on the backside, Dwarves going with most of the old school stuff, because like I said, I don't think too much of the new Dwarf stuff is really good in this matchup. Maybe a Doomseeker could be used to cut through the infantry a little bit quicker, but they're very vulnerable against chariots. Maybe a Slayer Pirate, like one, just to give you anti-chariot shooting, but I don't know. I don't think any of the new Dwarf stuff is particularly good in this matchup, so that's why we didn't see it. Yeah, Thunderbarge is banned for this tournament. It's extremely overpowered, so we had to restrict that. All right. So now we're going to get game 3 all set up between these mighty champions. A lot of these tournaments we've had recently have been going to have been just over so quick, but yeah, this is cool to see. All right. So let's get rid of this and load into the next match here. We also have a really fun halftime show today. We have a glorious Nurgle versus Empire Dwarf battle. It was a lot of fun. So in the middle of the tournament, after our 2 best of 3s in the beginning, we are going to be having a super cool halftime show, which is going to be fun. Yeah, the airship is banned. The Slayer Pirates are good in a number of matchups, though. They're quite good. Yeah, they ain't bad at all. Yeah, the javelin throw, the barge is weird. The Thunder Barge has like a weird hitbox. It also just does obscene damage. It's way too mobile. There's a lot of things that would need to be retuned. Are we going to see an Ungrim play with a Dowie? Probably not. Ungrim is not the best in competitive. Maybe. Maybe. All right, so let's load into the next match here, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be on the Battle for Itza. And it is going to be Tim the Wilder playing Empire this time around. So Tim played against the Empire and defeated them earlier. And now he's going to be bringing the Sons of Sigmar to bear against the foul bray herds of Lord Chicken. So looking at Tim's build here, he is going to be going with Halberdiers, which have always been okay against Beastmen. If they can avoid Ungor Raiders, they're quite good. So he's got Spearmen, Halberdiers in the front line, big pointy sticks to deal with big scary beasts. He's got a couple units of Huntsmen, which makes sense. If you're going to be hunting Minotaurs and Razorgores and Centaurs, Huntsmen are your best choice. And we do also have a steam tank with the volley gun as well. All right, look at that. So the steam tank volley gun, absolutely awesome. It causes, of the 2 steam tank options, this one is the far better option in my opinion. Basically, you get this bad boy, you just use it as a battering ram. It's going to be shooting its Gatling gun and its steam cannon and melee. It's very good at causing terror and disrupting formations of low tier units. Now, a Huntsman General. Okay, Tim just going for like the bare bone cheapest lord, and he brings the Huntsman General on foot, which is honestly, for how cheap he is, he's pretty darn good against Beastmen. He's got anti-large shooting. You just sit him on like a Doom Bull or a Minotaur, Butchers of Kalkengard, whatever, and you're going to have an absolutely great time. Now, looking at the Haggard Bray herd of Lord Chicken, it's what you expect. It's a bunch of unwashed farm animals. So we got Ungor herds, we got Raiders in the back, we have a Traderkin caster. Traderkin, one of the most powerful spells in multiplayer. Incredibly good. Doom Bull is, I like Doom Bull here. Doom Bull has armor piercing. He's going to be able to put some serious hurt on a steam tank if he's able to catch it. Like, he will beat that thing down. It will take a long time, but at least they have something that can kill it. On top of that, we do also have the Butchers of Kalkengard in the back. very much a staple, and the volley gun appears to be ripping some shots at it. We'll have to see. No, the Empire actually calls in a Great Cannon, which makes sense. Great Cannons are going to be excellent against like Butchers of Kalkengard and those type of units as well. All right, so moving on up, we do have the Huntsmen cruising and getting ready to rip some shots in where they can, but the Beastmen, the Bray Herd, claiming all 3 objectives here. So the Empire is... There's a couple like methods here of kind of ideology in terms of strategy, right? Like sometimes you can let your opponents have the objectives where they have to overextend themselves, and then from there you can just farm value, right? If they're going to be sitting back and not playing aggressive into your deployment zone. But the downside of doing that is they can get a massive points lead, right? So Beastmen are calling in Centaurs and Butchers of Kalkengard here. So the Butchers of Kalkengard currently sitting at full model count. They did take a cannon shot, but they're going to be hidden in the trees, while the Empire is going to be just shooting its Huntsmen and doing a very slow, ponderous push forward. So you can see the Empire moving up very, very slowly. Doombull is actually getting shot as well. And let's just watch the one thing that we're all here to see anyways, the Gatling gun steam tank. I don't know if it's going to be... I just finished painting my steam tank last night, actually. I just got one. They're super cool. But yeah, Gatling gun shooting into the Butchers of Kalkengard. Huntsman forcing the Bray Herd back, so the Bray Herd is going to be retreating. A little bit of a tug of war between these 2 players, as Tim the Wilder is going to be grabbing Objective 3 now, and Objective 2 is going to be grabbed by Tim as well, most likely, with the Gatling gun tank. And not the best start for old Papa Doombull. Doombull is in a little bit of trouble here. So he's sitting at, how much HP? 5,300, so he has the same HP that old Franz used to have. Huntsman, though, he's, living up to his name. He's the Huntsman General. He's hunting this foul cow, and the Huntsmen have gotten the points. Objective 1 is going to be owned by the Beastmen, but I think Tim is more than happy to kind of hunker down on Objective 2 and 3 and just try and win the game in that way, right? Advancing up, not really any sense in pushing the Beastmen. Make them be aggressive. Free Company Militia being called out to go try and get Objective 1 up here. Free Company Militia in a straight-up fight probably would defeat an Ungor Spearman Herd unit, especially if they can get a couple volley shots off. But it looks like they're going to be rerouted to the middle, so they've heard the orders from the Huntsman General, and now they're going to be heading to Objective 2. Realizing they don't want to get pounded by Centaurs as well. So, yeah, Centaurs would crush them in combat. It looks like they're staying kind of neutral between the 2 points, maybe having the flexibility to move between either. But yeah, the Empire in a very defensive position. It kind of looks like a land battle a little bit. They do have the Great Cannon here, halberds and spears defending all the formations. Huntsman getting ready to do some skirmishing, and Lord Chicken is trying to make sure he has the answers to his opponent's army before he moves forward here. So we do see Centaurs being called in, and while they jockey for position, we can do some fast forwarding. This is a great part about replays, is we can fast forward a little bit while we get the fighting going here. So Centaur's doing a little bit of poking and harrying here. The Empire does have Huntsmen as well as Empire Knights ready to do battle. Empire Knights will trade very, very well into Centaurs in my anecdotal experience and head on charge, but Razorgore Herds and Minotaurs are going to be an excellent counter against these bad boys. So here they come, and the Empire yields the objective. It looks like they were thinking about trying to ninja that one, but overall, it's still flipping a little bit. Yeah, we do have the Free Company Militia hanging on to the point. But they're going to pull back when they see the Centaurs and the Baconators coming. So the Razorgore herds are on their way up and getting ready to maybe ram in. Nope, pulling back. And now the Beastmen, they've waited as long as they feel comfortable. So here they come. We got 2 Minotaurs in the tree line, and it is going to be a big clashing of lines. And here's exactly the point I was articulating about earlier. The Empire does not want to engage more melee-centric factions across a wide battle line across the map. What Tim is doing is the correct play. He's hunkering down in a very tight formation that doesn't have a ton of surface area, and it's going to make it harder for the Beastmen to overwhelm him because he's got layers. The Empire and the Dwarves and a lot of these factions, they want to play like an onion. You got to peel through the layers to get to the juicy center, which is the cannons and the various war machines that they can bring to bear. But we do see the Gatling gun tank doing great work, running over 1 Beastman unit, and now the minigun on the top is going to start shooting again in a moment. But firstly, we'll run over these guys. Steam cannon will rip a shot soon. I don't know if he has it on fire. We'll have to see. But even still, it is a giant brick of terror here, and there is going to be something going down. Awakening of the Wood. That's what she said. Yes, perfect. Gets the terror route on the Ungor Spearman herds, and the tank is certainly doing his job. Just getting terror routes in the front line. Now the Empire is going to be pulling back the Bray herd, going 100 miles per hour into the Empire lines. Razorgores, as well as Minotaurs, getting ready to engage. The Spearmen forming ranks to try and stop the Bacon from getting in. And they should be able to deal with these Razorgores pretty effectively, I would say. Halberdiers surging forward. I love seeing the Empire play this way, where you get like the missiles and then like the disciplined state troopers forming ranks with like spears and halberds to protect the back line. It's super, super cool. Now on the front, Ungors versus Spearmen, a lot of Huntsman fire going down. The steam tank, though, has been the MVP so far because the Beastmen are really allocating a lot of resources to chasing it down. And that just means the Huntsmen and the various missile pieces of Tim the Wilder are able to pound into these Centaurs here. So the Centaurs are getting melted pretty effectively. Ungor is trying to push through, so he's force pathing them in, but there are Spearmen nearby. Huntsmen should be able to pull back. A couple Harpies up on the up in the air trying to get on the cannon, it would appear. Uh-oh, Tim blundered the cannon a little bit. He actually had it targeting something where it moved upwards. That's like a classic mistake you see a lot of people, I've done that on campaigns as well. But yeah, the Great Cannon going to get nibbled on. Halberdiers moving forward. Overall, Tim is trading pretty well, though. I would say this engagement here is going well for him. Traderkin does get popped on the meme tank, and the Doom Bull also was able to punch that steam tank in the face. But steam tanks are really tough, just like they are in tabletop. I have one for my Empire army. They are so hard to kill. Like, steam tanks have 10 wounds and toughness 7. Like, dragons will even struggle to kill steam tanks in tabletop. So they're pretty well reflected. But man, the Huntsmen are they're going to be eating well tonight. There will be a lot of tainted chaos steak for these Empire troopers if they take down this Doom Bull. Doom Bull getting melted by a massive contingent of these Huntsmen, and now is going to be forced back. On the other side of the Imperial lines, we do see Empire Knights being called in, and they are able to hold back the tide of Ungors. And you see, even when the Ungors try and path through, this is just a thing of beauty. I mean, we are seeing Huntsmen shooting so effectively right here, right here. We see all this shooting just so effective and not being shut down. Like, it's just pounding into this Beastman army, and they haven't been able to really penetrate into the secondary due to the prevalence of so many cheap, powerful spear and anti-large units. But now some of the bacon does get around the backside. They've managed to find an opening. Free Company Militia are going to get probably wrecked pretty badly here, but the Free Company will take it like champions, which is good, because then Empire Knights or anything else can be called in to deal with these Baconators, although Baconators are very cheap, which is good for them. Huntsmen, though, still very cost-effective in guard mode, shooting into the Minotaurs. The Minotaurs are one thing that could potentially bunker bust the front line well, but the fact that they're being nailed down by these anti-large shots, and the Empire Halberdiers are just holding so well. Halberdiers are a very underrated infantry unit. They do have over 40 melee defense, and yeah, they're very squishy against missile fire, but if your opponent doesn't bring a ton of Ungor Raiders, or isn't focusing them with Ungor Raiders, which it would appear Lord Chicken maybe isn't, although yeah, he is shooting these Halberdiers right here. They can be very good if they avoid those targets, like I said. In the backfield, we get Empire Knights being called in. The Baconators here are going to be crumbled. And now we got Centaurs trying to penetrate in as well. But the Empire Knights will probably deal with them as well, which is a very tough one. Doom Bull on the other side, he's like, screw this. I don't want to be a burger tonight. So he's going to be fleeing the scene back to the bushes from whence he came. And the Empire seems to be pretty dominant on most fronts. The Steam Tank is such a powerful... Like, Steam Tanks in Warhammer 2 were kind of used in this way as well. You would often see Empire players have a defensive box with like Volkmar the Grim and a Steam Tank to fight against like Greenskins and Beastmen and factions like that. It wasn't like the most meta build, but it was a tournament build you would see sometimes. But now that power fantasy of all of us Empire players is fully able to come true because the Steam Tank volley gun is like actually good in melee. Whereas the other Steam Tank, sure, it causes terror and it has a steam cannon, but it's usually a little bit lackluster in the melee game. So Beastmen desperately trying to get into the backfield. They do have a lot of Ungor Raiders. Looking at the value, it's 9 against 5.5. The Empire not quite able to get this high ground objective. Maybe these Empire Knights will be able to clear it off. We do see a response from Lord Chicken. Lord Chicken, you're going to be calling Razorgore herds over to try and run down those Empire Knights right here. And honestly, they'll be able to win that. But yeah, the Beastmen do have the objectives advantage. Tim better hurry up, dude. You know, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, this game is probably over. You know, the Empire's got this. But then I looked at the points a little bit. I'm like, wait a second. Beastmen still got their clutches on 2 objectives. They are causing some disruption in the backfield. Free Company Militia very good against Beastmen. They do an excellent job at fighting against chaff and also provide you shooting against big targets. So Free Company Militia running up their flintlock pistols and their awesome floppy hats. And they're going to be shooting down a lot of these cows here. Cows also getting tied up by Empire Knights and by Halberdiers. No, those are Spearmen, which is still a really bad situation for those Minotaurs for sure. So, a couple Harpies coming back here, not sure where they're going. Maybe going to be looking for cannons or something. I don't think the Empire has any cannons anymore, and we do see the cannons and, I think getting taken out in the mid-game. Yeah, they're right there. So I guess they could jump on some of the Huntsmen, but now the Empire is going to be basically just using the, it's a tank division to roll into the middle and just terror out all the Beastmen off. Because the Beastmen Lord has fled the battlefield, right? So in that situation, the Beastmen army's at negative 16 leadership, and they're already not a good leadership faction, right? So that is going to be really dodgy for them. There's basically going to be instant terror routes where Empire Knight's going to be surging forward to do battle, and the Bray Herd is looking really ragged. They're looking super worn down here. The Butchers of Kalkengard, probably the best unit on the roster, honestly. They're such a powerful unit. I mean, they've been fighting things that counter them and still holding and doing very well. I mean, one of the best units on the roster. Arguably, I think the humble Ungor Raider is one of the best units, even though it's like really cheap. And it's funny, the juxtaposition between that and like campaign players. Like, you know, you move away from the low tier units really quickly in campaign, but in multiplayer, a lot of it's cost effectiveness, right? So like the halberd, spearmen with shields, for example, are like gods here for the Empire, even though they're just like such a, you know, from a campaign player's perspective, you'd see that and be like, oh, it's just a spearman, right? Huntsman General, though, he's been doing great, man. This guy deserves a promotion. He's maybe Marcus's cousin or something. He's gotten only 400 value, but he was able to put a lot of hurt on that Doom Bull, which is awesome. And he's just cheap, too, so he allows you to go really wide with the Imperial forces. So far, we see the Empire on a... this is a triple cap situation, so the Beastmen do need to hold on to Objective 1, but I don't see that happening. The Empire's got such a value lead, 12.1 against 8.4. As far as the Imperial magic goes, we do have a life caster, and he's just been mainly awakening the wood the entire time. The Empire rolling up with Free Company Militia, halberds, and the steam tank of the gods has moved in, and it is going to be running over the destroyers of Drakwald, Gatling gunning them down, as well as steam cannoning them. And they can. Imperial Knights for Sigmar charging in. Beautiful damage against those guys. And that is where the mobile terror that has 100 plus armor is so freaking good. On top of that, it's insanely resilient against Ungor Raiders because of the frontal block chance. I think it has like a 70% missile mitigation from the front arc. And the side, it's like 50% or something like that. It's really, really hard to take down. All right, guys. So that is going to be it. GG, well played. The Empire's got that one in the bag. That is for sure. A lot of state troopers coming up, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. So somebody asking, are domination builds usually wide? I mean, typically, this is like, honestly, not that different from a land battle build. You know, you would have your huntsmen, your halberds. This honestly just straight up looks like a land battle build, like both of these do. Obviously, a little bit less funds because the funds are allocated to reinforcements, but there have been a couple of builds emerging. There's a really top-tier player named Berserk. He didn't qualify for this one. He did play, but he didn't quite qualify, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, he tends to play super elite single-entity focused builds. There's also a couple new Empire meta builds that are focused on double landship. So there, you can play very low model count builds and win games at high levels, for sure. But, you know, these particular players wanted to play. I mean, these are pretty standard. It's just like state troopers with bows and cannon. Nothing too crazy there. All right. So let's take a look here. 1900 and looking at the Huntsman. The Huntsman are MVPs. Yeah, 1100, 1400. Steam Tank didn't quite pay for itself, actually. The thing cost 2100, but the Terror was invaluable, right? Cannon in the back got 800 value, but it was mismicroed a little bit. For Lord Chicken, we're looking here. We got 1200 value there. All right, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And yeah, the Beastman army just got picked apart by Huntsman. Sigmar prevails this day, and that means, ladies and gentlemen, Tim the Wilder is going to be advancing on to the grand finals. Very, very hyped. Yes, there's going to be some good steak tonight, although I don't think they would eat that meat. I would imagine it would be a little bit questionable. But congratulations to Tim the Wilder. He is going to be advancing to the grand finals. And now let us go ahead and update the brackets. You guys ready to see some high-tech technology? Because you're about to see it. So we're going to get Tim the Wilder here. Let's find him. He's around here somewhere. Yes. So let's go ahead and do this. And we will do this. All right, ready? Watch this. Oh, have you ever seen such production value? Look how quickly I moved it there. That is what I'm talking about, baby. Let the huntsman feast. Okay, so we're going to prepare our next series right now. I want to sincerely thank you all for choosing to spend your afternoons here. It's been a lot of fun so far. And here we go, baby. Let's get this next series going. So the next series is going to be a best-of-3 matchup between Hitman Hippo and House Cat of War. So that's going to be a fun one indeed. And I have to say, I've been watching both these players play, and they're two of my favorite players to watch. I trained with them a little bit in the early build, and they're both very strong, certainly better than I am. So I'm very, very hyped to see this one. You guys are going to have, yeah, it's like watching the Super Bowl, right? I know. At least Turin is not an AI. That was insane. I know, it really was. It really was. All right, I'm just going to have a quick sip of water, and then we'll be moving on to the next match. And then we got a halftime show after that. I know, it's like the Super Bowl. We even have a halftime. Can we watch that move in slow-mo? You probably could. If you rewind the stream and put it down to the slower speed, I think you're good. Yes. What's your caffeinated beverage? I stopped drinking caffeine, actually. Yeah, I stopped drinking caffeine. It's the only time I'll have it is when I'm on vacation or something. Yeah, I don't know. It makes my hands hurt, my like wrists and stuff, so I don't mess with it. Yeah, I think my body doesn't like it. All right, dude, you guys. All right. So the next Oh, you guys are not going to believe the Lord choice in this next matchup. Oh my god. All right. This is going to be wild. All right. So let me get this. Okay. And then that's going to be perfect. Wow. This Lord choice is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Oh man. Okay. I guess we're loading in, baby. Let's get it. Let's have some fun. Here we are. It is showtime. All right, guys. Welcome to game one in our second best of three, the bottom side of the bracket. It is going to be Hitman Hippo, clearly making an effort to become everyone's favorite player in the tournament. He opens game one against one of the sweatiest players in the world with the Changeling. Yes, fasten your seatbelts. The Changeling is on his way in. And if he wins this, I mean, that is serious. That is serious. And Balthazar Gelt and Illuminarch. I know, it's crazy. The Changeling. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I didn't spoil these replays for myself. Even though I have all the replays, I don't. Like, I just, like, made sure I had the proper number. And, yeah, so this could be anyone's game. This could be anyone's game. All right, guys. So taking a look at the army of Tzeentch here. Tzeentch is going to be rocking the Changeling. We do have a Tzeentch Sorcerer because obviously the Changeling is going to be turning into somebody, so he's not going to be the caster for the army. Sorcerer of Tzeentch going to be using the Skull of Catan as well as the blue and pink fire just to mow down state troopers. And we got Changebringers, which are a pretty good unit. They're really effective at just killing basically anything at short range. Couple pinks as well as Zangors in the front line, and it is going to be Satang the Watcher. That actually makes some sense. I mean, he's a really nasty sniper, right? So Satang moving up, you're paying like a 700 gold premium to get Satang onto the Tzeentch roster, which is pretty cool. So it is going to be Satang the Watcher. Now for House Cat of War, it is going to be a very wild build as well. We have a very cheap battle line. Yeah, it's just going to be State Troopers, the Light Wizard. So Light Wizard's going to be using nets as well as Shem's Burning Gaze. We got Spearman into the Sunset, Huntsman, and Swordsman with a Luminarch in the back. All right, so the Luminarch versus Satang here. This could be a little bit of a problem for the Luminarch. It will 100% lose that duel in my experience. It has 320 range. Satang has 350. So Satang in many ways is like a hard counter against the Luminarch. Now, the only problem I see for Hippo's build is you invested so much into Satang that, man, your front line, like your holding power against this army, it's going to be able to kind of swarm you. That is a big army. And there's a Luminarch in the back, which is super exciting. Now, the first shot, Satang's going to be ripping here, and he does manage to nail the silver bullets, because Satang can reveal everything. Watched by the Watcher, so he literally sees all the invisible units, including the silver bullets, and is going to be going after them. Over here, Hitman Hippo's going to be moving up here. Changebringer's going to be roasting into the Spearmen with shields down here, so we're going to see some big damage, as the French would say. And that is huge. Yeah, those Spearmen basically get half health, which, you know, obviously they're a very cheap, expendable chaff unit, but that's pretty good. You see some magic missiles coming out, Shem's Burning Gaze from the Light Wizard, but it doesn't even penetrate through the shields of the Changebringers. And, yeah, they're able to get some good damage. They just want to avoid the Huntsman, really. What is Satang going to be watching? I know none of the other aspects of this battle really matter. I think we just got to watch the Changeling the entire time and see what he's up to, because that's going to be the way to do it. Good ambushing of the bushes. That's one of the more common tactics on this map, as you move through the trees on border low landing and you try and hit objective 3 and hammer that down. So far, the Zangor is going to be retreating back. They don't want to eat those free shots, but they do have good silver shields and a little bit of armor as well. So Satang, what is he targeting? Okay, he's going after the Luminarch. We're going to have the Haggard Duel of Fates. Everyone's power fantasy is on. Satang going to be moving away, though. He doesn't want to get poked by the Huntsman, and that is going to be a pretty damn good pink fire coming in from that Chaos Sorcerer. And so far, Hitman Hippo is playing very much value trading, you know, rather than pressing the objectives hard. And wow, silver bullets getting melted. Oh my god, this like Tzeentch poke and harass is very, very good. So pulling back is the Changeling. It looks like he did eat a Luminarch shot to the face. The Luminarch was able to make contact, but Satang is going to show this Luminarch who's boss as he moves forward to countershoot. So he's going to be ripping that bow shot in a second. In the back, we got Blues and Marauders and a couple Zangors lurking about. So far, the Empire has a very firm grasp on the objectives. But, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the Changeling win at a game. This is like a super high stakes game. The prizes for today's tournament are over $1,000. For Total War, that's pretty damn high stakes. So the fact that Hitman Hippo brought, say, the Changeling, which is, you know, still, you know, pretty meme, is very, very impressive. You know, very impressive. Yeah, all right. In the meantime, the Changebringers were doing very well, but we do see a good play from House Cat of War. House Cat of War actually nets them down with Net of Ammontok, and he is able to get some beautiful value into them. In response, Tzeentch is going to be calling out Centaurs and getting a nice pink fire as well. Big charge right there as these Centaurs charge through the fire and get an excellent shot, or excellent charge, I should say, into those Huntsmen. There's going to be a counter charge. Knights of the Black Rose, Elspeth's Chosen have arrived. Super cool looking. Now, they're not very good against cavalry units in my experience. They're okay. Their melee defense is super high, and they probably will be able to beat these Centaurs with the support they have nearby, but they're really good against infantry. Knights of the Black Rose are kind of like discount Chaos Knights, I would say. Excellent against like lightly armored infantry, and they have really good holding power as well. So they move in, and the Centaurs of Tzeentch do get hammered by the Huntsman fire as well as the Knights of the Black Rose. The Tzeentch caster coming in once again and getting a decent attack there on the Huntsman. Setang the Watcher, what is he shooting? Looks like Setang is sitting back here, sitting at about 600 value. Here comes a fat shot from downtown, and that appears to be a direct hit on the Luminarch. And the Memonarch, what is it going to be shooting? Okay, it looks like it was trying to shoot that Chaos Sorcerer, but it decides not to shoot there. And now the Empire is going to be calling in its new Engineer. Now, the Engineer is a really good choice if we're going to go for a Memonarch, because he can refresh its ammunition for sure. We do see Watch by the Watcher being active. Another nice shot going in on the Silver Bullets here, who are shaken and stirred. And now Tzeentch is just trying to farm value where it can, preparing for a big push. So we see a lot of pinks here. We see Zangors coming up, and this is going to be more Marauders. But the Empire is holding very firmly on the objectives for sure. But yeah, the Empire shooting is having some issues. Silver Bullets are about offline. We do see the Memonarch here, very, very low amount of HP. Sitting at about 2100 HP as Setang the Changeling is able to really put a hurt on this thing. I mean, he's got the superior range and durability, so he's for sure going to win it. Luminarch shot is going where? Oh, he's shooting, and it doesn't make contact. Oh, it does hit the Screamers there. It looks like it did miss the Chaos Sorcerer, but the Screamers were able to intercept that shot. That was a very good net indeed. Now, Setang is going to continue working on the Memonarch. The Memonarch here is very, very low, currently at 1200 HP, and Setang the Changeling looks like he's going to get one last shot on it. Might break its leadership. Boom, it gets nailed. 480. That's going to be negative 34 leadership, and it's likely going to run off the battlefield. So Setang the Changeling keeping the value even, but, you know, his build is so, like, the Changeling is so haggard in terms of, like, how much it takes away from the rest of your army that, like, it needs to get an obscene amount of value to really pay for itself. So Light Wizard here is now getting sniped by Setang as well. Tzeentch is pretty close on points still. It's very, very early in the game. But the Empire looks like it's going to be moving forward to actually engage the Tzeentch forces in their own spawn area, which is pretty hog wild. So he's going to be coming forward. State Troopers rallying to battle the Zangors here, and the Zangors got their horns out for the Changer. Should be able to dominate these State Troopers in combat. Swordsmen are, you know, they're okay fighters, but yeah, Zangors are going to be able to give them the business pretty well. And the Changebringers managed to survive, so the ones that did get netted earlier on, it would appear that they're still alive and well, as we do see the legions of Tzeentch moving forward to engage the Sons of Sigmar on the objective. Setang, the Changer, is here, and he is moving up and looking to get melee, actually. I guess he's kind of out of good targets to snipe, really. A really good pink fire as well. Looking at the value, Hitman Hippo has pulled the value lead here on the side. We do see Knights of the Black Rose, Elspeth's Peeps, getting attacked by the Shrieking Skyrays, which are a very excellent counter against them. But the Skyrays are being focused. House Cat of War, really good target priority. He's able to get all of these Huntsmen online and start annihilating the Shrieking Skyrays, so that's got to be a pretty nice little pick for him out of the gates. Well, Tzeentch does have some good answers against Huntsmen. Pink Horrors do have 150 range or 130 range, and they're able to close the distance here and get some good shots. In the meantime, the Empire does look like it's getting pushed back a little bit. Empire calling in Great Swords. Great Swords are actually really good against Tzeentch. Their armor helps them mitigate the damage coming in from the popcorn shooting, and on top of that, they wreck Zangors, and they pretty much dominate most Tzeentch infantry. So I'm a huge advocate of Great Swords in this matchup. I think they're excellent and very, very powerful. So up in the sky, another net going down on top of the Changebringers, but there's not really any shooting to deal with it. The Empire Engineer, of course, does have a little bit of shooting. He's got his repeater gun, but man, Setang the Changeling is going deep on this Empire roster. He's at 2600 value, which he has not paid for himself. I believe he costs like 3700 gold or something obscene like that. But, I mean, he's doing well. Here comes another shot, and that Wizard is just getting smashed, dude. Harry Potter's going to be sent back to Hogwarts here as he is getting nailed by those Changeling shots. Changebringers here do get worn down by Shem's Burning Gaze, and you can see the Empire Engineer. Is he on the Robo Horse? No, he's on the regular horse, but he does have his repeater gun and is getting some very cost-effective shots into the Changeling. Into the Changebringers. But now Setang is going to be setting his sights on the Engineer, and he has basically been just, he costs 3,000 as Setang. Thank you for checking that. I greatly appreciate it. So it's 3,000 as Setang, which is still very pricey, and he is about to pay for himself. He's getting close. Knights of the Black Rose, though, here's the thing, guys. I can see the Knights of the Black Rose and the Greatswords arriving really changing the dynamic of this battle. Because it might look like Tzeentch is kind of taken over here, but overall, the sustained fighting power of the Empire with Greatswords and Knights of the Black Rose is way better than it used to be. And these are basically Chaos Knights moving into units that they counter super hard, right? Like, the Pinks aren't going to be able to do much. Seitang just like anime flew. Oh, the jump attack! Boom, and he lands. Did it do any damage? Yeah, it did a little bit of damage. Also slowed them down. We get Centaurs being called in. Centaurs of Tzeentch, an excellent tool against Knights of the Black Rose. Seitang also not doing badly. These Greatswords here are going to dominate this fight. I wish they were this good in tabletop. So they got their floppy hats out, and they're going to put a beating on these Marauders. The Marauders, of course, don't really have good AP. Greatswords are wearing full plate armor, so they're going to be able to tank it like absolute champs. And the other Marauders and Zangors are going to be getting folded up. And still a fair amount of Empire shooting. Even though it's all very low, it can still put out good damage. I mean, this is like the equivalent of like a full health Huntsman unit. Knights of the Black Rose getting a little bit of spear support, and much like Chaos Knights, their holding power is quite incredible. They are immune to psychology as well, so they can't be terror-ratted by Seitang there, which is very, very good. And Grundle's Defenders. I think these are going to be a staple for the Empire as well. Very good, cost-effective unit with super high melee defense, which you always love to see for the Empire. Yeah, this is a bit of a problem for Tzeentch. All this like Huntsman shooting coming back online, and the Greatswords arriving to the front line and starting to make a difference in the combats is quite substantial. Although this popcorn shooting here from Hitman Hippo is quite good. You can see these Greatswords getting melted a little bit by the combined arms. And is this going to be a Knight of the Black Rose? Nope, it's going to be some Empire Knights engaging against Centaurs of Tzeentch with Huntsman support, though. So normally Centaurs of Tzeentch would probably crush Empire Knights in a straight fight just because of the armor piercing and stat differential. But here we do see the Huntsmen lending their bows and doing great work. So Huntsmen, a very good unit. Very, very solid staple of the Empire. And those Centaurs with their, 35 armor and pretty much no missile resist are having a terrible time. So the fact that Housecat was able to rally his super beat up units here is really, really playing, really well into his strengths. Greatswords cleave through those Zangors, and the other Greatswords here are able to dominate. Who would have thought that the Sigmarite infantry would be able to endure so well? Now the Greatsword's going to be moving forward. Seitang, the Changeling here, what is he up to? We see him at 3,400 value, so he is doing quite well. I have to say, man, this Seitang pick is not bad at all. I mean, Housecat's a top tier player. So is Hitman Hippo. And he's made the Seitang work and like look really, really good, which is pretty wild indeed. In the backfield, we do see the Knights of the Black Rose surging forth, trying to shut down the Blues, but being attacked by the Shrieking Sky Rays. It's going to be a pretty bad time for them. But look at this, the Tzeentch battle lines are folding. We got the Popcorn Bandits running away. These guys are fleeing the scene. A Greatsword's chasing them down. A Huntsman concaving in, the classic RTS concave, and it looks like the Empire is going to endure. Not by much, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very, very close fight. Housecat of War pulling ahead on value. Seitang, now that there's nothing for him to really snipe, he's kind of run out of value-generating targets. The Knights of the Black Rose taking one for the team back here as they occupy pretty much the entire army. But we do see Housecat of War almost reaching 1,200 points while also having a value lead, which is going to be incredibly tough. And I just think the Tzeentch army doesn't have the battlefield agency left to really contest the objectives. Housecat is even going to be playing the back objective now, so we see the Empire Knights and the State Troopers here grabbing that one. And Seitang, the Changeling, he's going to do some really cool attack animations. Yeah, he's got all the anime moves here. But, the power of Sigmar is greater than the power of anime, and he is going to be going down here. Spearmen, Greatswords chewing through those. We got more Greatswords here, holding stubbornly with some Empire Knights getting a ton of value into these units, and the Empire is going to be calling in more reserves, silver bullets, as well as spearmen with shields, and that is basically going to be it, I think. He's got Tzeentch triple caps here. We see the back objective going to Housecat of War, and that's probably going to be a 1-0 here. He's going to be going up 1-0 in the series, so Hitman Hippo will for sure be on the ropes. He's going to have to claw his way back, which is no easy feat against a player of Housecat's caliber, so we will see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We will see. I think at this point, it's a bit of a foregone conclusion. I don't see... I've casted enough domination games to know when it's pretty much over. I mean, there's still, Greatswords holding on multiple flanks. Empire could just Helm's Deep on his back objective if it wants to. Silver bullets coming in, as well as some more swordsmen. That is probably going to be GG well played. So we do get the spearmen moving forward. Greatswords able to continue holding for a long time, which is really impressive. And once again, you can see Tzeentch tries to get its back objective back, but they get run down by Empire Knights. Watched by the Watcher active. Middle firmly in control of the Sons of Sigmar. And ladies and gentlemen, for the Empire, they have done it. All right. Love to see it. Love to see it. But I have to admit, my favorite highlight of that game was 100% the Changeling. I mean, the Changeling play was so good. It was so good. Yeah, wild stuff. Looks like Balthazar Gelt got karate chopped early on. I was wondering where he was. It looks like he got like damaged and then just kind of fled off the battlefield. So classic stuff. Or he was unsummoned, who knows? But he didn't have a good time. You can see his health is very, very low. That build was awesome by Hitman Hippo. I loved it. I mean, the fact that it almost worked against a player of Housecat's caliber, absolutely insane. 3,600, 1,400, Changebringers did fine. I mean, against a lesser player, that build would have worked 100%. Knights of the Black Rose, pretty cool. Didn't really have too many applications there. Housecat had some things that didn't work out, but, you know, the Steel Faith, I guess the Faith and Gunpowder or Arrow Shafts was more what won that game. Hunt's been able to do some nice work too. Greatsword's really, really strong when they eventually came in. Yep, super fun. By the way, the new Empire Engineer on horseback is really good now. He's a very, very good pick. All right, that's going to be game one going to old Housecat of War. Hitman Hippo is the last hope for all of you non-RTK folks. He is the last hope. Will he be able to salvage your play here? Yeah, it's going to be fun. All right, taking a look at the bracket so far. Thank you all for joining. This is the second best of 3 of the day. Taking a look at the bracket, we currently have Tim the Wilder had defeated Lord Chickenfeed. Oh, I need to do this real quick. Hold on. We need to copy this, and with the power of technology, we shall paste it, brother. Yes, and now Lord Chickenfeed is going to go down to the 3rd place match on the bottom. Look at that. Oh, I'm so good at this, dude. CA should hire me full time for this. Oh yeah. Yes. Faith, Steel, and Shaft Powder. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Gelt was in the battle in the beginning, I guess. I don't know. All right. So let's get that next game going. Game 2 in this sweaty, sweaty series. The Changeling tried, but he wasn't able to smart the old Empire there. He tried his best. Okay, so let's delete that one. And now, oh yeah, dude. Man, I love Hitman Hippo's picks here. They're so fun. He's picking the Chowie into the greenskins in the next match. It's awesome. Awesome stuff. I love it so much. He like brings off meta factions and takes on the meta, you know. Win or lose, you know, this is still a very Chad play. All right, guys. It's go time, baby. Game 2 in the series. It's going to be Housecat of War on the sweaty greenskins against Hitman Hippo with the Chowie, the Chaos Dwarves, Hashit's Chosen. And he's got double train. I mean, the trains have always been okay against infantry spam factions. They do, you know, good damage in melee. They have the flamethrower on the ROR. They cause terror. It's very cool. All right, guys. So, Chaos Dwarves against the sweaty greenskins. Let's get it, man. Historically, this matchup, in my anecdotal experience, has been massively greenskin favored. But they did just get some cost increases, so maybe it's a little bit better for the Chowie now. We're going to be seeing. We got some trains, baby. Oh, geez, sorry about that. And a bottle cap fall off the table. The jump scare. All right, so taking a look at the dwarf build, it's obviously going to be a terror build. So he's going to be using a very concentrated mass of durable war machines. So he's got the Demon's Tongue, which I love the Demon's Tongue. This thing is insanely cool because it has a flamethrower on the front, which discourages the greenskins. It also causes terror, and it's just powerful overall. So we've got 2 of these bad boys, 1 Iron Demon and 1 Demon's Tongue. The Bellator's character is hands down the most meta Chaos Dwarf Lord because he heals when your opponent casts spells, so he's incredibly hard to snipe. He's got good breath attack. He also has Burning Head. He's an excellent fighter. One of the better combat, you know, monster characters in the entire game, in my opinion. So that's one of the staples of the Chaos Dwarves. On top of that, we do have the Death-Free Rocket Launcher. Always a good choice. You know, if the greenskins decide to get cheeky and bring anything big, it can snipe it. But Death Freaks are good because of their dual utility, right? They can do so well against infantry and against monsters, which makes them a very, very solid pick for sure. All right, on the backside here, we got Hobgoblin Cutthroats, Laborers, and Goblin Laborers there, and it is going to be some sneaky gits coming up to hold the objective, battling their cousins on the other side, and that is going to be it for Hashit's Chosen. All right, so looking at the greenskin build for old Housecat, I dig it. It's very, very standard. Goblin Great Shaman with the sniping kit. A second Night Goblin Shaman trying to snipe down the big Lord, which is the problem with this sniping kit is that when you try and snipe him, he actually heals, but it still can't work. And a Giant. Now, this is a little bit off meta, in my opinion, in this matchup. It is a nice anchor piece, which gives you a tool against train spam, because train spam has been pretty good for Chaos Dwarves for a while. So having a big SE that is basically unbreakable sitting on an objective, and tabletop Giants are actually unbreakable. I don't know why they're not in the game. I wouldn't even be opposed if Giants were unbreakable, honestly. In tabletop, they are, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I could just be getting old and forgetting things, but I'm pretty sure they are. But yeah, the Giant's good against the trains. It can sit on the objective and take him to the club. Aside from that, a lot of Air Boys, Savage Orcs, you know, classic WoW. Gonna be swarming all over the place and having some fun. So, the battle is on, ladies and gentlemen. And the Chowie trains, the Chaos Dwarves, they're gonna be cruising up. Iron Demons are super, super cool. I'm actually planning, so in Tabletop, in the old world, which I play, I have an Empire army, I have a Nurgle army, and then I have a Tomb King's army. And the fourth army I'm going to be starting is Chaos Dwarves. I'm super, super excited. Super excited for it. I love the aesthetic of the Chaos Dwarves. Like it's just, they're so cool looking. All right, so we see the Demon's Tongue as well as the Iron Demon moving in, and they're just going to go for a big terror route. The Greenskins army is wider, so it's not going to be as strong in individual positions as the Chaos Dwarfs can be here. So we see the Hashit Bull as well as the Iron Demons moving in and definitely doing some big damage here. Squigs are going to be getting melted pretty good. You can see the leadership of the Squig herds getting burnt. Yeah, it's already getting cooked here, which is quite nice. In response, every time I say in response, it makes me think of Magic. You know, the dreaded blue player going to be dropping counter spells. Nice burning head there by Hitman Hippo. Oh, and the Death Streak, the 1-2 punch, insta-breaking those Savage Orc Air Boys. That's got to feel pretty good. But now the Giant's going to be surging through the tree line. We do see the Iron Demons using more power to get away. But a lot of damage going down on that Demon's Tongue. That is certainly not the best start for the Chaos Dwarves. It looks like the Savage Orc Air Boys in tandem with the Vindictive Glares are being used to snipe the Demon's Tongue. So this is where it really, really shows how incredibly clever Housecat is here, right? Because normally you would be like, oh, Lord Snipe. But he goes after the train because he knows it can't heal, whereas this guy can. So he's trying to take out one of the big terror-causing assets. But the train is able to get away, and it is Thomas the Pain Engine is really rolling through there and doing so much damage against those orcs. My goodness, they are getting absolutely melted right there. Leadership's going to be very fickle as well. Now looking at value, Housecat is up by a little, and Housecat is going to be taking advantage of his wide army to try and press the back point. It's got Savage Orcs and Goblins against Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits. And Sneaky Gits are honestly, they have some good damage against Shaft. They have the bonus for infantry and whatnot. But they are going to get some help from the Bull Man and the big Hashit Boys on his way in. Meanwhile, Housecat maybe has an opportunity to steal this objective. We'll have to see. It is starting to flip, and Housecat is up on value. Objective 1 for the Greenskins. Objective 2, though, being held by the Pain Train squad. So the Pain Trains are rolling about. Hobgoblin Cutthroats coming in. A lot of Hobgoblin infantry. Very cool to see them in action. Although now the Waz coming down for Housecat of War. Big damage buff it's going to be. And the Death Freak rocket launcher is now going to start sitting on that Giant the entire game. So that Giant will likely die before the game is said and done if that Death Freak continues shooting at it. Bull Centaurs are out, and they are going to be the Great Weapon variant. Typically against Greenskins, you would want the Great Weapon variant because you have plenty of tools for dealing with infantry. But dealing with Boarboy Biggins and Squigs, you're going to need a little bit of help for that. So it looks like the Bull Centaurs are on their way in. The rocket shooting into the Giant, doing big damage while the trains outmaneuver. Going to keep running through here, and here comes the Bull Centaurs. So anti-large attacks going to start piling into the Giant here, potentially going to be in big danger. And the Pain Train's getting nailed by the Vindictive Glares, but, if you don't kill the Pain Train, it's going to keep bringing the damn pain, and that's the problem, right? You can get these SEs low, but if you don't finish them off, it's just like in Tabletop. Another analogy is, if you're playing in, like, a tournament for Old World, which I played in a tournament, it was a lot of fun. If you don't kill a single entity, you're not going to get your points for it. Even if you bring it down to 1 wound, you need to finish them off to really get your value, right? So here we see the Broken Tusk Mob duking it out with the Bull Centaur renders, but the problem for the Broken Tusk Mob, despite getting magical support, is they're being shanked by a bunch of tiny little goblins as well, whereas the Bull Centaurs have the infantry support advantage, which is a really, really big deal when it comes down to these cavalry fights, although the sneaky stabbing helps quite a bit. So the Giant is forced back, and the Pain Trains, Thomas the Pain Engine, it looks like one is overextending pretty deep into the lines here. So I think this Pain Engine is going to end up paying the Troll Toll. Giant comes in with the steel chair in the back. Nice, big Giant club. Beautiful play there by old Housecat. And down goes the Pain Train. So one Pain Train has fallen, and now we understand why you probably bring a Giant here. It makes sense. It gave the Greenskins a tool that was able to club down one of the Pain Trains. So very, very nice. Now, the other Pain Train is still very functional. It's sitting at a good amount of HP. Obviously, the Vindictive Glares went into sniping the Arawar. Housecat being an absolute beast here in the back, taking the back objective, but Hashit is still in this one, and Hitman Hippo still got a very powerful SE Goon Squad. And Greenskins are a faction that, it can look like everything is going well, right? It can look like, oh yeah, everything's going great, but like 1 or 2 things goes wrong. The late game rolls around, your leadership and your units start to get a little bit fickle, you know, everything can start running if they have terror. So I think that is what Hitman Hippo is going to be banking on here. He does get his Iron Demon into the secondary. Now he's going to be grouping up his big scary characters. So he's got his Iron Demon as well as the Sorcerer Prophet kind of teaming up here. And the Bull Centaur Renders find their prey. So they're going to stay in combat with the Giant, or are they going to retreat? Looks like they're going to retreat and go after the Boar Boys here. Maybe letting the Death Freak Rocket Launcher finish off the Giant. So back objective is going to be retaken by Hashit here. Yeah, we do see the Hobgoblin Cutthroats as well as the Chaos Dwarf Warrior. So some Chowie have made it onto the battlefield. You know, it's mostly Goblins so far, but now we see some Chowie. And they will be able to bash down these Savage Orcs and get up on the point. That is for sure. Death Freak Rocket Launcher putting this Giant down to 3,000 HP. And now we got more Chaos Dwarf Warriors coming up. So a lot of sustainable infantry coming in. Another Burning Head in the back. Beautiful Burning Head right there by Hippo. That's able to browse through the Mangy Marauders as well as these Savage Orc Airboys. Meanwhile, the Giant going to be taking another one of the Pain Trains to the club if the Chaos Dwarves are not careful. Looking at the Giant, it's gotten only 700 value so far. So they're pretty cheap though. I mean, he's on his way to paying for himself. But man, those rockets are doing work, and the Pain Train is sticking in there, trying to actually finish off the Giant. We'll see how that goes. Chaos Dwarf Warriors arriving onto the point, going to be attacked by Savage Orc War Boys, which are an armor-piercing generalist unit, so not the best for the Chowie Warriors. Granted, without cycle charging, maybe they'll be able to hold, but yeah, they're already taking a big beating. Chaos Dwarves definitely in a little bit of trouble up here on the point. We see a lot of greenskins, although the greenskin army is looking pretty beat up. A lot of units that are very tattered back here. Hashit's Chosen have taken Objective 2, and there is going to be a big wave of reinforcements coming in, right? So we got the Cutthroats and Dwarf Warriors. We're going to be surging forth and maybe heading to Objective 1 to push the Greenskins back objective. I think it'd be smarter, though, to consolidate on Objective 3, because Greenskins have some really good rapid response units that could chew up your overextended Chowie infantry. And it looks like that's what's going to be going down here. This is potentially a big Burning Head, but it looks like the Iron Demon taken out. Man, this Giant deserves a promotion. He took down the other Iron Demon with, of course, the support of Savage Orc War Boys, but both of the Pain Trains for the Chaos Dwarves are offline right now. But the Giant is almost dead, and with the Giant being gone, there is a chance the Sorcerer Prophet could really be bullying. He's at 328 HP. Is there a rocket coming in? Oh, it is in spray fire mode, and the Death Freak Rocket Launcher helps to get a massive rout. And look at the Greenskins. They are not happy about this. They're all very low. There's giant scary monsters next to them that are on fire, and they're like, screw this, we're going back to the Badlands. Greenskins get a mass rout right there, as now the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders, with their Cowardly Despoilers, going to be getting a big damage buff as they chase them down. Very, very powerful. So another unit of Savage Orcs is going to be coming in, and the Death Freak Rocket Launcher with the Steel Chair, and down goes the Giant. He falls to the earth. The Chaos Dwarf Artillery finally doing the big damage it needs to do and finishing off the Giant. That Death Freaker has been such an MVP. Such an MVP. 1,400 here, which is great. So now are the Greenskins going to make a play for the back objective? The problem for the Greenskins is this is a close enough game that if, you know, if the Chaos Dwarfs just sit on 2 objectives, they're straight up going to just win this. So we do see the Wolf Riders. This, and talk about cost effective, right? Like 2 relatively healthy units being chased down by 1 Wolf Rider here. A huge Burning Head in the backfield. So nice. Goes through all 3 of those units. And now the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire looks like he's going to be lining up for a breath attack. Oh, yes. Hashit Bless, he gets a good breath attack right there. Probably going to rout off those Savage Orcs. They are currently flammable and also burnt. So their leadership very, very low. And I think Chaos Dwarfs have kind of clinched this game here, guys. It looks like they have. Yeah, looking pretty darn good. They got the Bull Centaur Renders. They have a lot of infantry coming up. Sneaky gets. And this character, the Sorcerer Prophet, is such a raid boss. He is going to be so hard to take down. With the little Vindictive Glare characters running out of steam, like they're just not here anymore. And I don't know how you're going to deal with them. Sorcerer Prophet heading back over towards objective number 2 here. The wall looking very beat up. Squigs are very hard countered in open field, by the way, by Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. These guys are actually pretty formidable for what they cost. I think they're one of the better units on the Chaos Dwarf roster, and they're going to be coming and just smashing these Squigs. Greenskins looks like they're going to make a second kind of wind attack here on objective number 3, but I don't know. Their lords have already fled the battlefield. The Goblins probably were unsummoned or hidden when they ran out of Winds of Magic. And now Deathstreaker's just going to be unleashing hell onto the Savage Orc Airboys. We do have Goblin Rock Clobbers. Oh, that's kind of a cool idea. Rock Clobber's not terrible against like Chowie Warriors and things like that. Sneaky gets, and more and more Cutthroats are on their way up. And the big Bale Taurus character, where's he going? Dude, I love the bull. It's so cool. Savage Orc Warboys here at 30 models left. The Bull Centaur Render is pretty much full model count at 16 of 16. The back objective of Housecat here probably going to be compromised. He does call in more Savage Orcs, but there's just such an overwhelming advantage for the Chaos Dwarfs at this point. You have to remember the Chaos Dwarfs do have some healing too. Oh, there still is a Goblin on the battlefield. Okay, so The Night Goblin Shaman is still here casting spells. Yeah, he's still around. He's still hanging out. Oh, God, that burning head. Oh, that's so much damage. Oh, God, absolute carnage as it just cooks the entire Greenskin army. That was a god tier burning head. Oh, my God. If there was any hope for House Cat, it just went out the window with that burning head. Absolute destruction, ladies and gentlemen, as we see the Orc boys as well as the Savage Orcs getting steel chaired into another dimension right there. That was like the perfect burning head. 2 squishy units, just awesome stuff. On the back point here, we do see the Chaos Dwarf Warriors as well as the Hobgoblins trying to contest this point. They might be able to flip it, but they honestly don't even need to. From here, we do see the Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits holding on to the point. Chaos Dwarves, it looks like their artillery finally ran out of ammunition. Oh, it actually got killed. Oh! So we didn't notice this entire time. Very well played to Housecat. He got sneaky. He was using his Night Goblin Shaman to Vindictive Glare the Death Shrieker, and he does manage to kill it, but not before it takes down the Giant and pays for itself. So a little bit dicey. We got more Wolf Riders pushing up, and right now I think that Hitman Hippo is more than happy to send his chaff units to push into the Greenskin secondary here to keep them from pushing up. And this Bale Taurus, there's no answer for the Bale Taurus. There's none. I mean, Housecat's build was kind of one of those builds that was like, I'm going to go wide and I'm going to punish you on all 3 objectives and, wah and outvalue you. But it didn't quite work out that way. It got stuffed a little bit over here on objective 3. And this Bale Taurus character and the Pain Trains did okay too. Although Housecat did an excellent job of dealing with the Pain Trains. He did a very, very good job. Is it going to flip here? The Bale Taurus character sitting with his 70 armor, tanking these shots like an absolute champ. Hobgoblin Riders able to ride down the last of the Savage Orc Air Boys, and I just think that's got to be it. I mean, Housecat fighting, he knows this, like his whole tournament's on the line here. If he loses this game, oh no, is this game 2? Okay, I'm just out there. Yeah, this is game 2. No, he has another chance, and he's fine. Yeah, but here we see the old Sorcerer Prophet just grinding down these units. These are the Arwar Goblins, right? Yeah, they're unbreakable, so they're not going to be any terror routes for those. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that is got to be it for the Greenskins. I don't see any chance. I mean, they're just trickling in. The dreaded Reaganomics are going strong here. A couple Fanatics being loosed. Fanatics not as overpowered as they are in Tabletop. They're disgusting in Tabletop. Oh my god. One of the most broken mechanics in all Tabletop. But yeah, I like seeing the Hobgoblins being used. It's very thematic like Chaos Dwarf Army, right? You have like a ton of Hobgoblins and Laborers, and then there's a couple of Chowie units mixed in, right? Like the Elites, which I think is definitely a stronger way to play Chaos Dwarves than trying to mass like Chaos Dwarf Infantry. Although there are matchups where you want to spam Chaos Dwarf Infantry. Like if you're playing Chaos Dwarves versus regular Dwarves, for example, you're going to want to probably bring the Armor Piercing or just the basic Dwarf Warriors, I think, is going to be the thing. All right, so back objective going to be flipping here. Sorcerer Prophet just going bananas. Housecat scrapping tooth and nail, but you know, I think this is a foregone conclusion. We do see the Bull Centaurs tearing these units apart. Objective not flipping quite yet, but probably will be in a second. Once the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders maybe get a rear charge into these, we'll have to see. We see Cutthroats coming up, Goblin Laborers, Orc Laborers also heading towards objective 1. And yeah, there's no way. I don't see how he does it. Really good intercept here using the Wolf Riders to take down Squigs. Squigs are not very good. They're okay against like cavalry-sized units, but typically they don't trade super well into things that aren't infantry. Cutthroats have arrived, providing full capture weight. Goblin Laborers and Orc Laborers are heading to the back point, and the Bull Centaur, or the Bullman, the Sorcerer Prophet on his giant Great Bale Taurus here. Just absolute menace. Yeah, no chances. I mean, we got a couple Boar Boys coming in, but that's going to be a rock hard triple cap, ladies and gentlemen. I respect all of you too much to pretend like this is still a game. So we're going to fast forward through this at this point. Obviously, the players are playing tooth and nail, but this one is just so over. Because it's going to rapidly become a situation where the Chaos Dwarfs can just sit on the back point. You can see the Sorcerer Prophet is just dominating everything that comes his way. The Greenskins didn't really have much to deal with him. So, GG. Well played, hash it, bless. And now we got a series on our hands. Today is like the opposite. I feel like all the previous tournaments we've had, the community clashes and Everchosens and various official events we've done, it's been like sweeps in every series, but it seems like the community is getting stronger. Like there's more high-level players than there have been in the past at any given time that can like compete against the other top players. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's pretty wild. So the Giant ended up getting only 900 value, but it still did give some good stopping power against the trains. And it was a big tank. It ate a lot of shots. Yeah, nothing here did too crazy in terms of the value. Oh, wow. Mangy Marauders at 1350. Really nice. And the Sniper Vindictive Glare Squad was good, but it wasn't able to deal with this beast. 4,000 value for Hashit, man. Crazy. Death Shriek, 1600. 1,000, 1,300. Beautiful stuff indeed. And yeah, wow, good performance from the Bull Centaurs too. They were able to get on the ideal targets. So the greenskins have been taken down by the Chaos Dwarves, and that is going to be 1-1. And now we are going to be jumping on over to game 3, which I'm very excited for. I've been enjoying this series very, very much. And we're going to be looking at the bracket real quick. Oh, that's the wrong bracket. That is an old bracket from many moons ago. There we are. All right. So here we have it. Tim the Wilder winning his first series against Lord Chicken Feed, winning his series 2-1. And Lord Chicken Feed will be playing the third place match. And now it's going to be Hitman Hippo and House Cat of War playing their rubber match, game 3, to decide who's going to be facing off against Tim the Wilder in the grand finals. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Tim the Wilder won the last clash. So he is the defending champion as of right now. Tim the Wilder is. So we're going to see who gets it. Yeah, those brackets were from the last finals, I think. Yeah. Yeah, Dwarf's got some sneaky tactics. They're a lot of fun, man. I love playing Chaos Dwarves. I love it. Production value all day, every day, baby. All right. So let's fire it off. Let's get into the next game. That is the great thing about this, is we can just get through these games really quick. There's no lag. There's no downtime between matches. Life is good. All right. So let's see what we got here. Oh, you guys ready to travel on over to Hawkland and see what's going on? Because I sure am. Gonna have a drink of water here real quick, and then we'll be getting into the next match. Thank you guys all for joining. Quite a fun one. Yeah, Chaos Dwarves are rad. They're so cool. I would say my 3 factions right now are Empire, Chaos Dwarves, and Nurgle. I'm loving that range of factions. It's really fun. Do you think the Chaos Dwarf... I liked it a lot, but it depends on what you're... I mean, I think they're a very fun faction. They're very fun. Chaos Dwarf, their campaign armies can be absolutely foul. Like the blunderbusses, the artillery spam, Dreadquakes against AI, like it can be super devastating. Yeah. What is the rule for players here? If you're asking about the format of the event, basically I had an open qualifier a couple weeks ago. Anybody was welcome to play. And the top 4 individuals from that qualifier qualified for this event. And this event is the big money event. There's over $1,000 in prize. I think the total prize pool is like close to $2,000, which is pretty substantial. So every player gets a prize for reaching top 4. Even if you get, last place in today's event, you're still going to be getting a prize, which is pretty cool because the players earned it. They played through a really sweaty qualifier to get here. So they all really, really earned it. Yeah. Welcome. All right. Tabletop channel's coming in the summer. It's going good. We're building terrain right now. Yeah. So the wife and I, she's super talented with all that kind of stuff. She's printing out terrain. So we're making an Empire Village. We're gonna do like I think a Nurgle like fetid battlefield, which is gonna be really fun. It's gonna be great. Hey Cactus, thank you for becoming a channel member. Greatly appreciate it. Yes. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, tabletop channel is going to be summer. I want to get 4 armies together, and I have 3 armies right now. They're almost fully painted. I just finished painting a steam tank last night, as well as a Tzeentch wizard for my Nurgle army, just to provide a little bit of utility. And then I just need to finish basing the Tomb Kings, and then we'll start on our Chaos Dwarf army for our 4th army. This is going to be really fun. So the tabletop channel, what we're going to open up with, and this will be the last thing I say before we advance onto the next game, is we're going to open with like a mini faction war. So I'm going to get 4 of my buddies, and we're going to have like a faction war, which is going to be really fun. There'll be 8 factions, but yeah, it's going to be great. So I'll be playing, for a handful of the factions, and then we'll probably get vampire counts in there. We'll get beastmen in there. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right. Anyways, enough rambling. We're here for the players today, baby. We're going to Hawkland once again. The Haunted Vale is upon us. It's going to be a minimum cost Balthasar Gelt, just, taking an administrative position in the hills. But the big thing here is going to be Hawkland Long Rifles, which are amazing against Dark Elves. Couple great swords and double cannons as well with the Bright Wizard. Interesting build. Interesting build indeed. What city am I in? I live in Southern California. Yeah, I live like, not too far away from Los Angeles. I suppose about an hour away. Yeah. Not too far away. All right, guys. Let's get this party. Let's get it started, yes? Oh, God. The old man aches and pains. Gotta stretch the old shoulders out. Let's go, baby. Haunted Vale is one of my favorite maps. It's a great one. It's one of our Total Tavern maps. Hopefully something that CA would add to the game eventually. It's really, really nice aesthetic, and it has a cool open field. This is a really fun map for like open field duels. I like it a lot. All right, guys. Taking a look at the Imperial Army. It's going to be State Troopers in the front. Spearmen with the Shields are hands down probably the most cost-effective Empire front line. They're not going to ever win any fights per se, but they have really insane holding power for how much they cost. So, yeah, it's pretty great. So we got Spearmen, double cannons. Cannons will potentially struggle against bolt throwers, but if they don't bring bolt throwers, cannons will be excellent against the Dark Elf, Flying Lords, Repeater Crossbow Cavalry, Cold One Riders, all that sort of good stuff. On top of that, we're taking them to Hochland, baby. We have the Hergig Jaeger Corps. So these guys are awesome. They can, and what's cool about Hochland long rifles on this map is they can sit in the tree line and they can shoot out of the trees and they can't be seen, which is so flavorful and cool. But talk about glass cannons. If they get hit by a Dark Rider, they're going to fold like a piece of paper. Yeah, they're going to get melted pretty quickly. So it's going to be 2 Great Swords, triple Hochland Long Rifle, Bright Wizard, and that is basically it for the build. Yes, yes. Aside from that, we do got Bleak Swords for old House Cat of War. So House Cat's going to be rocking a big old front line of Bleak Swords and Dark Shards in the secondary. Interesting. So he's going to be bringing in his own firepower to try and kill Great Swords, it would appear. He's got 3 of those. I think a little bit hard to see because of the tree line and a Supreme Sorceress of Dark Magic. On the outside, new domination mode. Objectives open up very, very quickly, obviously. So here we do see House Cat using his speed and mobility advantage to grab objective 3 and start going up on points. Grape Shot is not in multiplayer. No, that's only for single player. Yeah. Unless I'm missing something and I'm crazy, but I'm like 90% sure that's the case. All right, I'm like 99% sure. Outrider's going to move up and grab a point as well, and what's cool is we can do a little bit of fast forwarding to get the players in position, and they're both kind of building up and just kind of assessing their opponents. The Empire has a very comfortable position here. They have their 2 great cannons just really, really placed well to be able to cover objectives 1 and 2, and potentially even reach objective 3, which is crazy good value, right? And now, yeah, the Hergig Jaeger Corps as well as the Hochland Long Rifle stand at the ready, General, to rip some fat, cost-effective shots into the advancing Dark Elves. Great Sword's going to be moving up, and the battle is soon to be on. Big damage going into the Dark Riders here. They get pounded by the Imperial cannons. Yeah, they're not having a good time. Farewell. Outriders chasing them off. Dark Elves do have the Supreme Sorceress of, it should be Malekith. Big old Soul Stealer, and, yeah, of course, the Ward Save item, Opal Amulet, Noxious Breath. Dark Elves going to be positioning their Dark Shards and Corsairs and Bleak Swords. And the rest of the army is going to be hiding here, getting ready to advance. So what's going to happen here is House Cat's going to make a play to secure Objective 3 so the Empire can't take it. And then he's going to push out the rest of his army and try and overwhelm the Empire defensive position. Big rifle shots coming in from the Outriders. Meanwhile, Empire Knight's going to surge forth to try and stop the Dark Riders from moving in. And yeah, the Druchii going to go for a full envelop, it looks like. It's going to take a minute to set up, but they should get there shortly. Who calls? The Nation calls, apparently. So far, Empire today is, I believe, 2-1. I think we saw them lose against the Greenskins in the first match of the stream, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think we saw them win twice, right? Yeah, the Steam Tank game was a win, or maybe they're 1-1. I know we've seen them at least twice today. Oh, yeah. Thunderbarch is banned. So the Empire also has good mobility. So they're able to use their Outriders and Empire Knights to grab this. I'm happy to see that Outriders are actually like being used now. They're a very cool unit. A very high risk, high reward. Glass cannon, highly mobile, but if they get caught, they get killed almost instantly. But yeah, they do some good damage. Very, very respectable. They can't shoot 360 like a wagon can. I still think war wagons have some really good utility against like chaos factions. Factions that are excellent at like hunting you with warhounds and whatnot. But yeah, cavalry charge going into the Dreadspears here. Oh, big charge from those Empire Knights. Takes a lot of HP off, but is it going to be worth it for them? Will the Empire Knights be able to get away? I think they will. Overall, that was good, and you can see the cannons of the Empire shooting from downtown, getting some, cost-effective shots into the chaff. Granted, they're going to want to switch on to the Supreme Sorceress, who has popped the Opal Amulet, giving a little bit of ward save. Here we see the Outriders trying to put some hurting fire down onto the Cold One Knights, and now the Dark Elves probably really regretting not going triple Bolt Thrower. On this map, if the Dark Elves had gone triple Bolt Thrower, parked them up here, they probably, they would probably be able to go Spray Fire mode against the Hochland Long Rifles and do some really good damage. Yeah, it's tricky. Bolt Throwers have always been pretty good against Empire. They're good against war wagons, good against cavalry characters. Spray Fire mode against Hochland Long Rifles with like Overcasted Spirit Leech could probably snipe those things down very effectively, but we're going to see. Hitman Hippo with some very good micro right now. He's moving these Empire Knights around, getting a lot of good chipping damage on these infantry, and not taking any casualties really in the process. But now the Druki going to be securing Objective 3, and on the outside, we do see the 2 units of Dark Riders at the ready. So they're going to be probably trying to swarm through the woods to find some opportunities to get in. Empire Knights being called in to defend the Hawk on long rifles. But talk about good shooting, right? And the Harrogate Jaeger Corps, that's like 2 Giselle units. They're very similar to like Skaven Giselles in terms of their damage output. But, you know, this is like 3,000 gold worth of units blasting into 1 Corsair unit and just melting them into the Shadow Realm. So, proper Empire shooting, yes. Big Decay going down, and now they're going to be switching on to the Dark Shards, which, oh, Shield Breaker is active on the Jaeger Corps. So they're able to break the shields of the Dark Shards here. That is really good. But now the Dark Elves have arrived. We are going to see some Bleak Swords moving in, and the Missile Corps in the backfield has been getting some massive value. Dark Rider's being called in for Housecat of War. Plenty of ways to get in. He could like weave through here if he wants to, or go around the outside. Also, this side of the formation's potentially open, but good intercept here. Empire Knights running into the Dark Riders, keeping them from advancing through. But now the backfield pressure is underway. Oh, that's going to be a fat Soul Stealer from Housecat. So Housecat lands his Supreme Sorceress. He gets on top of the Hawkland Long Rifle, starts immediately massacring them. And that Soul Stealer was a thing of the gods. Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Look at the damage on the Harrogate Jaeger Corps. They're getting melted. So that was a really, really nice play by Housecat. And he immediately pulls that value back. He was in the pits of value, but now he's basically dead even. On the outside, we are going to be seeing some Dark Riders trying to work around the edge of the map here. Meanwhile, the Dark Riders and Outriders coming in to try and put some hurt down on the Supreme Sorceress. But man, that Sorceress is causing a lot of problems here, ladies and gentlemen. Causing a ton of problems. And the Dark Elves are getting a pretty cost-effective push. Granted, the Empire is maintaining a little bit of a value lead. They still do have some Hawkland Long Rifles alive, but how are they going to be dealing with this big dragon character? Are we going to see some Demogryph Knights being called in? Something big? Who knows? Now, Greatswords moving up to intercept, but they are taking a lot of Dark Shard fire. Greatswords normally would do really, really well against Corsairs and these various infantry pieces, but with Dark Shard support, the Dark Shard's armor piercing is pretty incredible, and we're probably going to see the Greatswords losing this fight, unless the Swordsmen are able to close the distance quickly enough and shut down those Dark Shards from, punishing them really badly. Now, in the backfield, Outriders still mowing in. The Empire front line holding pretty well. You have to remember, those Hawkland Long Rifles did excellent damage against the advancing Druki and really softened them up on the advance, right? So there was some good value being had there. And now another fat Soul Stealer going to be coming down from this Dragon Lord here. It's going to be nailing the Greatswords, probably finishing off the Harrogate Jaeger Corps, maybe getting this cannon offline. We'll have to see. But yeah, this Dragon character has been an absolute menace in the backfield, and it's currently sitting at 1,700 value with more to come. So the Jaeger Corps does get back into the tree line, and they still have 18 of 32 models, so their firing capacity is still quite good. And the Empire has finally cleaned up his backfield. The huge core of Empire Knights and Outriders sweeping through the advancing Druki that are trying to get in. Talk about an unholy Zerg of armor, right? Oh, and we have Knights of the Black Rose, too. Now, Knights of the Black Rose here are, I like them. They're a little bit weak against Coldland Knights, but if you just bring one as like an anti-infantry tech to keep them from penetrating into your backfield too hard, I think there is something to be had there. So Dragon character is getting shot. The Hawkland Long Rifles ripping downtown, it looks like, so not into the Dragon. They appear to be shooting into the advancing units. Coldland Knights on the way up, backside objective. It looks like some Swordsmen are just chasing Dark Shards into the Shadow Realm there, so not too much exciting action here. But how is Hitman Hippo going to pull this game back? He has really pushed back. Granted, Hitman Hippo is massively ahead on points, so he has a metric ton of time to get his value back here. You can see the Jaeger Corps here going to get attacked by the Supreme Sorceress. Both cannons still online, but no, maybe not for long. One cannon maybe gets compromised here, and okay, the other cannon did go offline as well. Knights of the Black Rose doing a really good job against infantry, which is what they're very good at, but now being attacked by Coldland Knights, so good micro from Hippo. And also very good target priority by Housecat. But you're going to want to get away here from the big scary Coldland Knights. And oh baby, who do you call in your hour of need? All hail the mighty, I guess. It's going to be a landship. So the landship has arrived in the time of need. I just like my headcanon for that is like the Empire's in trouble and they're like, summon the Elector landship. And it comes from the edge of it comes from the reinforcements. It finally wheeled its way from Marienburg. And it's going to be providing some much needed firepower to help deal with the Coldland Knights. The Coldland Knights do get run over by the landship. In the backfield, the Dragon character causing massive havoc, but the Empire's doing pretty well in many other engagements. Greatswords here, as well as Empire Knights are able to Ghostbusters, yeah. The landship is there, baby. And, I mean, the Dark Elves are beat up as hell, too. Remember, they have a big, expensive Dragon character, and they took a ton of damage on the advance. Like, those rifles really melted quite a bit. But now it's landship in time, and honestly, the landship might be able to maneuver around and cause some big, big havoc. We'll have to see. So yeah, it's going to be running into the back of these bleak swords. It isn't the ROR, so it doesn't cause terror, but in this matchup, you would not want to bring the ROR. The ROR is better against like infantry, but Dark Elves have a lot of SEs, and well, not a lot, but they have a really powerful SE as well as Coldwood Knights, which are one of your biggest problems. So I think going for this landship is going to be the safer bet. Another Soul Stealer going down here, going to be a very nice one. In the meantime, the Empire does have its Knights of the Black Rose and Empire Knights being hunted once again by Coldwood Knights. Collins to the back going to be not Great Swords. Great Swords being sent back to heal at the battle tents there, as the Hakon Long Rifles are going to be still partially online. There are 10 of them, but yeah, I don't know. Time is ticking, man, and Housecat's got that sweet triple cap. Landship in the meantime is battling it out versus Coldwood Knights, and the Coldwood Knights are getting some good damage against it. It is losing HP very, very rapidly, but those things are very tanky. Landships also have insane mass, and if they get a little bit of support, it should be able to escape. So Empire Knights charge again. There it comes, the big dragon character. Basically, it reminds me of playing against Warriors of Chaos in tabletop. It's just like you just kind of ignore the dragon and kill everything else, and you're just like hoping that you can hold on and it doesn't murder everything, right? So Landship circling about, full power ahead. Yeah, and I see some of you folks in chat discussing the Landship. I think the Landship personally needs a bit of a cost increase, and in land battle, it's way more problematic because it basically has infinite ammo. In Dom mode, it's very good, and it certainly needs a cost increase, but nowhere near as OP as it is in land battle. That's for sure. That would be my 2 cents on that. But yeah, Landship's going to be getting attacked by the Supreme Sorceress, and yeah, she's a powerful dragon. Certainly can wear this thing down if she's able to stick on it. Coldwood Knights jumping on that bad boy. Looking at the value here, man, it's Housecat climbing back in here, man. 730 points. Empire, I think. Oh no! Oh no! This could maybe have cost Housecat. Oh man. I did not notice this. This could be a colossal blunder, which could lose. Oh, what a rough one. This could totally have lost. Man, if Housecat loses like just barely on points, we know why. This objective has been owned by the Empire for a long time. He didn't finish capping it. I think he just realizes now, because the Empire's still getting points. I saw that and I was a little bit confused. I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? The Empire has been kept in this game by the fact that this objective has not been fully taken. Oh man, that is extremely brutal. And that gives the Empire so much leeway. If that had been captured by Housecat, you know, he would be potentially ahead on points right now, or even. Oh, dude. That is so rough. I did notice. It was so hard to see, though. It's such a minor thing. I'm focusing more on the action here, but yeah, honestly, that could really cost Housecat the game. So Landship is going to be cruising over, running over the Dark Shards. The Dragon is doing a good job keeping this Landship in check. It's almost dead. State Troopers have arrived. And these are no mere State Troopers. These are the Great Swords of Sigmar. Great Swords will dominate these Druchii infantry. As long as the Dark Shards get taken offline by the Landship, that should be all good. So Landship rolling in, steam powered, baby. And yeah, not doing bad. We do see the Dark Shards getting routed there as the Knights of the Black Rose come in to help. Great Swords as well. Is this double Greatsword? Oh, no. It's just one Greatsword, one Swordsman. They should win that fight, and the Landship is just going to go hunt down all the archer units, which makes sense. Empire, what are they going to be up to now? Yep, they're moving across. They got States Troopers heading to Objective 2. So they're going to be refocalizing their efforts on Objective 2 and 3, rather than trying to play the outside where the Dark Elves have firm control. And the Landship is for sure hailing the mighty. It's going to be running over the Dark Shards here, so Dark Shards getting routed back. Great Swords will be incredibly effective at holding down this objective, and now the Empire really has their clutches on this point. They really do. More Empire Knights being called in. The dreaded Landship, though, this thing is doing so good at distracting the Dragon character. It's already at 2,000 value because the broadside shooting and the cannon shooting is so effective. That's going to be a good Soul Stealer, though. Really, really nice. It's going to be hitting 2 units here. In the meantime, State Troopers arriving to the middle point. Dark Elves a little bit out of position with these Bleak Swords, although if they reroute them here, they should be okay. But yeah, this objective might flip to the Empire as well. And man, he's going to regret not grabbing that objective. He's really, really going to regret it. So rear charge coming in. We do see the Crows of Cain getting in there. And yeah, they do good damage. They got 44 weapon strength. Decent damage. But the Empire's got their clutches on that one. Empire Knights here still pretty healthy. They could fight Coldwood Knights, but overall going to be a bad fight. Landship is doing really well. It's been able to shut down the Dark Shard units and has occupied this dragon the entire time. The entire time. Supreme Sorcerer is popping Opal Amulet to provide a little bit of ward save, maybe against some of the broadside shooting that the Landship has. Middle objective has been taken by the Sons of Sigmar, and there is a lot of State Troopers here, ladies and gentlemen. We got 3 or 4 Spearman units, a couple of which are very, very healthy. The Greatsword's very stubborn, able to defeat the Harpies. Now, Greatswords are sleeper very good against Harpies because they have bonus for infantry. And Harpies are actually infantry size. They're not monsters, right? So, yeah, overall there, man, those guys are getting the dirty. They're getting the dirty. Objective 3 being held. We got more Empire Knights being called in. I think that Hitman Hippo knows he just needs to hold now. He doesn't need to, you know, outvalue the Dark Elves anymore because Dark Elves are considerably ahead on value. But you see, the Dragon character cannot be everywhere at once, right? They can't be everywhere at once. So that's kind of what the Empire's banking on, is that they're just going to be playing around the field and trying to, you know, swarm them, basically. So more State Troopers on the way up. Coldwood Knights do get charged by Empire Knights. Coldwood Knights obviously massively favored in that fight, but the Empire Knights being much healthier, they might be able to hold here. 1,300, oh man, Housecat has got to be regretting that one objective right now, because it would just be such a razor-close game. He would have a lot more time, but now time is not on his side. Big breath attack coming in from Housecat. Can he dig himself out of the pits of not capturing that objective? Find out on today's episode of Dragon Ball Z. Big breath attack going down. Spearman getting melted right there. Beautiful stuff, but this is going to become a Helm's Deep situation, and what the Empire is going to do is they're just going to hunker down with elite units, air quotes by elites, Empire Knights and Greatswords on the backside objective here, and that is basically going to be it, I think. I don't think he has enough time. He's for sure going to get this objective back, and I think if Housecat hadn't blundered that capture, I don't know how long it was like that for, but it must have been a long time. It would have been, he might have the time to do this, right? Because he would get this objective, and maybe, although even still, the Empire does have some really good holding power here with the Empire Knights and the Greatswords, which have very good leadership by Sigmarite standards. So yeah, we do see those guys moving up on the point. Objective 2 is going to be going to the Druki here in a second. And I just don't think they have the time. That's it. GG, well played. GG, well played. Sigmar endures once again. But that time, you know, Sigmar was definitely in the losing position. But that one blunder, I think, cost Housecat. The score would be exponentially closer. And, you know, he probably would have the time to make a play for this objective with his dragon. That one has gotta... That one's gotta hurt. But, you know, it happens, man. It happens. You know, and... Hippo did capitalize on that and was able to hold the points very, very well. Hulkland long rifles were awesome this game. Granted, Dark Elves did an excellent job of shutting them down too. And you can see the value lead does favor the Dark Elves quite a bit. And yeah, not much more to say. GG, well played. Sigmar holds. All right, with that, we are going to be seeing Hitman Hippo defeating Housecat of War and advancing on to the grand finals, the ultimate sweat battle to face Tim the Wilder. Our third place match, which is going to be coming up after our halftime show, is going to be Housecat of War against Lord Chicken. So we're going to see how that one unfolds. And that is it. The dreaded Pixel. It is indeed. Man, GG, well played. Good series between those two. Good series. That was awesome. All right, you guys ready for some high production value? It's go time, baby. You ready for this? Here it comes. Brace yourselves. We go to the bracket. Oh, yeah. So that is Hippo. So we copy, and then watch this. And then we paste. And then we move it just like that. Oh, yeah, dude. Look how clean that was. And then we need to get Housecat as well. Copy that. And we paste here. Where is it? Pasting this. Oh, yeah, dude. I'm so good at this. I'm sure all the major television stations are looking to hire me now. UI won the game. Yeah. UI was pretty good. We get a halftime show. Yes. So that is the first couple games finished here. And now we're going to be moving on to our fun showcase battle, which is going to be a massive horde of Nurgle facing off against the Empire. We have several tournament players playing in it, so it's quite fun. I'm going to be leading Tamarcon. I think the best moment in that game, though, was when the land ship emerged. Like, the Empire looked like it was getting run over and everything was grim. And then the land ship just charges from off the map to rescue the troopers. It was like a movie scene. So Nurgle has been getting played at the high level a little bit, but none of the guys that are playing today are Nurgle players, to my knowledge. So you might not see Nurgle, but you will see them in the showcase match. So, yeah. Grandpa Turin just got his first personal. Yeah, it's true. All right, guys. So I'm going to take a quick break while I go grab some goodies. And then we're going to go to the third place match, which is going to go down right after this. So here comes the halftime show. Hopefully I remember to edit it. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right. Good luck. Have fun. That's it. Let me double check this here real quick to make sure. Yeah, should be fine. Yeah, Tim the Wilder's in the grand finals. He's the defending champion. Marienburg calls. He does indeed. Okay. See you guys in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well and welcome to our halftime show. Today we have a massive battle between the forces of Nurgle and a last alliance of men and dwarves who have rallied to the Northern Empire provinces, which clearly are having some problems here to stop the tide of infestation from spreading even further. Now, as far as the Nurgle alliance goes, it is going to be Tamarkon on his mighty toad dragon, Epidemius leading his demonic host down the center, which makes the most sense, right? Epidemius, as his demons die around him, he then starts giving a physical resist aura to all the demons, which certainly makes him ideal for taking the beating from the initial Empire and Dwarf salvo. We do also have Nurgle Daniel here. Nurgle Daniel is going to be up in the air here with the Plague Drones, as well as the ROR, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's going to be Rotflies and the Plague Drones of Nurgle with the Death Heads grenades, which certainly won't be a bad tech against some of the Empire armor. There's going to be more Plague Bearers here. We do have the Angels of Decay, which are the new ROR, big, scary Nurgle Legion indeed. Now, Malachi Makaisen is going to be holding down the eastern flank, and that's going to be Tamarkon's goal. Tamarkon is going to be rolling through here, trying to stop this Dwarven formation and stop through into the Imperial lines, but the Dwarves do stand resolute with their new Iron Drake. So these guys now have 187 range, backed up by Malachi, who is going to be augmenting their damage and their range, which is quite nice. We do have a flame cannon. Certainly one way to deal with infestations is to burn them out, so we're going to see if that works. We've got some basic slayers as well as doom seekers lurking somewhere. Should be quite a bit of fun. Now, as far as new units go, we'll take a little bit of a pause here before the battle starts and looking at the forces of Nurgle. Epidemius going to be leading the demonic host. Of course, we do have the new Angels of Decay. Tamarkon is going to be bringing his Rot Knights to bear. Rot Knights, a decent answer against Imperial heavy armor with their anti-large and armor piercing. So they will be able to go fisticuffs with Knights of the Black Rose. We do have the Bile Trolls as well as the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle, Marauder Horsemen here on the outside, and that is basically it for the Nurgle armies. Now, for the Empire, they are going to be rocking the dreaded Wonder of the Age, and talk about an absolute powerhouse of a unit against Nurgle, right? It has a mortar on top, has grenade launchers on the side, it has a cannon on the front to shoot at things like Tamarkon. We have the Black Lions War Wagon ROR, which is so good here because of the new Empire Engineer who can restock ammo. So over the course of a long battle, this thing is never going to run out of ammunition here. It is going to be absolutely savage. Theodore Bruckner is coming. Elspeth von Dragon with von Dragon, that's pretty good, with her nasty breath attack. It is going to be very scary indeed. So let the battle commence. The demonic hordes surging up the middle, and you can see the Death's Heads. I really like that. The Angels of Decay kind of keeping Elspeth honest, but they need to be careful not to move into the Imperial shooting. The demonic force is going to be surging through the woods, the Nurglings rolling like little popcorn bandits, Toads coming in, the Sons of Sigmar spears at the ready. General are going to be holding back the demons as the battle for the woods does erupt. Doom Seekers coming forth, the runes on their body glowing with the, I was going to say, erect excitement as they move in to fight demons, which is their power fantasy, right? So the Master Rune of Negation giving the ward save. They also do magic damage, which is quite nice. Tamarkon's forces still maneuvering, getting ready to fight. Tamarkon, it does have the screening of the trees, which is one of the reasons why he took this advance. He does have some Pestigors, which are going to be excellent for outflanking the Imperial position. Demogryph Knights wait to support their Dwarven allies. As the Flame Cannon continues to shoot in, what kind of damage are we seeing here? Okay, it's partially getting through, a little bit obstructed with the line of sight here, but overall, actually, yeah, getting a nice little roast there on those Marauders of Nurgle. Epidemius has moved up in the middle, and we have a massive cavalry engagement on the outside. The Knights of the Black Rose, Elspeth's chosen here, engaging. Karl Franz, wielding the Reikland Runefang and Gal Maraz, is going to be landing with Elspeth, the Dragon 1-2 punch here. You gotta love to see it. The Imperial Griffin and the Carmine Dragon landing together is a pretty epic sight. Now, seeing that the Nurgle forces here are in a little bit of trouble, overwhelmed by two powerful characters, Tamarkon is going to be sending his elites in as well. And we do see the Rot Knights of Nurgle engaging against the Knights of the Black Rose, which is going to be advantageous, of course, for the Rot Knights being an anti-large specialist. But the downside being is that the Empire, even though, you know, they're not about as much about individualism, they're going to be coming in combined arms, supporting one another, and they have a beautiful grenade launcher position. So these two grenade launchers here for Nuln are unleashing a hellish salvo into the Barons of the Bog and the Festering Stooges, and the Black Lions have perched up on the hill, getting excellent line of sight, mowing down the Rot Knights as a matter of fact. So this battle is 100% going to be lost for Nurgle. Meanwhile, in the middle, the Landship pushing into the Imperial Nurgle forces, into the Nurgle forces, and that is a big old battering ram, big damage, full power, full steam ahead. And those Plague Bears and those Nurglings not having the best of times, although this Nurgle force in the middle is probably doing some of the best of the entire Nurgle army, right? They have the cover of trees, they're grinding down the State Troopers, you can see a lot of wear and tear on the Brotherhoods of Grimnir, And now Epidemius is most likely at his full tally. He's at 57%, so all nearby Nurgle demons are going to be getting 9 melee attack and 12% physical resist, which is beautiful. Now Tamarcon is having pretty good success breaking through the flank here. We can see Bubulos as well as the Bile Trolls battling Slayers. Name something more iconic, Slayers battling Trolls. That is pretty epic indeed. But the Marauders are going to be buffering, and Tamarcon is going to be feasting on these dwarves for sure. He is a solid anti-infantry character on the Toad Dragon. The breath attacks can be pretty nasty. And Tamarcon and his Marauders and Pestigors have gone up and around the flank. It looks like they were able to take down the Flame Cannon. Now the Marauders going to be surging forth as the Dwarven position here starts to buckle. But they're doing a valiant job. The Dwarves of Amalekai Makaisen are holding back a massive Nurgle host, allowing the other two Imperial armies to really focus all their firepower on the forces of Epidemius, as well as Chaos Daniel, or Nurgle Daniel, which, where is he? Nurgle Daniel, I believe he's been hunting Karl Franz. He's a pretty damn powerful fighter, and we do see a bit of a duel up here. He has a Bound Spirit Leech, which is really strong. Nurgle Daniel and Franz hammering it out, but it looks like Nurgle Daniel has the advantage. He does get what appears to be a Spirit Leech, as well as a little bit of poison here, and the Plague Drones with the Death Heads are throwing their grenades in. Karl Franz taking a bunch of damage right here. Certainly not a good fight for the Emperor. He's going to need a little bit of help from Elspeth, maybe some ground support from Malachi. But name a more iconic duo as well than Karl Franz and Regrowth. That's something that's been around since the dawn of time. But Tamarcon's hordes have broken through. You see the Marauders surging in and chasing down the Dwarven ranged capabilities. Elspeth trying to support here and push back the Marauders, but she is going to be overwhelmed a little bit by their sheer numbers as well. But talk about something that's going to be good at holding a flank. The Brotherhood of Grimnir, the Runic Dwarves. These guys are absolute lawnmowers. They're going to be excellent at holding back demons and mortals alike. You throw anything at these Doomseekers, and they're going to be pretty damn good against it, right? So they fight really, really hard here, holding back the Nurgle Tide. We're going to see how long they can hold it back for. The demons are surging through the tree line pretty well. The Imperial lines have kind of repositioned out here. You can see the grenade launchers taking advantage of their mobility with the Knights of the Black Rose doing an excellent job at just kind of dealing with infantry, which is their job. And they're going to be very good against like Plague Bears and Nurglings. The Black Lions Arawar, absolute raid boss. The restock is active from the Engineer, and the dreaded Landship is still very, very functional, unfortunately. Can't quite see what they're shooting right now. It looks like they're shooting up and over at the Marauder Horsemen, while the Wonder of the Age continues to rampage through the battlefield. Wonder of the Age, looking at the value it's accrued so far, pretty decent at 700. I guess not as much as I would expect here. The grenade launchers, I suppose, haven't been able to hit home yet, but all in due time, ladies and gentlemen, all in due time. Tamarcon trying to shut down the things that can kill him here in the back, but unfortunately Tamarcon has also presented himself as a bit of a big target. We do see the Black Lions ROR going after him, so Nurgle's favored son is going to get 20% ward save. And I wonder if he gets the missile resist from the Toad Dragon as well. He does. So currently with his ward save from Nurgle's favored son, he is going to be mitigating 45% of the damage coming in, which is very, very good. And so far, the Toad Dragon feasting on the souls of these Dowie here. Meanwhile, in the center of the battlefield, we do see the Plague Drones of Epidemius and Nurgle Daniel landing to fight against the Demogryph Knights. And the Dwarves have a little bit of a holding situation here. They got 3 Slayers. That's pretty much it. The Brotherhood of Grimnir, though, these guys have been linebackers. Look at the spin to win! Man, big damage coming down as they just mow down those Marauder Horsemen as well as those Plague Bears. Spearmen providing a little bit of support. And, you know, kind of a blade of wounds to the Brotherhood of Grimnir. But the Brotherhood of Grimnir has got to have insane value right now. They have just been fighting effectively against things they're good against this entire game. And let's find that value. Kind of hard to see here. I guess we'll have to check back a little bit later on. They don't want to show it to us. But Tamarcon and Nurgle Daniel gathering up. Fecundity going down. The Black Cleaver from Tamarcon as well. It's going to be giving a massive damage buff to all the Pestigors and nearby units. But those Engineers, the Wonder of the Age, unfortunately has escaped death on a couple occasions. It's sitting at 2800 HP. Karl Franz is barely alive as well. There's a lot of things on the Imperial, you could say the good guys, the Last Alliance here, that has just barely survived. Elspeth included is getting smashed pretty good here by the Nurgle Goon Squad. We have a Beast of Nurgle, a Cultist, a Chaos Searcher, and Epidemius himself is actually a really respectable fighter. And they're able to give Elspeth the business, and she is forced to run away. And then Nurgle's going to be turning its lazy, roomy eye here on Karl Franz. But Elspeth, oh god, is it the dreaded Elspeth breath attack? I think it might be. It looks like she's lining up for it. Elspeth flying above, Karl Franz pulling back. Theodore Bruckner staying hard in the fight here. And is it going to be the breath attack? Find out today. We'll have to see. So Tamarcon's been getting hammered, absolutely hammered by those black lines back there. It has been disgusting damage. So in that situation, Tamarcon's going to be rushing in while he's still alive and trying to get some damage on these infantry characters. And he gets a big hit on that Runesmith, -3 leadership. Now Tamarcon with his Bile Trolls are going to be switching onto the Runesmith here, trying to break him down. Meanwhile, Elspeth is going for Nurgle Daniel. She might be able to get the kill. The dragon is going to be landing. Grenade fire at Franz. Oh, the power couple is here. So Franz and Elspeth going to be landing to battle Nurgle Daniel. We'll see if they can get him. He is currently suppressed at 48 speed. Looking on the other side of the battlefield here, we do see the Black Lions ripping really cost-effective shots into Tamarcon. Thankfully, he is unbreakable, though, and he did do some really good damage against the Runesmiths, but he is not long for this Earth, ladies and gentlemen. He's looking really beat up. And will Epidemius and his Nurgle Demon contingent be able to carry this? It is going to be tough. Karl Franz lands, though, doing battle with the Nurgle Demon Prince. Nurgle Demon Prince is disintegrating. Of course, Karl Franz does do magic damage, which gives him some really nice applications. And Nurgle Daniel has fallen. Karl Franz and Elspeth, the tag team, the steel chair combo, they were able to take down the big demon. Now, balance of power is looking really good for the last alliance of men and dwarves here. We see Malachi McKyson making a valiant last stand. Maybe this is where he fulfills his Slayer Oath, battling mighty demons of the plague god. Epidemius holding his tally forth to buff the nearby demons. And it looks like Malachi McKyson is going to fall to the demonic host of Epidemius. But he put up a good fight. He certainly fought very, very well. And that's what he wanted anyways. But look at that. Tamarcon gets mowed down by the Black Lions, as well as the Wonder of the Age. And Tamarcon does fall. And I'm sure his parasite has escaped somewhere. We'll hopefully it found a new host. But unfortunately, it wasn't able to do too much as it pertains to helping to finish off characters. Although it might have been one of the reasons why old Malachi got taken down there. Hard to say. But the Empire is going to be reforming ranks. We do see the Black Lions as well as the Wonder of the Age setting up on this nice hill here. That infinite ammo, not infinite, but a ton of ammo on the Black Lions has been devastating. And now it looks like the demonic hosts of Nurgle are starting to wither in terms of strength. We do have the little demon goon squad here still going strong, but Epidemius was taken out with the Beast of Nurgle as well as the Sorcerer, and the Cultists are pretty much the last bastion of Nurgle's forces. The Blight Boil going down there does take down a whole bunch of the Knights of the Black Rose, and the Bile Troll showing that they're here to party. They're a pretty darn good unit. 1,300 value here. They've paid for themselves. Elspeth taking a little bit of throwing axe fire, but at the end of the day, that is going to be too much for the demons. The Empire and the dwarves are tattered and beaten, but they stand victorious as Nurgle's hordes have been defeated by the combined arms of men and dwarves here. And ladies, of course. Elspeth doing a great job. She was an absolute raid boss this game. Looking at Elspeth von Draken, 4,200 value. Makes sense. There was a lot of big single entities that she could fight. Really powerful death magic, which is always going to get really good value. Black Lions, though, I think are one of the other big MVPs. These things were absolutely insane. Let's take a look at the breakdown and see how they did. So, as far as the players go, it was myself on the surprise, the endgame reveal. It was myself on Tamarcon, Rat in a Cage, on Nurgle Daniel, Professor Pone on Epidemius. We had Outer Region on Elspeth von Draken, Hlidden on the Dwarves, and then last but not least, it was Sunshine on Karl Franz, doing Sigmar proud, baby. Now, let's break down the value in the game and see what did well for us. Looking at Tamarcon, he did okay. I mean, bringing him on the Toe Dragon, this is obviously a showcase match, so we're trying to bring the big fun stuff, but you would never want to bring him on his Toe Dragon against so many shooty factions. It's dangerous, but I'm surprised he did as well as he did. Top of that, Pestigors were nice for flanking. Marauder Horsemen always good here. Rot Knights got crushed. They were kind of unsupported on that flank. The double grenade launchers and the Black Lions just really put them down pretty hard. Bile Trolls were great, though. For Nurgle Daniel, we can see Nurgle Daniel, man, look at that. 2,900 on him, not bad. He put a whooping on the Emperor. It was a menace across the battlefield, not bad at all. And look at this, the Death Head grenades from Nurgle, also able to accrue some respectable value. We're here for Professor Pone. He was our anchor, man. He was our backbone, getting in there, taking the beating for the Plague Father, and he was the last demon standing, really. So overall, that army performed quite well. For Outer Region, Elspeth was a raid boss. Knights of the Black Rose, they seemed to run into some issues, most likely dealing with all the toads and, Tamarcon, as well as Nurgle Daniel, but the grenades, very, very good. 1,400, MVP Master Engineer. Good shooting. He's got a big volley fire shot, which is great. You love to see it. Now, looking at the dwarves here, Malachi, he was more of a support piece, but the dwarven flank did get overwhelmed very hard by Tamarcon. Tamarcon was able to overwhelm the dwarves, take out the flame cannon and the shooting very effectively, but man, oh man, the Brotherhood of Grimnir was not messing around, and that bought the much-needed time the Empire needed to hold down its flank there. Oh my god, and look at the bomber here, man. Beautiful micro from Hlidden, 3,700 on that. I wish I had gotten more shots of that action. And Karl Franz is Karl Franz, he held well. The Wonder of the Age got 1,100. The Black Lions, 4,000. Makes sense. Being able to replenish that thing's ammo in like a long, grindy battle, talk about MVP. So GG, well played. Nurgle needed a little bit more kind of Rancid Visitations type magic. I think with some more, I didn't bring Rancid, but I think bringing that and having Professor Pone bring it as well and be more coordinated with sniping, because the boat was at like 5%. Karl Franz was almost dead. There was a lot of opportunities to finish things off that were very low, but they were not secured by Nurgle. And Sigmar, as well as Grungni, bless this day and claim glorious victory for the Empire and for the Dowie. Gotta love to see it. GG, well played, guys. And now let's get back to our tournament. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the halftime show. It's quite a bit of fun. And now we are on to our third place match, which is going to be a duel between Lord Chicken Feed and House Cat of War. So they're going to be fighting for that coveted third place spot. Of course, there is a cash prize for every player in today's tournament, but it will be a greater prize if you do reach third place. All right, so let's get it. I'm going to get this set up. And thank you guys for joining. Hopefully you had some fun seeing old Tamarcon in action. Tamarcon is actually, I think, decent on foot. I found that there's very limited applications for him on the Toad Dragon, sadly. The Toad Dragon's just a little bit overcosted and doesn't really have any super powerful abilities. Yeah, I think it could use a little bit of milk. Am I going to post that one on YouTube? Yeah, I might post it separately. For sure. For sure. All right, so let me get this going here and get the next games set up here. That one we did. Okay. And who's going to be playing here? So 1 second. All right. So Lord Chicken versus House Cat. Let's do that. Reset this. And Lord Chicken Feed. It's a pretty great name for sure. It's a really good name. All right. So on this first episode here, we're going to go to game 1, which is going to be a match between Kislev and the Greenskins. Will there be an Olive Garden gift card? Oh, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that could be arranged. We'll have to see. I'm glad to hear it, Peter. Yeah, no, the replays are definitely, I think, nice for these tournaments. I mean, live is fun, but man, the downtime in between games and the peer-to-peer connections, it's tough. It's really tough. What factions has the most competitive wins? We're very early on in the season, Dwarf. So we're not sure. It's a little bit too early to call. We just started a new season, not new season, but we reset the stats. So we do track the stats of tournaments, and it's very early. But yeah, I would say like top factions right now are going to be Kislev, Greenskins, Empire would probably be like top 3 in that family. I mean, they can all lose. I mean, we've seen Greenskins lose today to Chaos Dwarves. We've seen Empire lose. So yeah, the downtime can be rough, Cactus. It can indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game 1, and our best of 3 third place matchup is going to be the forces of Kislev, led by House Cat of War, facing off against Lord Chicken Feed, who's going to be bringing the Green Tide. All right, so now for Kislev, entire front line is going to be Kislevite warriors. Now, the reason why you're seeing these guys instead of Kossars is because of the prevalence of Squigs and Warboy Biggins. So having that anti-large and respectable staying power being a Kislevite is quite good. Secondary line is going to be armored Kossars to be supporting, so the Halberds going to eat the charge. And we do have the Ice Switch in the back here with the Icebane's Kiss, a really, really good spell. Icebane's Kiss is awesome against lightly armored troopers. It's much like using the Dragon Breath for Cathay or, Pink Fire for Tzeentch. It's basically the exact same application. So, yeah, we'll see how that all goes. This is the chicken versus the cat. Yes, they're going to be fighting here for third place. Should be fun. Couple of Horseman Archers. Cool to see the skirmish a little bit more viable here. So we do see the Horse Archers moving up immediately to grab the objective. Greenskins do have their own skirmishing with the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, but they're not going to get the point. And Housecat is going to get the initial grab on the objective, whereas the Greenskin Wa is going to be moving forward to try and countercap it here in a second. So we got Savage Orcs, we got Goblins, all sorts of good stuff. Goblin Shaman in the back. So you can see Housecat really likes this playstyle. Greenskins, you'll see a couple different Lord options. Oftentimes, the Goblin Great Shaman is the most common, but you'll see sometimes Azag will be brought. Wurzag, not so much anymore, but yeah, overall, they all got their tricks. So Doomdiver catapults are a fun heat-seeking missile, and it looks like the Doomdivers and the Hammer of Gork are shooting in. Okay, so immediately we see Armored Kossars taking casualties from the Doomdivers. Uh-oh, here they come. Yep, they sail in. That is a casualty right there. And where are the Rocklobbers shooting? The Rocklobbers are shooting the other Kossars. So the Greenskins are trying to play like the Empire a little bit. Yeah, you did miss the ending of the series, Euro. Yeah, you can go back and check it out though. So we're in the third place match now. We are in the third place match. Yes, yes. So old Kislev's going to be falling back. Housecat of War, taking the shots like a champ. Lord Chicken bombarding the Kislevites with the fearsome power of the Greenskin Daka. Now, I wonder what the big heavy hitter Collins will be for Housecat. I wonder if it's going to be just dervishes, probably dervishes mostly, or maybe things in the woods like stacked on top of the frontliners could be good. But man, those Savage Orc Airboys are going to do big damage against the Kislevites Warriors if left to their own devices. Kislevites Warriors literally just, you know, bare bones in terms of the... I mean, this is kind of a cool application. Using the Frost Shield gives missile block chance to these units. That's kind of neat. I do like that. Helps out against all the Greenskin Daka, but of course it's only temporary, and now it's worn off. So a back flank coming in from Housecat. Looks like he's trying to slip in there and get on the artillery. Not going to be easy, though. Greenskins do have some good mass to call in, so the Orc Boar Boy Biggin's going to be called out to try and defend the Hammer of Gork as well as the Doomdiver Catapult. And they should be able to do that amply, but the Greenskins playing very cautiously, just moving up very slowly, not going super hard on the wall. Yeah, this is best of 3, correct. Yeah, everything's best of 3 except the finals, which is best of 5. Correct. All right, Goblin Great Shaman using his missile attacks. We do see the Greenskins pulling a minor value lead, but it's very, very minor here. Kislev incredibly hard to break. Kislevite Warriors here are steady, but taking pretty substantial casualties from the Savage Orc Airboys. And I think there's 2 of them back there. No, just 1 Savage Orc Airboy there. High ground point is firmly controlled by the Kislevites, and we do see a massive core of dervishes as well as horse archers. So they're going to be trying to work their way into the ranks right now. So he's going to be trying to swarm with cheaper light cavalry, hoping that the Greenskins won't be able to, you know, amply defend against just sheer numbers, right? Because they're calling in Orc Boar Boys, which are twice as expensive as a dervish. So I think he's going to try and swarm him here. We'll see how it goes. Another Orc Boar Boy Biggin's called in. These Orc Boar Boys going to be moving up to try and push these ones back. But Housecat with some ferocious micro over here, trying to find his way around. There's a bit of an opening here in the alley, and it looks like these guys will they find their way in. He's juking. Okay, he moves after the Forest Goblins. Maybe that's going to be creating an opening in the middle. Maybe. We'll see where the Orc Boar Boys decide to go. So the Boar Boys are going to be intercepting these Horse Archers right here. Meanwhile, these Dervishes are now going to be screaming through, and he did outmaneuver the Greenskins. So Housecat with the sweaty micro here, able to jump on top of the Hammer of Gork. A really, really nice one right there. So that's going to be taking that down, and the other Dervishes are able to get on the Doomdiver Catapults. Now, Kislev is probably one of the better artillery diving factions in the game because they're light cavalry. When they get broken, they have 25 seconds of being unbreakable, which makes them super sticky and difficult to get rid of. It's very, very tough. As somebody who's played a million Empire matches trying to defend my Hellstorm rocket batteries against Kislev, it is not easy. So back here, we do see the artillery taken offline, though. That's really, really big for Kislev. That's going to be mitigating quite a bit of damage. And Kislev's hybrid shooting isn't doing badly either. Also, the Savage Orc Airboys get sandwiched as well. So not only does Housecat get good value on the artillery, but he also pulls in with the Dervishes, rear charging into the Savage Orc Airboys right there. And now Kislev is going to be moving forward to party. All right, all right. So Objective 2 is going to be flipping here. Objective 3 potentially in the hands of Kislev soon, as the hybrid shooting is really, really starting to add up. Horse Archers, Armored Kossars, and the Halberds, of course, going to be able to hold back the Squigs. We do also see an adorable little Snow Leopard summon, so he's moving in there with his little paws, and should help against Squigs. I'm not sure what he's doing right now. He's just being a cat, I guess, being difficult, not listening to its owners. So, yeah, eventually it'll get in there. On the high ground, we do see it being contested. So Squigs are moving up. We do see some Night Goblins and Boar Boy Biggins for Lord Chicken Feed going to be surging up this way to try and swarm in. And the Greenskins should be able to get this one. But Kislev is an incredibly hard faction to get off objectives. Their insane leadership, their faction bonus, which is the By Our Blood, which makes them unbreakable for 25 seconds, just so difficult to get them off points. You like literally have to kill them to the last man. Oh, the Incarnate Elemental of Beasts, no longer as OP as it was when it first came out. It did get nerfed. It no longer has anti-large. It now has anti-infantry. So it's better against infantry, yeah, as it should have been. It was kind of crazy how it was good against everything before, because it had a Mortis Engine effect with the Flock of Doom thing, and it also had anti-large. It was good against infantry and large before, but now it's just pretty much good against infantry. So here it comes. It is going to be the Incarnate. Where's it going? It's chasing some Squigs off. You know, it's a wild beast that does as it pleases. In the middle, the Greenskins are going to be pushing forward with Savage Orcs and Squig herds, trying to get the capture weight on the objective. Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins, a little bit inactive here, and on the high ground, Squigs are being left to their own devices, but Squigs will probably not trade well into even Horse Archers. Kislev Horse Archers, 26, 24, and 28, a good stat line. Squig's combat stats are really pitiful if they're not getting their bonus versus infantry, so they are going to get karate chopped by those horses, and Kislev is going to have a very dominant fight up on the high ground. As far as Objective 2 goes, we do have Kislev holding it down pretty well. Kislevite Warriors probably trading badly into the Savage Orcs, however, but there are Armored Kossars in substantial numbers, so they should be able to hold that down. In the back, Vindictive Glare going down from Lord Chicken. So Lord Chicken getting an excellent potential snipe on the Ice Witch. Oh, the Incarnate Elemental is here. He has arrived, and he's going to start Mortis Engineing Goblins and slapping them up. He's slapping the base. Doing it pretty hard here, being poked down by some of the Forest Goblin Riders. Kislev, so overall, let's talk a little bit about the Kislev nerfs. Armored Kossars lost armor piercing on their pistol because their pistols had so much AP they could snipe Armored Lords really quickly. Kislevites Warriors had a stat decrease. By Our Blood was reduced by 5 seconds, so down to 25 from 30 seconds. And the Patriarch has lost his healing. His item no longer does the AoE healing. So there's a couple nerfs that Kislev got. They're still easily a top 3 faction, if not one of the best factions in the game. But certainly makes it a little bit easier to compete against them in my experience so far. So Incarnate Elemental is here, and its Flock of Doom is active. So the Incarnate Flock of Doom is going to be hitting all these greenskins here. The Big Terror is quite nasty. He's got some cool attack animations right there. And where is he going to go? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, this Goblin Great Shaman's in trouble, guys. He might need a little bit of milk. Yeah, he's going to get terror routed here, and I would wager that Housecat's going to see this, or maybe just going to try and overwhelm the greenskins and overrun them. We'll see. But all 3 objectives are owned firmly by Kislev. On the backside, we got some Savage Orc Warboys sitting idle, so a bit of a rare lapse in micro here from Lord Chicken. Now he's going to be moving them back onto the point to make sure he's at least getting some value from those. Kislev able to win on the far side objective. Their shooting has been pretty much online the entire time, and the Armored Kossars have been feasting like the heathen kings of old. And now we see the Goblin Great Shaman getting punished pretty hard, and that is going to be a tap out. Housecat with a decisive victory in game 1. Decisive. I wonder if Trolls... I feel like Trolls are good in that matchup too, like Stone Trolls, but I guess we didn't see them. All right. GG. Well played. So Kislev today, I think, is 1-1. They lost 1 game and they won 1 game. No, they're 1-2, actually. They lost to the Dwarves and they lost to the Empire earlier, was it? No. Was it just Dwarves? Can't remember. Getting old, man. All right. So yeah, it was a very solid army, right? You have like the halberds, which are effective against trolls and squigs. You have the shooting to deal with the light armor. Kossars the tank. Very standard. The Elemental Incarnate was actually a really good tech too. The game ended kind of early, so it didn't really get time to shine. But overall, it was a very safe, competitive Kislev build, and I liked it. It was good. And for the old WoW, they tried their best, but they got crumped a little bit. They got crumped. The cat has slain the chicken in game 1, but this chicken is fierce, and he will be back for the next match. All right. So let's go to the brackets real quick, and we will jump into the next game. Game 2 in the series. Yeah, the damage values are a little bit funky sometimes. Yeah, CA needs to update them. They're a little bit potato. Oh, yes. You guys ready? This next build's a lot of fun. We got a Bretonnia vs. Empire game coming up. All right, all right. So let's fire it up, baby. Let's fire it up. You guys ready for the dreaded double steam tank? And these are not Gatling gun tanks. These are cannon tanks, which makes sense. Bretonnia is a little bit fickle against those, right? Like you can fickle isn't the right word, but you can blast the Knights of the Realm and Grail Knights very effectively. Vampires. Yeah, vampires are not happy right now because, I mean, vampires will get crushed by the Empire super hard. They'll also probably get crushed by dwarves with Doomseekers. Probably not going to... Vampires against Nurgle is still probably vampire count favored, though. So vampires just... But, like, meta factions right now, you're going to be seeing a ton of Empire and a lot of dwarves probably, and vampires don't really have a good time in either of those. Yeah, so double... This is, like, an old build. Nothing has really even changed here. It's like 2 steam tanks. There is a Master Engineer, though, and he does have a really nice shotgun blast and also, you know, consistent shooting. So, yeah, that could be a factor as well. Bretonnia is an A-tier faction for sure. Bretonnia is 100% an A-tier faction. They're very good. Bretonnia is incredibly strong. All right, ladies and gentlemen, taking a look at the Imperial build of Housecat. He's going with the dreaded double cannon tank. So he's got 2 steam tanks here, which, you know, are pretty good against Bretonnia. Their cavalry shooting isn't bad. State Trooper front line backed up by the Grundle's Defenders. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you're going to be going for a tank build, you want to bring Grundle's Defenders because they have an aura that gives 15% physical resist to nearby war machines and tanks, or artillery and war machines. So you put it up on the middle and let your steam tanks feast, and they take far less damage, 15% less, which is quite good. So Engineer here, he's going to be using the ammunition recharge. We do have Boris Toadbringer and 2 cannons and a couple Outriders as well. For the Bretonnian build, it is going to be Alberic. Alberic's great here. Anti-large armor piercing. Empire does have a fair amount of that with land ships coming into play, right? The rest of the army is going to be very meta Bretonnia. It's basically a peasant tide. You bring mass infantry, and then you call in cavalry for the rest of the game. That's very normal for Bretonnia. You know, in like land battle, for example, you might look a little bit more balanced out initially, but it's basically going to be only cavalry getting called in from here. Knights of the Realm are on the far side as well. They do beat up Empire Knights pretty effectively. They will probably trade well into Knights of the Black Rose, but they need to avoid those meme tanks. So the meme tanks are moving up, and yeah, just going to be shooting and causing massive havoc. Bretonnia doesn't really have too much on the table that can deal with them at the moment. Maybe they're going to call in Hippogriff Knights and or maybe some Grails. Alberic can also, I suppose, deal with the tanks, but like he can't deal with all 3 of these on his own. That is a lot of big Empire armor, and this honestly could be a situation where Bretonnia just gets armor checked, right? They don't have the tools to deal with it. Hippogriff Knights though, Grail Knights, Alberic, Lewin, those are all like very good choices. Paladins are really good, but he didn't go that direction, right? You can go with double Paladin, and they're able to really chase down the steam tanks and keep them honest, but especially Henri La Massif, but not going to be the case. So Toddbringer is going to move in, running over the Men-at-Arms, and basically he's just trying to shut down the archers right now. But we do see Alberic getting a nice rear charge here, and does he connect? Toddy's melee defense does falter, as Alberic's anti-large really doing some nice work. But yeah, the tank pain train is on. Outriders also moving up, trying to provide supporting fire. We also see the Engineer coming in to probably try and shoot at Alberic. Flanking charge coming in from Knights of the Realm. So Knights of the Realm going to be hunting down the Outriders, maybe, or at least looking at them very menacingly to try and force them back. But now the Cavalry going to be moving in. Nice brace there. Well, but he kind of unbraced at the last second. Yeah, so Housecat does get charged there. It takes a little bit, but not the end of the world. So the Empire is calling in troopers now to compensate for its like kind of lower core, obviously. And we do see Grail Knights getting in. Grail Knights are big AP fighters with anti-large. So if a steam tank does get surrounded here, it's going to have a really bad time. So obviously the Empire is going to be forced back in the situation. We see Boris Toadbringer running away. Both steam tanks are going to be fleeing the scene as the Bretonians get a pretty decent little rout on those bad boys there. Overall, trading in the beginning, pretty even. We do see 1 Men-at-Arm and a Peasant running, but the Empire also did take a little bit of damage on one of their tanks, which is in a little bit of danger. Now, I would wager the Outriders here are going to try and protect the steam tank using their armor-piercing shots. You see the Knights of the Realm here for Lord Chicken are trying to get on top of the Outriders, and they definitely should, because if the Outriders can shoot those Grail Knights, you're going to feel pretty bad. Point-blank shots from the Outriders. Lord Chicken really should have pushed those guys, I think. Steam tanks are getting hunted by the Grail Knights. One of them is down low. But, you know, magic is magic, and you can heal steam tanks, which is very strong. So there's going to be an Earthblood and or a Regrowth going down. Okay, it looks like it's a Regrowth. So that tank is going to get, you know, healed quite a bit. They're very tough to kill. Is that going to be a Huntsman? Yeah, Huntsmen are not bad against Bretonnia. They have, you know, good anti-large shooting, and also can do okay against the infantry compared to like handgunners and things like that. So where's Alberic going to go? Is he going to land in here? 1 steam tank is healed to full, basically. So absolutely brutal. That healing on the steam tank doing very well. And the state troopers have arrived. Typically, you see Bretonnia with a lot of battle pilgrims in this matchup. Looks like there is going to be a Trident Borderlow here on Grundle's defenders, which is going to be a good cast. So it's going to give him a little bit of a bath. The unwashed troopers here. A bit of a missed angle there by the Lord Chicken. That was a good opportunity, but he did miss that one, unfortunately. Alberic being shot by Outriders and the dreaded double steam tanks doing quite well here. The Grail Knights trying to fight, but there's a lot of state troopers supporting them. You can see these are all spearmen. Grundle's defenders, unfortunately, are not nearby to provide buffing, but the tanks are basically taking no damage because the Grail Knights can't get on top of them. And the Grail Knights, yeah, just having to pull back here. In the meantime, steam tanks running over the Grail Relique. Grail Relique is large, but it is getting shot by cannons and rammed by the tanks. In tabletop, steam tanks have a stomp attack too, so they have like the same kind of principles like a dragon. In that at the end of combat, they get to like try and run you over basically, and it can do actually a lot of wounds, so not bad at all. Yeah, it kind of bounced off the tower a little bit. So Alberic is chasing. Where is he going to go? Probably going to try and snipe that Jade Wizard. Jade Wizard is on a horseback, so if Housecat's paying attention, which he is, top tier player of course, he's going to be running away that Jade Wizard, making sure no funny business happens here. We got Huntsman on the way up, but the meme tanks have been kind of impervious so far. It seems that the Bretonnian army is very ill-equipped to deal with them. And again, I think maybe more battle pilgrims in the core to win the... Because, like, Bretonnia needs to be winning these fights. They need to be crushing the Empire front line, and they're not. The Empire is actually, like, trading well in the front line. Battle pilgrims are arriving only now. I think having some in the opening would have been massive. Because Bretonnia's not really winning anywhere on the battlefield. They're struggling to do anything against the tanks. We do see the Knights of the Realm getting shattered here by Boris and some of the supporting spearmen. And the battle pilgrims have arrived, but is it too late? I think it might be a little bit. I also think maybe double paladins could be another thing. The paladins are very effective at hunting down the steam tanks, and they're also like cheaper. And yeah, it's tough. It looks like Housecat is just getting it done here. So Boris Todbringer rampages some of the spears, and we do get these state troopers moving on up. And like, is there anything really new he's using? Steam tanks did get reworked a little bit, but this is a build that very much would have performed in a similar fashion in the previous patch here. We haven't seen any Hawk clones, mainly just the tanks. The Empire Engineer is one element of the Empire roster that I suppose is very, very new. So Knights of the Realm lances out for the lady, and they're going to be pounding into these troopers here, although they were braced for it. So the statesmen hold firm for Sigmar, and now Alberic is able to get one of the steam tanks a little bit beat up here. The other steam tank in the meantime is rampaging, I think, back here. Yeah, in the backfield, you can see the steam tank here able to secure the backfield. Halberdiers are a good choice against Bretonnia. They don't trade well into Pilgrims, but everything else in the roster, aside from Peasant Bowmen, of course, they'll be happy to see. And Toddy in the tank here, causing a little bit of havoc as the points get further and further ahead for the Empire. Empire also up in value. Both sides do have access to healing, though, but with that being said, I'd still say the Empire has a pretty considerable value lead here. They have been able to get mega cost-effective healing into the tanks, and this tank here is surrounded. It's taking a little bit of damage. Knights of the Realm as well as Spearmen are on it, but another regrowth is going to go down on that thing. And I like that he brought Toddy, because Toddy heals himself, which means he can allocate all the healing onto the tank, right? So Knights of the Realm getting another surround on the tank. Where's Alberic? Alberic needs to be here, like, killing this tank, I feel. He had this tank kind of like trapped up. With Alberic hitting it, it could probably be a lot lower right now, but on the middle point, we do see the Sons of Sigmar holding relatively well. Knights Errant could also be used to maybe try and clear up some of these. The Empire's whole build is kind of like focused on the tanks. They don't really have a lot to support their huntsmen or their infantry, so there is like an opportunity for Bretonnia to crush the Imperial infantry. It's super hard, like really, really hard with their cavalry, but you know, maybe it's kind of a situation where they're taking the bait, right? They're trying to kill the steam tanks, whereas you could just kill the rest of the Empire army very easily and ignore the steam tanks and win on points. That is something to consider for sure. A lot of tactics here. So Boris going to go for a fight with Alberic. Normally Alberic would win that duel massively, but with Huntsman support and Alberic being a little bit injured, Toddy might be able to get in there. He does have the white cloak, which gives some nice debuffs. It lowers melee attack. And did he bring that item? Let's see. He brought the braids of no, it's him. And then Toddy does have, yeah, white cloak of Ulrich. So it's going to be lowering the MD. And yeah, he's getting a pretty good fight right there, to be honest. In the backfield, we do see Lord Chicken trying to scrap value back where he can with his little chicken claws. And the Knights Errant going to be pushing into the Huntsman here, which is incredibly cost-effective to get that unit offline. Battle Pilgrims have arrived. State Troopers holding on to the point well. A couple idle Knights here. Definitely needs to get those things busy if he can. The Steam Tank over here, very, very healthy. The regrowths have been effective. And it looks like Alberic did disengage dishonorably from that duel. He ran away from Toddy, although Toddy had a tank with him. So understandably, it's not the most fair situation. So there goes a Burning Head. Is that what it's going to be? Oh my god, big splash. I was like, wait a second, there's no fire magic. I haven't seen it in this game. That is going to be the splash of the Trident Manon. Very cost effective. It does do negative 16 leadership, which is very, very powerful. Bretonnia might have an opportunity to get this objective back here. And now, could we see Bretonnia just man-tiding this and just kind of swarming up on the points? And we saw a couple builds earlier lose when they didn't have enough of a presence on the battlefield, right? But in this case, I don't know. We'll have to see. Demogryph Knights with halberds? Yes, my demis. They're so cool. So Demogryph Knights do arrive, and yeah, they're quite good. Demis are like, I mean, they're still an Empire unit. They're not going to be like as good potentially as anti-large specialists for other factions, but where the Empire really shines is in combined arms, right? Having having a little bit of something everywhere. Like, you got everything mixed together, supporting one another. That's where the Empire shines. Demi's actually having a bit of a bad trade here versus Knights of the Realm and also the Spearmen and Alberic, because Alberic is feeding these guys even more bonus versus large. But the two steam tanks do roll in to support the Demogryph Knights. And in the middle, Toddbringer does take down the Grail Relique, which is a really good pick, because that's going to be giving sustainable fighting to the Bretonians, helping them stay on that middle objective. As it currently stands, I believe this is a triple cap situation, but we'll have to see as the game gets closer. Will Bretonia be able to surge and push onto the back objective? Empire is up by about 2k value, a little bit more than that. Demogryph Knights with halberds do get wrecked there by the Bretonians. Bretonia obviously very good in the cavalry fights, but steam tanks are still cackling pretty hard. And here's the thing, guys. Without the Grail Reliques in the middle supporting, the Empire could just get like fat chain terror routes with those steam tanks and cause just a ton of havoc. Now we have another Duel of Fates. It is going to be Boris versus Alberic. Alberic is lower though. He's at 2800. Boris does have that passive healing. And the meme tank coming in for the ram, and it looks like Alberic barely dodges that bad boy and is able to get back up in the sky. But Bretonia's got their clutches on the objective. They got a lot of Battle Pilgrims that are healthy, men-at-arms. Over here on the far side, we see Knights of the Realm dominating Empire Knights, which is to be expected. Empire Knights are more of a roadblock unit. Knights of the Realm serve both as a roadblock, but also excellent fighters. Bretonia should have better cavalry than Empire, typically. And you see the Empire here is broken, as the Knights of the Realm do win that fight, like I said, quite decisively. On the back, is there any threats on this objective? We do see it being owned by Bretonia. It looked like there was a little bit of action back here. Must have been those Empire Knights trying to grab it, but up in the sky, the Elector Count of Midland coming in, and Alberic does get routed. The cowardly Duke fleeing to go enjoy his wine vineyards, leaving his soldiers to their own fate here. And Toddbringer, of course, would never do that, so he's going to be chasing down Alberic. Negative 16, and what's the speed? 85 against 77. Maybe he'll rally. It's a little bit hard to say. Demograph Knights do get a regrowth back here, which is nice, so they're going to be able to probably win against those Knights Errant. And yeah, we see the Empire getting closer and closer to victory. It's going to be a tight game, guys. It's going to be a really tight one. But overall, I think a slight advantage for the Empire here, especially if Alberic gets chased off. If Alberic gets routed off the battlefield, which I think he will, Toddy's able to keep pace. Toddy's actually a little bit faster right now because, oh, Crush the Weak, I think. Not Crush the Weak, but what's slowing him? Oh, man, look at that. So the White Cloak of Ulrich, that's pretty cool. So the White Cloak of Ulrich is slowing down Alberic, which is letting Toddy keep pace with him. And that's going to route him off the battlefield. Otherwise, he might have had a chance to rally. It's really fun when you see niche mechanics like that coming into play, right? Like that minor speed debuff like makes a huge difference here. It's like the difference between Bretonnia getting its Lord back, because Alberic, even at 1500 HP, would probably be able to bring Toddy down to like 800 HP in a fight before he died. So that is pretty massive that you're able to route those guys off. That is pretty good. One issue for Bretonnia, yeah, is going to be the fact that Grail Relics are gone, and there's 2 Steam Tanks with Terror rampaging in your lines. The Empire probably going to be resurgent here. I think Alberic losing that duel was probably the straw that maybe breaks the camel's back. We'll have to see. Oh, man, this is a close game. This is actually really close. I'm going to have to see if it's a triple cap situation, but it's like right on the razor's edge, right on the razor's edge. Steam Tanks moving up. Battle Pilgrims have good leadership, and of course you have the old ITP until their Frenzy wears off, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So when their leadership drops below 50%, they then lose it, and they can be terror routed. State Troopers on the way up, so we got a lot of those. Huntsmen still shooting effectively in the back. Spearmen and Huntsmen, just, you know, the classic staples of the Empire. And are these new Demograph Knights? No, looks like they're just Empire Knights here. Yeah, Bretonnia looking kind of rough right now. Their leadership is going to be in the pits, especially with the Steam Tanks rampaging. Oh, God, I have a dad sneeze coming. Oh, man. Oh, come on. Hold for Sigmar. Steam Tank running through those guys. Oh, God, the sneeze is like right on the edge. It's creeping up. Don't worry, I'll try and get away from the microphone when it does come. But more Outriders going to be providing supporting fire. Bretonnia going to be counterpunching with their heavy cavalry. But there's so many pointy sticks. And the Empire is kind of known for its pointy sticks, right? They got a lot of spears, a lot of halberds that are very cheap and very cost-effective for what they do. And mass routes going down for the Bretonians. That is basically going to be sealing the deal. And the Elector Count has returned. Boris Todbringer flying over his troops. His rallying cry, keeping the Sigmarites fighting while the cowardly Bretonian Lord has fled the battlefield. And Toddy now looking for an opportunity to fight. Probably going to be bouncing over here to go after the Knights of the Realm and the Knights Errant. Support his halberds and spears. Outriders very excellent against these. Good armor-piercing shooty also. But Todbringer does land in there. The claws of Ulrich have arrived. And he's good to go. Man, I do hope they add like a Priest of Ulrich someday as like an FLC. They have them in the tabletop game as well. No sneeze. We survived. GG, well played. House God of War with a great showing today. Going, losing 1-2 in the first series with a very, very heartbreaking one there. But he does manage to claim third place. And well played the Lord Chicken, too. Let's get a shout out to our boy Lord Chicken. He had a 2-1 series versus Tim the Wilder. He just barely lost that series. He performed very, very well. He should definitely be proud of himself. So the double meme tanks, 3,000 and 2,800. Keep in mind they cost 21, so they exceeded their value by about 900 and 700 on this one. But against Bretonnia, that makes sense. There was a ton of cavalry for them to shoot, especially Grail Knights. They were able to farm the Grails. Grails did end up getting 2,400 value, but overall, the double tank division build worked very well. I think double landship would actually even be stronger in that matchup. But yeah, an experiment for another day. All right, guys. GG, well played. Fun stuff. Alberic, hey, he got 2,400 before he fled. That's for sure. He didn't do badly. And yeah, Grail Knights didn't do bad. Honestly, good value on a lot of the Bretonians. I just feel like they needed to win the infantry fight quicker. Like, open with Battle Pilgrims and then get the objectives, like, that pressure on the Empire faster. I don't know. Maybe Paladins as well. All right, guys. The Steam Tank meta is here at last. Yeah, Steam Tanks are good. I don't think they're OP. I think they're good against Bretonnia. And this is like kind of a skew build. It's like if you're not prepared for it, it's going to really karate chop you. And I think that was the situation here. All right. So let us go ahead and update that. And with the power of technology, we will go back to our brackets. There we go. So the winner is going to be House God of War. And now we have our grand final. It's going to be Tim the Wilder versus Hitman Hippo. All right, so let's get it. Very hyped for this. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete that replay so I don't cast it again like an idiot. Okay, first game of the day is going to be... Whoa, that is interesting. It is going to be a corn game. Got the corn dogs coming out. Okay, a little corn action. Let me have some water before we jump into this. Germany versus France. Yeah. Cardio beats Bretonia. It does. It does. Cardio is important, man. I don't care how strong and muscly you are. If you don't have good cardio, you're just gonna suck at most physical activities, except maybe static weightlifting, right? But like in terms of like, you know, any sort of physical competition, you know, it's wild. I'm like really out of shape, and I just started running again. Oh my god, it's pure punishment. It's pure punishment. It's just like pathetic how bad a shape you can get in. Yeah, all right. Anyways, let's load in. It's time, baby. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. And it is going to be game 1 here in our grand final. Let me get that versus Hitman Hippo. All right, let's reset the score. Let's do this and load on in. Let me fix Tim's name too. Come on, Tim, you can do it. There you go. And there you go. All right, we've done it. So a bit of a clan war here. We have the RTK, who've been very dominant in domination mode, facing off against Rat, the Rat clan, the Skaven. I don't know. I don't think we'll see any Skaven, but yeah. Ever see The Life of Brian? Yeah, the Gladiator versus Beggar. Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Yeah, we got Khorne, dude. Khorne's been getting play lately, I'm telling you. But here's another thing, guys. Hitman Hippo is super fun. He plays really off-meta stuff against meta, and he makes it work. We saw him pick Chaos Dwarves against Greenskins. I don't think most sweaty players would do that, so it's really fun to see him picking. I'm glad he's, like, this is like one of the most meta players in the entire world here, with Tim facing off against an extremely off-meta player here in Hitman Hippos. This is going to be a really good series. It's the Rat Clan versus RTK. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. For the Empire here, it's going to be Tim the Wilder. He's got Outriders, Huntsman. It seems that that's very staple, like State Troopers, Outriders, Huntsman with a little tank action. So he does have a volley gun tank, which makes sense. Volley gun's going to be quite good against Khorne. It's good in melee, can provide, you know, some supporting fire up close, and it looks really cool. But yeah, big State Trooper battle line with some Empire Knights on the outside. For Khorne, it's going to be Flesh Doggy. So he's got one Flesh Dog here, some Chaos Warhounds here. So you see, yeah, the quick objective grabbing. But the Empire is playing that game too. Honestly, the Empire is going to be able to shut this down probably. These Hounds are most likely going to get routed off the objective. For the rest of the Khornate army, it is going to be Marauders. And Marauders with dual weapons, which, you know, if they can get in combat, they're going to dominate State Troopers. Like, it will be a massacre. They hit really, really hard, have super high melee attack, and a bonus for infantry. They look really cool. So Marauders and Valky the Bloody with what appears to be a cultist on horseback. So yeah, he's a good fighter. He's shielded. He hits hard. He can chase down characters and be disruptive and tanky. So the score is updated. It should be. Yeah, it's 0-0, right? He probably did the, yeah, Gelton summon, which I actually don't even think is the strongest play. Some people like to bring Gelt and just hide him basically to make sure their lord doesn't get killed, but I think there's plenty of good Empire Lord options that are very formidable. And yeah, personally, I'm not a big fan of that playstyle. But nonetheless, Objective 3 is going to be going to Khorne. Objective 1 is going to be flipped to the Empires. Empire Knights and Outriders do secure that point. And you guys want to see some Benny Hilling here? Yeah, we're going to see Valkia juking all these shots. So if you guys have watched anyone like Cheesing Campaign, that skill set does apply here as well. So he's juking with Valkia. Look at all the juking. And that is a ton of ammo being wasted by Tim the Wilder. A ton. And yeah, Valkia is just taking like 0 damage. And dude, that is so sweaty. I'm fast forwarding right now. The amount of micro this man is doing is insane. Like, he's juking like each individual one. And look at the ammo on these Outriders. Like, it's down a bit, right? And the Huntsman as well. Granted, an Empire Engineer could replenish that. We're going to do some fast forwarding here while Valkia tries to ammo cheese. He's treating Tim like an AI here. He's trying to drain the AI's ammunition, which is absolutely hilarious. Oh yeah, it is best of 5. Thank you. All right. Oh, update the score. I see what you mean. All right, let's update that. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I got it. Thank you, Weston. Greatly appreciate it, man. The old potato got it wrong. But even still, yeah, the volley gun tank's almost out of ammo. He had Demon Shield active. These Outriders are just going to waste even more ammo here. And Khorne's getting in there, dude. Yeah, he's draining all that ammo. That's a lot. But he is giving up a lot in terms of points on the objectives. The way he's playing, like, certainly not in the most Khorne way of playing, but it's very tactical. It's very tactical. So we'll do a little bit more fast forwarding, and we will resume the action once the armies decide to engage heavily here during the skirmishing phase of the game. We do get the meme tank moving in, and Valkia is going to attack the tank, but she decides to pull back, eating more shots. Valkia has literally drained, like, most of the ammo from this Imperial army. Now, Khorne going to be calling in Minotaurs. Minotaurs, of course, very, very scrappy fighters. This is like somebody using Tim's own playstyle against it, but now Khorne is going to be sounding the horns of war, it looks like. Objective number 3 here is going to be taken by Khorne on the outside. This is a wild game, dude. Yeah, it's weird. It's a very strange playstyle. But it's fun to see. So objective 3 is going to be taken. Khorne lining up its forces on the western point of the battlefield. And the Hordes of Chaos are preparing to descend on the Imperial formation. Going to try and get a very wide engagement. I know there's some Minotaurs lurking nearby as well. No land shipping. No land ship in this build, even though I think the land ship is better than the steam tank, actually, and it costs like 400 gold less. That's just my 2 cents. Some people might disagree, but the steam tanks are like fair and balanced. I think the land ships are a little bit too cheap for what they do. But it's not like so egregious that it's like, you know, super problematic, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Outriders blasted away, shooting at Valkia once again. They have not learned their lesson. They have not learned their lesson yet. Valkia is a super small target. But Khorne is going to be coming up to party now. So we got the Marauders and the Cultists getting ready to engage. Flesh Doggies being used to charge the Knights of the Black Rose. So Elspeth's chosen Knights have arrived, which makes sense. Anybody who's going to be spamming infantry against you, the Knights of the Black Rose are going to be a very, very good choice. So they retreat back, and Halberdiers and State Troopers stand at the ready, General. But they're going to be battling against a lot of Khornate warriors who are pretty darn good fighters. The Knights of the Black Rose have arrived. I really, really like the use of the Knights of the Black Rose. I think against Khorne, they're super, super good here, right? On this side, we get the Marauders moving up. Objective 3 in the clutches of the Blood God. And Valkia the Bloody, where's she going to go? Is she going to go after the tanks? Wouldn't be a bad idea, certainly. Or having her chase down Outriders or try and snipe the Jade Wizard. There's a multitude of targets that those bad boys can go over there for sure. On the outside, Fleshhounds of Khorne going to be sweeping around, looking for some opportunities to get in the backfield. But the Great Swords of Sigmar have arrived. And they should be able to dominate most of the cheaper infantry that Khorne brings to the table. Whoa, Skull Crushers. All right, we got Skull Crushers for Hitman Hippo. And Great Swords get slapped with his Sleipnir. Oh my goodness, that was such a good Sleipnir. That was so powerful. And where are the Skull Crushers going to get their value? I'm kind of curious. These are anti-large. And okay, they're pushing into the secondary. Hitman Hippo is trying to penetrate in and push off the Outriders. But they're going to get roadblocks by Empire Knights and probably shot to pieces and or dragged down by infantry. So this is a bit of a risky engagement here for the Skull Crushers. Great Swords are not, you know, anti-large by any chance, but they still hit hard with AP. So this is not a good fight for Skull Crushers. They're also being shot by Huntsmen on both sides, flanked by Empire Knights. It's going to be a rough fight for those bad boys. Now, looking at the value, Tim the Wilder is pulling ahead. We do see Minotaurs over here being hunted by the Huntsmen. A couple Flesh Doggies have gotten around the backside, but they are screened out by Spearmen pretty effectively. So Tim very, very tight on the formation here, as we do see a Cultist summon. Is it going to drop? Okay, it looks like he might have gotten knocked over or staggered or something. No, he does get a Bloodletter summon. So the Bloodletters have been called out of the warp, and the Bloodletters will start massacring these Empire Huntsmen. That is for sure. So big Karate Chops coming down. Looking at them, they're losing models pretty rapidly, but remember, this is a summon, so it's only temporary. The middle objective has been taken by the Blood God, but Tim is very close to winning on points. And that's my, you know, I think the whole strategy of like building up and waiting like Tim used to like doing is certainly not as good as it once was. I think like more rapid aggression probably is going to become more meta and getting up on the points quicker, but there are times where you do need to build up if you're not prepared to deal with what your opponent has on the field. So another Bloodletter summon coming out, and the Bloodletters surge into the secondary. Valkia is going to be going after the Gatling gun tank, and she pops her Demon Shield. No, she had it active. And yeah, she will wear down a steam tank after some time, especially with a little bit of Minotaur support. Khorne is actually pulling the value back. Wow, 6.4 against 6.9. Khorne is grinding down a lot of the Empire troopers, and the Empire is looking pretty beat up in many areas of the battlefield. So are the Skull Crushers still alive? They are. The Skull Crushers are still active. They've gotten into the woods. They're able to nibble down these Huntsmen in their natural habitat, and they're also a super hard counter against Knights of the Black Rose if they can get them in a straight fight. That's for sure. But Khorne, will they get this objective? We see basic Bloodletters being called in. So interesting. You know, I wouldn't have thought that the Bloodletters... Oh, Sword of Khorne with the steel chair. Dropped on the head of the Knights as well as the Empire Knights. Not bad at all. But man, the point situation here... Is this going to be a Khorne victory against the sweaty Empire meta? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Khorne does get a triple cap on the Empire, ladies and gentlemen. And are they going to be able to hold it is the question. It's going to be very hard to hold. The Empire, you know, has some good counterpunching power. They're going to be able to reform ranks, and the Khorne army is also quite beat up as well. But it is a triple cap, and we're going to see if Tim is going to have enough time to get these back, as those points are going against him very rapidly. But the Khornate infantry, he's got Bloodletters coming from all directions. He's got double full health Bloodletters here, and they will massacre State Troopers and actually trade well into Empire Cavalry if they have to. We got the cultists here, Marauders, Bloodletters heading up towards the center. The Empire are going to be trying to re-grab the center point. That is going to be a fat slump near, but it is going to get dodged. It does end up tearing through some of the Empire Knights as well. Skull Crusher's heading to the middle point. Definitely needs to get some of the Bloodletters heading to the middle, and it looks like he does. Tim the Wilder with a massive Sigmarite counter push. Adrian says, yeah, score queen. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that, Adrian. That actually made me laugh. That just totally distracted me from the commentary when I saw that. But Objective 3 is owned by Khorne. Objective 2 is owned by Khorne. And will the Blood God be able to saturate onto the objective and get it back in time? Because this is a triple cap situation for Khorne. If Tim's able to hold on to this, Khorne has to get this objective. So Bloodletters have arrived, and Bloodletters don't really care about the steam tank. I mean, yeah, they'll get run over, but they also have good enough AP that they can kill Empire Knights and Knights of the Black Rose. It's not going to be like super effective for them, but they can, especially with the Horn of Khorne active. They're taking a lot of missile power. The Empire has got the Steel Faith and Gunpowder. They've gotten all these Huntsmen and Outriders, forming up and getting beautiful shots into the Khornate army. Khorne's Bloodletters getting worn down a little bit. Marauders also a little bit tattered. There are a couple Chaos Warhounds. Definitely need to get those active. Hippo needs to pull them around the back and shut down this Huntsman shooting. That Huntsman shooting is nasty, and it looks like he realizes this. He starts to move them. Marauders heading to the point, but the Sigmarites, I think maybe we'll be able to close this one out by just anchoring down on this objective. It is going to be very, very tough. That meme tank, let's look at the value, probably over 2K at this point. It's fighting things it's very good against. 2.3. So it costs 2.1. So it's exceeded its value by about 2,100. So it's good. That ain't bad. Valkyrie the Bloody fighting it out in the pits here. Doing nice anti-large attacks against the Empire Knights. We see the Jade Wizard moving on to the point. Khorne, though, is getting a little bit resurgent here. We see Khorne coming in from the flank here, actually sending the Bloodletters they had guarding the side objective. Uh-oh, now the Empire's getting a little sneaky here. Hitman Hippo definitely needs to rally some of these guys to go push them off. You cannot afford to lose any points at this point. You simply cannot. So Khorne is grinding it out versus State Troopers, and here on the other side, Fleshhounds are flanking, trying to stop the Empire Knights from ninja capping them on the side. So we'll see how that fight ends up going. But more Khornate infantry have arrived to the middle. You cannot let Tim ninja cap that side objective. If you do, that could be a fat GG for sure. Because Tim is, certainly scrapping hard in value, a little bit ahead in value as a matter of fact. But Khorne does have the hero presence and also the cultists, which is going to be hard to stop. Marauders arriving up at the point. Are there any Knights of the Black Rose nearby? It doesn't look like it. Middle objective still in Tim's clutches. Fleshhounds coming in to support the infantry. Could jump on the Outriders, and it looks like they are. So these Outriders going to get nibbled on super hard by the best doggos of the Blood God here. And I'm definitely excited for a Khorne update. Khorne is has been performing very well in our tournaments the past couple days. They got some cost reductions on a lot of their units that I think is making a big difference for them. So very cool to see that. Nonetheless, Valkyrie the Bloody going to be descending from the skies, and the objective is in flux. It's going back and forth. That is a hell of a lot of flesh doggos. And on this side, are we in trouble for Khorne? Oh, great play by Tim. This could straight up win Tim the game here. What is that? Is that a Sword of Khorne misclick? Oh, that could have been a misclick. Oh, he misclicked on the Sword of Khorne. Oh, no, that feels bad. Oh, man. That was such a powerful ability. But if Tim gets this objective, I think he wins the game. Because Khorne isn't going to be able to get over here in time. So that one... Oh, look, Balthazar Gelt's coming. He was hiding in the bushes the whole time. Here he comes. He's like, welcome to Australia, gentlemen. He's just trying to provide capture weight. Oh my god, that's such a meme. But Khorne manages to flip that objective. The far side, the Empire is just weaseling on all these objectives, which I certainly love to see. I love the scrappy play from Tim. Tim's scrapping really hard, man, because this looked like a game he was potentially going to lose. We got Minotaurs of Khorne coming up with great weapons, and the Knights of the Black Rose. If you're talking about a Knights, like a unit that you need to hold, I mean, these guys, that's what they're all about. 51 melee defense, 120 armor, good HP pool. It's going to be, that's Gelt's music. Yeah, the bush, Gelt just emerges from the bushes in the fourth quarter, dude. It's so funny. But I just don't think Khorne's going to get this quick enough. And also the far side objective is being threatened. Khorne doesn't have any mobility. They need to get there. Just send like a dog or something. Okay, the Hounds are moving over. Will they get there in time? That one is being flipped. Tim is scrapping and pushing all the objectives super hard. Minotaurs are countering the Knights of the Black Rose, but it's not much longer before the game is over here. Hounds are trying. We see Khornate infantry on the way. The Marauders are hustling up. Objective 2 is currently in the clutches of Khorne. Very, very safe for them. I think Khorne's going to be able to... Oh, the meme tank running interference. So the meme tank intercepts the Hounds. Dude, look at this mighty tank commander with the Franz... Oh, yeah, with the Franz plating, dude. I love to see it. Hell yeah, let's go. All right, guys. So the Flesh Doggos are not going to get to the point. They get routed by the Steam Tank Commander. That guy deserves to be promoted to a master engineer for that. He routed off those dogs, basically guaranteeing that point. And Korn maybe flips this one, but now they lose because of the far side. What a good match. Well played. Like Korn, like seeing Korn compete with, you know, probably arguably the most meta faction of the game right now is really cool to see. Tim scrapped super hard, played the objectives really well. Korn fought from behind and pulled ahead at one point. It was really, really good to see. It was all Balthazar Gelt. How'd the Skull Crushers do? Well, they ended up paying for themselves, just about, which is weird. I didn't expect that. I like the Bloodletter Calling too. All right, that is going to be game one, going to Tim the Wilder in the grand finals. Will the defending champion defend his belt? Because Tim is the recent champion of the the Community Clash. Berserk won the last really big event. He won the Total Tavern season finals. Tim the Wilder won the last. So we have a multitude of very large, like major events. Basically, this is one of them, and the season finals are like the other really big one that we host. But yeah, so far Tim defending his belt here today. We'll see. That was a great game. Gelt was so OP in that game. He really was, dude. He marched up and captured that objective. Absolute Chad. All right. So let's get the blocker up here, the bracket, and get that next game going. And let's see what we're going to get for game two. Okay, we have this is fun. We have Dwarves versus Chaos Dwarves. We have the Grudge match, and there is a Demon Slayer in the build. Okay. Also some Slayer Pirates, so there will be a little bit of new action here. So I'll be right back in a second. Going to refill my water, and we will start the next one. Jump scare. There we are. All right, team, we're back in business. Game two of today's grand finals. It is going to be Dwarves facing off against Chaos Dwarves. So once again, we have a duel of the meta versus the off-meta. It's certainly the tail of the tape for today, which I think it's a fun narrative. We're going to see if the off-meta can defeat the meta, though. So it's going to be the Dowie. Tim the Wilder, up 1-0 in the series, coming in with a Demon Slayer versus Hitman Hippo with his Legion of Chowie. He's got a lot of great weapons mixed in there, as well as some warriors with the shields. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, Gelt was unsummoned at the beginning, correct. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's time. It is time. Let the Nurglings feast. So Demon Slayer is an anti-large character, which means he should be feasibly decent against the Bale Taurus, which is what I would probably expect here from the Chaos Dwarves. We got a grudge match. So for Tim the Wilder here, he's going to be rocking a Demon Slayer, which I like. I like that pick. I think it's a great pick from Tim. Tim's also got a front line of Dwarf Warriors, backed up by Quarrelers. Quarrelers are, a solid unit. One of the things that Dwarves do way better than Chaos Dwarves is their, in general, their shooting is a lot more dynamic, right? The Chaos Dwarves have mostly short-range powder. Their ranged bow shooting is very haggard via the Hobgoblins, but Dwarves do it well. So in the back, we got a cannon being called in. Double cannons here against the Chowie. And for the Chaos Dwarves of Hitman Hippo is going to be rocking a Sorcerer Prophet of Fire. So the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire with Burning Head. Interesting. So, okay, I see the Burning Head actually because of Slayers. Slayers being more prevalent in the meta maybe with like Pirate Slayers and or Doomseekers having the Burning Head, although Doomseekers have a low model count, so it's not very good against them. Yeah. Should be cool. So Hobgoblins, a big core of Chaos Dwarves. So the Chaos Dwarves going to be trying to meet the width of their noble cousins with their evil width. We got the Laborers, which, are decent. They have okay armor-piercing punch. And Sneaky Gets just providing a little bit of capture weight and anti-infantry. They'll honestly, probably a Sneaky Get will defeat a Dwarven Miner unit in combat. Granted, they're quite a bit more expensive. And yeah, Chaos Dwarf Warriors. Now, what are the Chaos Dwarves going to call in for their stopping power? Are they just going to try and meet them in infantry? Oh, look at the back objective getting ninja'd by the Chaos Dwarves. Oh, sneaky, sneaky here. I love it. So the Chaos Dwarves vanguarded some sneaky gets. Oh, I love it. So this is, oh man, I really enjoy the new domination so much more. Like, it's so much, there's like faster action, and it's there's funny tricks like this. So normally you would never see this, right? This unit composition, but this is such a good, clever play by Hitman Hippo. What he does is he uses 2 sneaky gets in Vanguard, which can Vanguard really far, and he steals Tim's back objective, knowing that he's going to try and win on objectives probably against the dwarves here, right? Because the dwarves have already opened double cannon, which means they're looking to kind of value trade and then push you back later on. So that's hilarious, dude. Look at these little gremlins. Oh my god. It reminds me of like when I used to play in 40k tournaments, like having Nurglings like Vanguard deploy on points and things like that, just trolling. Yeah, it's always good. But that was a long time ago, 8th edition. But yeah, sneaky gets are holding on, and the dwarves do have more capture weight, but it's taken a little bit longer than expected. The Chaos Dwarves, Hashit smiles to stay. The Sorcerer Prophet sits up and cackles as he controls all 3 objectives. Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Labor is coming, and the dwarves are going to have to move forward soon. They can't afford to play this game for too much longer. Otherwise, Tim is going to fall massively behind in points. Now, that's a playstyle he's used to playing. Tim is really, really good at those kind of build-up type strategies. But Ekron's Miners, you don't want to get blasting charge. That would suck for Hippo. But Tim definitely wants this. He's probably full chub for this bad boy. And it looks like Hitman Hippo does notice it and does flee. So he yields the objective, and the little goblins fleeing into the tree line. That's pretty hilarious, actually. They're just scurrying away after trolling the dwarves. But now the dwarves advance, and it's going to get real. Using the World of Warcraft arena tactics, using the pillar to hump here, making sure you don't get shot by cannonballs. I've certainly experienced that quite a bit. I used to play a Frost Mage in WoW Arena, and I remember, priests and druids running around pillars to avoid the wrath, but always a good time. But yeah, the battle is now on. It's going to be a very grindy melee fight. It's a lot of armor, a lot of relatively high leadership duking it out. Tim also using the new gyrocopter. So the steam gyrocopter is apparently the more popular of the variants as the Chowie prepare to engage their cousins. Now, normally the Chaos Dwarves would win this fight against the Dwarf Warriors here, but they're very beat up, and they're also taking a lot of missile fire, which is going to change the dynamic of this fight. The Sorcerer Prophet is cackling from behind the pillar, and it looks like the Sneaky Gets have moved back out to press this objective. So we get one Sneaky Get attacking the Longbeards here. Longbeards and the Demon Slayer are going to be able to dominate these Sneaky Gets. Like, Sneaky Gets are good against, like, chaff, but against anything of substance and quality, you're going to have a really, really bad time. Longbeards are pretty Chad infantry, too. Those guys are going to be holding all day. But these Sneaky Gets here are actually beating down the Ekron's Miners, which isn't a bad trade at all. Now, in the middle, cannon fire from the dwarves is firing, and oh yeah, look at this. We get the Long Drong's Slayer Pirates. Now, these guys are awesome because they have an aura called Dwarf Rum. So basically, they're just throwing beer on you, I guess. And it gives negative 10 melee attack to nearby units, which is an insanely good aura. It kind of makes them a bit of an auto take. But yep, they're going to be cruising up, and you can see the cannon shooting at the Sorcerer Prophet, but the double cannons have been a bit of a botched investment here. They haven't been doing too much, and now the heavy hitters are getting called in. I was wondering what he would use, and his anti-infantry option is going to be the Bull Centaur Renders with the dual weapons, which will massacre Dwarven infantry in an isolated situation. Cannons will probably switch onto those. Certainly an easier target than the Baeltor's character, who it looks like Hitman Hippo is going bananas with the micro. He's dodging the shots. The Slayer Pirates are shooting him. They come from Karak Dive Bar. That's my newest dad joke, but they're getting good shots into the Sorcerer Prophet. That man's going to need to escape. Meanwhile, the Bull Centaurs have engaged on the flank over here, and they're going to dominate these dwarves. They are absolutely brutal against dwarvish infantry, and they have a little bit of missile resist with their kind of scaly skin equivalent. It's 25%, but even still, they don't want to stay in that corridor fire. But yeah, the Dowie Tsar infantry are fighting well. We do see the Chaos Dwarf Warriors here with Great Weapons holding it down. These Chaos Dwarves they're kind of like Longbeards. Like, Chaos Dwarf Warriors are in between Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards. So they will lose to a Longbeard, but they'll hold their own for a long time and allow value to be accrued in other areas. Looking at the value here, we do see the dwarves pulling ahead. Oh, it looks like when I looked away for a second, a lot of cannon shots were able to shoot into the Sorcerer Prophet. So he is quite beat up at 5,000 HP now. So that is where the value lead was pulled by Tim the Wilder. Tim the Wilder with very good awareness, knowing that the Prophet was open and vulnerable right now. So let's go butter that bread. The Sorcerer Prophet, a big potential liability here on the Beast as well, right? Because he normally heals when enemies cast spells, but dwarves do not cast magic, so he's not going to be able to heal at all. Did he bring that item on accident? I don't think he did. Yeah, hard to say. But yeah, Sorcerer Prophet's getting pounded really, really hard. But, what's funny about the situation is the dwarves normally, are the ones holding on objectives when they're behind in value, being difficult to push off, right? But Chaos Dwarves are, like, in many ways, not quite as hard to push off objectives, but pretty damn close. They have super high leadership on their warriors, and they have mobility, and Bull Centaur Renders are also a very high leadership unit. You can see they're sitting at 84 right now. So, yeah, they're kind of just, like, mutated Chaos Dwarves, right? Yeah, Hashit giving some sweet blessings here. But, yeah, they're going to be bashing through these dwarves, and the points are getting a little bit precarious. Looking at Objective 2, we do see this one starting to flip back. Will the Chaos Dwarves be able to find some way back? Oh, we got a Skullcracker coming in. And those cannons, yeah, those cannons have been online the entire time, and it looks like Tim is running away with one of them, so he does call in some Slayers to try and fight the Chaos Dwarf Warriors, which is not going to be cost-effective at all. Slayers are pretty terrible against armor, so the Chaos Dwarfs will lose that, but they're going to do some really good trading in the process. Another call-in is going to be Thunderers. Oh, hell yeah. So we got the classic Dwarven shooting. The Thunderers are on the way up. So some hard firepower going to be trying to knock the Dowie Zara off the middle objective. So we got one Thunderer here, a second one here. Slayers probably defeat those Chaos Dwarf Warriors, and Tim with some really good micro, so he detached the cannons and ran away with the Dwarves, which I certainly think is not a bad idea. So over here in the back, Sorcerer Prophet of Fire is very beat up, but as long as he lives, you know, he can keep providing good value to the battlefield. Skullcracker is cracking some skulls, is running over the Dwarven infantry. That's a pretty awful way to go, for sure, my goodness. But yeah, the Bale Taurus character probably going to go back to his post behind the pillar and maybe wait for the cannons to be offline. Burning ahead on the Long Drawn's Slayer Pirates. And they're going to get cooked a little bit, losing about 300 HP in the process. Also does go and roast some of the Chaos Dwarves, so a little fellow collateral damage. Skullcracker is fast though, should be able to outmaneuver the Demon Slayer, but the Slayer Pirates are setting up to provide some firepower, and their shooting is very good. They have some solid armor piercing. Now in the backfield, we get a unit of Hobo Goblins, able to shut down a Thunderer unit, so using the mobility of the Chaos Dwarves, they do get back here and are able to wreck the Dowie Thunderers pretty effectively. And now the Bull Centaur Renders. Okay, this could be a bit of a change in the pacing of the game. We see Slayers trapped here. We see two cannons which are on the verge of being compromised if things don't go better. And these Bull Centaurs with the dual axes tear through the Thunderers, but they are eating a lot of shots. They need to find a way to maybe get here or shut down a cannon or something. I don't know. It's occupying a lot of Dwarven momentum, though, back here is what I'm saying. And you see these Chaos Dwarf Warriors, they were at, like, I don't know, like 40%. They still were able to bring Slayers down really, really low, even in their tattered states, because Slayers are just kind of bad against armor. Now, Tim the Wilder with some good mobility play of his own, the dreaded Gyrocopters. So using the Gyrocopters to hunt the Sorcerer Prophet. Sorcerer Prophet at 2 leadership. Man, he's really close to running. And are the Chaos Dwarves going to be able to get the objectives back? It's looking a little bit wild here. Got a lot of laborers coming up, as well as Sneaky Gits, and the sneakiness could be one of his biggest tricks. As far as fighting tools for the Chaos Dwarfs, we do have a Skullcracker as well as Bull Centaurs. For the Dowie, we have the Mighty Demon Slayer that Tim's been rocking very well this game. Slayers coming up. It is an unholy legion of Slayers. Now, here's the thing about that many Slayers. They will be very good against large targets, but they're going to be very poor against infantry. So if the Chaos Dwarfs start to spam infantry back out, it could change the momentum of the game. So Bull Centaur Render is trying to run away. Cannons are both pretty functional. Tim has done an excellent job managing those this game, and Hippo certainly had a valiant attempt at trying to bring them down. Skullcracker here in the middle, causing a lot of havoc. Probably not a ton of value so far, but there's a lot of game left to be played. Bull Centaur Render is here with the dual axes. We got 2 of them on the battlefield. One of them is getting cannonballed into the Shadow Realm, but look how much damage they do on impact. Wow, man, those Bugman's Rangers getting karate chopped. With the cannon fire, might be able to knock those Bull Centaurs off. -1 leadership and -7. Looks like they're going to break. So the Dowie combined arms doing very, very well. As these Bull Centaurs make an attempt to take down the Bugman's Rangers, the durability of Bugman's known all across the realm. So this is going to be a triple cap situation. So it looks like the Chowie, the Chaos Dwarves, are going to be heading towards their back objective and just Helm's Deeping, which is a really good strategy, right? Because the Dwarves are very slow, so it's going to take them a long time to get to that point. So you might as well just swarm with infantry on that back point. Seeing your opponent summoning a bunch of Slayers, you got to just go full Chubb and be like, oh yeah, dude, I'm just going to call in a bunch of Dwarf Warriors and you're going to bounce off me. Because Slayers are terrible against Chaos Dwarf Warriors. So a couple of Bull Centaurs do rally on the point, which is actually really big. Even though they're beat up, if they stand on top of Laborers, that's going to give some much needed DPS. And now the Sneaky Gits have ambushed Slayers. And talk about up trading. Sneaky Gits have anti-infantry and are really good against light armor. So they're going to be able to probably butcher a lot of these Slayers, which is not going to be great for them. Although the Slayers probably appreciate it because, you know, the grudges are being satisfied and whatnot. But, or their oath is being fulfilled, excuse me. Skullcrackers rolling around, shutting down a lot of the missile units, and more power is activated And here it comes. Oh yeah, the buzzsaw. It's going to be cracking some skulls. Some of those dwarves are going to get run over pretty damn hard. Sitting at 63 models, taking a ton of HP from that Skullcracker. So this Skullcracker running interference here is quite good. 2 cannons. What are they shooting at downtown? They're trying to go after the Bull Centaur renders, which is a good call. The Bull Centaurs, I think, are pretty impactful here. Now, in the back point, Chaos Dwarves are holding on to it, but it's a really, really dicey hold here, ladies and gentlemen. It is really, really dicey. Chaos Dwarf Warriors here, fighting the Long Drongs Slayer Pirates of Karak Dive Bar. You can see these bikers are trying to hold back the Dowie Warriors, but the Chaos Dwarves know the importance of holding the vital resources. Of course, being an industrial powerhouse, I just imagine there's like an ore deposit under here. They're like, it's ours. And they move up on the point. So a lot of Slayers. This objective could be flipping. Is Tim going to go up 2-0 in this series? Or will the Dowie Czar be able to fight back? It's looking really, really good for Tim right now, but never underestimate the dreaded hippos. I mean, hippos, people think hippos are like funny, realistically, but hippos are one of the most like terrifying animals in the world. In terms of what they're capable of doing, the violence they can bestow, hippos are scary, dude. They're really scary. So the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders, this is really clean too. He's kind of moving around the edge of the objective, shooting into the unarmored Slayers while maintaining capture weight. And here the Sneaky gets up trading into the Slayers really effectively. You see the Slayers here getting massacred. And now we got some Chowie Warriors and Chowie Warriors with great weapons up on the point. So suddenly it kind of looks like he might have a little bit of a chance here, guys. It's going to be a hard one. The Dwarves are having to overextend. And the Dwarves this entire game are really relying on their fire support, right? Like their cannons and whatnot. But in this case, the cannons aren't really doing too much. They're shooting into trees. They're shooting into infantry. It's not feeling great for them. Gyrocopter here about to finally be broken by the Wolf Riders. And the Chaos Dwarf Warriors are just holding on to this point super, super well. Sneaky Gets, that Vanguard deployment. We've been seeing Sneaky Gets get used a lot today. They seem to be, I think they got a cost reduction. I'm not sure. I'd have to, well, that was actually, I think, a couple patches ago. But yeah, I mean, against Dwarves who are going to be spamming out Slayers, I guess it's not bad at all. So Hippo valiantly holding on to the back point. Slayers moving up. And Orc Laborers are also here to target them a little bit. But yeah, he's maintaining his cap weight with these guys. Really, really clean stuff. Bull Centaur renders using the trees. They're fighting kind of behind the tree line. So you can see the direct tree shot from the cannons isn't quite able to connect with them. And Chaos Dwarf Warriors moving up onto the point as well. Going to be surging forth to do glorious battle. And man, oh man, I don't know if the Dwarves are going to be able to get this. I mean, you might think you have a lot of time, and if you were playing a faction with more mobility, you'd be like, oh, it's plenty of time. I'll get some Empire Knights up there. I'll get some, Costified Dervishes. But these are Dwarves. They're very slow. And one thing that I think Tim is really lacking in his build is infantry killing power. He doesn't really have that. It's been his one Achilles heel this entire game. And that's where I think a Doomseeker comes in. If you get like one or two Doomseekers here, I'm pretty sure those Doomseekers, they roll up on this point, and they dunk on all the Chaos Dwarves, and you just straight up win the game. But at this point, there's no Doomseekers. There's not really much anti-infantry, so I think you are going to probably have some problems. And this is one thing the Dowie Czar do better than the Dowie, and it's swarming Haggard legions. We see an unholy horde of laborers being called out, and they are going to get there, and they're going to, no, I don't know if they're going to fight for Hashit. They're just going to fight for their ability to not die, but they're going to get up to the point here. And once again, really good domination fundamentals by old Hitman Hippo here, using the Hobgoblin Wolf Rider. It kind of reminds me, I've been playing a lot of Company of Heroes lately, and it's very similar in terms of like how you work around the edge of objectives and contest with your opponents. It's a very similar skill set here. But yeah, beautiful stuff coming in from the Wolf Riders, able to get tons of DACA in, melting Slayers in the process, mind you, and the Unholy Legions have arrived. And we get more Wolf Riders being called in. Guys, we have only 100 seconds left. That is going to be really tight. That is going to be really tight. Minute and 40 seconds here. The Chaos Dwarves got a lot on the point. They still have the high leadership fighting. The Baeltor's character, did he flee off the battlefield? Let me go ahead and double check that. So it looks like he was unsummoned, so that's going to be sparing the leadership issues. Demon Slayer here, but worst case, what somebody would do is just hide him in the corner of the map, and it would have been the same difference, really. But yeah, Demon Slayer's trying. He's done well. He's gotten about 800 value. He only costs like 1100. He's very cheap. But there hasn't been much for him to fight. The Chaos Dwarves have been really, really kind of swarmy, using a lot of mobility, Skullcrackers, and Bull Centaur renders. Beautiful blasting charges by Tim, though. That's very clutch. That's a lot of damage on those guys. We got Dwarf Warriors coming up, Tim moving up with Quarrelers and Longbeards and Thunderers as well. Thunderers have been really ineffective this game. Seems like they just got shut down by the mobility, but the Chaos Dwarves just have such an ugly, ugly amount of filth. Just so many on the point. Just so many of these laborers. And the Chowies are infantry. They're holding firm. They got their tall hats, man. They really do. There they come, swarming on into the Slayers. Oh, look at that. Glorious Death activated so the Slayers cannot die. That's going to buy them a little bit of time, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And the Chowie are holding on to the point, although it does start to flip here. But there's only going to be, yeah, there's only 20 seconds left. Oh my god, is he going to get it? No, no. It's starting to flip. Are the Dwarves going to pull this one back? They are getting the capture weight on it. They got some units coming. They're pumping those short Dwarven legs as hard as they can, but those legs are short. And it looks like these sneaky gets have arrived here, so Hitman Hippo has arrived up on the objective. And talk about a sweaty game. This is incredibly sweaty. My goodness. More Slayers coming, more Slayers on the way. And look at that. The Warhost of Tsar claims victory in Game 2. And that is going to be a W here for Hitman Hippo. Man, what a scrap. Bellator's character was a bust. He definitely struggled. Probably Astrogoth would be better. But here we do see the Bull Centaur renders doing well. Skullcracker paying for itself. So this was the real epicenter of the build. In tandem with just the Dowie infantry, really. Yeah, they held for Hashit. They did. It was a good match, man. They both played really well. It was a fun one. Cool to see some Chaos Dwarves getting a little bit of play today. And Chaos Dwarves going 2-0 today, which is fun. Yeah. Those tall hats are very strong. They are indeed. Those hats are super tall. That was a really, really close one. Shall we never more thankful for their laborer force? I know. I'm sure those laborers are being treated to a nice feast back at the halls of the the Dowie Tsar hellscape. I'm sure. Don't worry about it. All right, so let's get the next game going and let's find it. All right. So brackets. We're here in the grand finals. We finished our third place match, which was won by House Cat of War. So currently House Cat number 3, Chicken number 4, and we're fighting for number 1 and number 2 right now. So yeah, it's go time, baby. It's go time. One word book. Yeah, that one's for sure going in the book. That one is for sure going in the book. All right. So let's get rid of this one. Oh, man. There's a super dreaded build in the next game. And this is a build I've been using a lot, and it just feels super nasty. I'm curious how it's going to go in this game. But, yeah. We got Empire vs. Greenskins with the dreaded double land ship, plus a Master Engineer and a Steam Tank, it looks like. They'll be rewarded with a 30-second break. That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to let the Nurglings feast, sort of, metaphorically. As we have Tim the Wilder on the Greenskins, the classic sweat, versus a very sweaty Empire as well. These are both incredibly sweaty builds. The double land ship, people laugh at it, but I can tell you I've been crushing people with double land ship. I've been crushing people who I feel are better than me with double land ship. It is extremely gross if you're not prepared for it. This is best of 5. Now, you can beat the double land ship with Greenskins, I think, by using Rampage. So you need to Rampage them and pull them to their doom, like pull them into like 5 archer units and magic missile spam them, and then you can win the game. But if you don't come prepared with Rampages, those land ships are going to go bananas in your formation. I'm really curious to see if Tim can handle this, because in my anecdotal experience, having played with a lot of land ship action, I don't see too many ways for the Greenskins to win this. But I could be wrong. All right, Master Engineer is going to be on the tank. We got, oh, look at him up there. That's so cool. And he does have his pigeon bombs as well, which makes him, very, very good. We got one land ship, and the Wonder of the Age, they're full power already, dude. Look at him going. Aside from this, we do have a lot of spearmen. Not a lot, but 4 of them. And that's pretty much it. It's just like a super, super single entity focus build, which is going to be brutal. Going to be absolutely brutal. For Tim has got the Goblin Great Shaman, and his Vindictive Glare is going to feel so freaking pitiful right now. This thing is just going to do like nothing to those ships. It's going to be... Oh my god, bring an Iceberg? I know. So yeah, very standard Savage Orcs, Squigs, Boroboys, blah, blah, blah. All the same stuff you see in every Greenskin build. Nothing, they don't never do anything fun these days. It's always just the same stuff. But yeah, these land ships, I'm telling you, are going to be incredibly disgusting. Yeah, incredibly disgusting. So here they come, and yeah, they're just going to be driving. And the ROR land ship is insanely good here because of its grenade launchers. It has a grenade launcher crew. The Master Engineer, dude, this is so much armor with healing. This is going to be... I don't know how the Greenskins are going to handle this, man. I really don't. I played this matchup with Subutai, although he was on Beastmen, and literally there was nothing he could do against the double land ship. Although he didn't... I think if he knew it was coming, he could have, but like if they're not prepared for it, which my opponent wasn't that game either, it's truly foul. All right, so the land invasion with the land ships has begun, and yeah, the Empire's going to be value trading for sure, but Tim is going to get all 3 objectives. That's the downside. I think, like, avoiding land ships and tar pitting them, maybe, but they're so high mass, it's so hard to stop. So here they come back into the middle. Let's get some good close-ups of these things, because it's just hilarious. Yeah, they're shooting on the broadsides, and the Wonder of the Age, the mortar is just going to be perpetually shooting. And the grenade launcher crews on the side also going to be ripping shots incrementally, so it's kind of like a giant war wagon, basically. Vindictive Glare goes down and does some okay damage against the Wonder of the Age, but really, really missing not having a Rampage. With 1 Rampage, you could get it to sit still on top of your Boar Boy Biggins for 20 seconds, and then you could just shoot it to pieces. But without the Rampage here, you're going to have a pretty bad time. But, you know, the meta's changing. There's a lot of new elements. People are going to have to adapt, right? Steam Tank Commander fighting with his Spearman, and he's got his Hawkland Long Rifle. Oh, he's actually got a grenade launcher. Interesting. Okay. So he's shooting his grenade launcher from atop the tank. I'm so used to my Steam Tank in tabletop has a Hawkland Long Rifle modeled on it, but Wonder of the Age just rolling dirty, rampaging through the backfield, chasing down squigs, looking at the Valley of the Empire. Empire's pulling a massive lead, and they're not really taking much damage in the process. 1 Huntsman unit does get karate chopped here, but the Steam Tank with his pigeon bombardments is preparing to probably do some nasty work here. And the land ships are now getting healed with Earthblood. Don't Even Try It also activated as well. So that is another sniping ability. So you can see the Wonder of the Age has been brought down relatively low, but so far the land ships are full power ahead. And yeah, they're going to keep rampaging, dude. The Boar Boy Biggins are trying to get them, but it is so hard to stop the land ships with Boar Boy Biggins because, number 1, their mass is insane, and number 2, the Empire can just run them back on top of their Spearmen. And that makes it super hard. On top of that, land ship coming in here, running over the Savage Orcs. Oh, the wheels of Sigmar! They keep turning, and those Savage Orcs do get broken, and the land ship is going to continue its barrages. Now, as far as Tim goes, Tim is pulling back value a little bit, but the problem is all this value can be potentially healed. We do have Swordsmen and State Troopers rolling up and starting to push back the Green Tide. You can see the Green Tide is getting a little bit tired. A lot of leadership breaks in the front line. The triple massive armor with the Wonders of the Age and the Master Engineer and the Steam Tank, man, that is going to be just incredibly tough to deal with. Empire Knights being called in. Normally Empire Knights are a bit of a liability in this matchup because of how bad they get wrecked by Boar Boy Biggins, but with the State Trooper support and the land ships absorbing most of the attention, it seems like they're cackling all the way to the bank. So Tim is falling behind pretty far, only down by 1,000 value, but realistically it's probably like 2,000 or 3,000 with the healing that's been done to the land ships, and it's only going to get worse. Although it's only an Earthblood, no regrowth brought by Hitman Hippo, but Hippo going just deep in it here. Middle objective taken by the Empire. Greenskins looking just raggedy, just super raggedy all over the battlefield. And yeah, they for sure have been broken down here. Another Vindictive Glare attempting on the Wonder of the Age, and it does miss because he was caught up in Empire Knights here. I'm surprised the land ships have not run over the Goblin Great Shaman yet. That would for sure be a good play to just try and chariot him down. And there's the pigeon bomb. So the Holy Pigeons of Sigmar descending from somewhere. I don't know where from. Okay, where are they? Ah, yes, the Pigeons of Sigmar being sent out. If only pigeon bombs were that good in tabletop. They're pretty terrible, but, you know, they're very funny. Basically, how it works is in tabletop, your engineers can release the pigeons. So what you do is you roll a 1, you roll a dice, 1 dice, and if you roll a 1, the pigeon returns back to your engineer and drops the bomb on his head. If you roll a 2 through a 5, the pigeon drops a dud, so he drops the bomb, but it doesn't explode, and it does very little damage. And if you drop a 6, it's like super powerful. The pigeon bomb just like nukes a unit. It's really funny. Very much a gimmick, but you know, it's good for the laughs. So the Goblin Great Shaman here at -6 leadership, he does get run over by the Master Engineer. Empire looking like they're really taking over this game. We see value leads all over the place. We got State Troopers coming up, Empire Knights here on Objective 3, and the Sons of Sigmar look to have clinched this game. I don't see too many ways for them to lose this one, because the Goblin Great Shaman Lord is just haggard and running. The land ships are getting healed, full power ahead. That is probably going to be a tap out from Tim soon. Tim is a very knowledgeable, he knows very well when he's lost the game, and he typically will leave if he thinks he's lost. So, yeah, Empire did lose today, but they're very strong. They're very strong. People are still adjusting to all these new units. But Empire did lose the first game against Greenskins. It was the very first game of the stream, and they did have a land ship in that one, but they didn't have 2 land ships. It was just 1. So, yeah, Pigeon Bombs is hilarious in tabletop. It's really funny. I'm going to be playing in a tournament on the 20th with the Empire, and I'm thinking of just running like 3 Pigeon Bomb units. Just see if I can get lucky, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, land ships are just cackling really, really strong. Especially against factions like Greenskins. You would need a Rampage, you would need a build designed to deal with them. I think rampaging one of the land ships early and going, you could probably, my meta tech against the land ships as greenskins that I'm pretty sure would beat this build would be a River Troll Hag with Mither and Spirit Leech and Buna, and then you would go with a Rampaging Goblin, so a Goblin Big Boss with Rampage, or Skarsnik even. And you would go with, you would probably go with a Feral Wyvern as well. The Feral Wyvern could, once you Rampage it, you just Spirit Leech it, you go in with your Goblin, you dive it with the Feral Wyvern, and you'd be able to take it down. Arachnarok? Maybe. This could be the time of the Arachnarok. Hard to say. But yeah, that's a double cap here. Tim is going to continue scrapping. One land ship still in pretty good shape, but it's pretty beat up now. Probably encroaching. Oh, it hasn't even paid for itself yet. And the other land ship here, has it paid for itself? Not quite. Has the steam tank paid for itself? Yes, it has. So the steam tank is the only of the big things that's paid for itself. And an interesting idea is, like, even if the bombs, the big ships don't pay for themselves, they're just such an insane tank. Like, the greenskins put all their effort into dealing with the land ship, and if they can't, then, and it gets away with, like, this much health, it's going to be a crushing defeat. It's much like in a tabletop game where if you try and kill a big monster, you get it down to 1 wound, and then it swings back and just wipes you out, right? It's very much like that in this game, too. You really, really got to do it. All right, so we got the old spearmen coming up. They're going to head towards objective 1 here. Oh, halberdiers, actually, so they're going to hold that objective just fine. And I think Tim's just dead in the water here. He's ahead on points, but he's massively behind with healing taken into account. I think we can probably call this one a day. Because I just don't, like, Tim is still scrapping because it's a high-stakes tournament, but I just don't think he realizes how over this one is. So we'll do a little bit of fast-forwarding. We see these Savage Orcs here desperately trying to get the objectives. Time for some auction house commentary. And he wouldn't even win with a Helm's Deep. And not that the Greenskins would be capable of Helm's Deeping. He's basically spamming, you know, cavalry. And there's just a ton of units, and Tim does tap out. GG, well played. The dreaded double landship is here. And, you know, the Greenskins who have been crushing everybody for the past 6 months, they need to respect that, you know, there are some other predators out here now. Yeah, the build needs to be changed up, I think. I think you need some more, like, rampaging effects. Here's the thing. One landship paid for itself, but the other one didn't. So, yeah, it's interesting. The tank commander, it's just the armor, he armor checked the Greenskins really hard. And, like, these type of cavalry units, even though they are anti-large, it's hard to lock down landships. That's the big problem with them. My overall opinions on landships, I think that they need a cost increase. I think they should cost the same as a steam tank. So as it currently stands, they cost $1,700 for the landship. I think it should cost $2,100 instead. And then I think the Wonder of the Age should cost like $2,500 or $2,600. And then I think you're fine. It's not like that bad, but it's like a little undercosted. But it's nowhere near as like as OP as some of the stuff we've had in previous patches, that's for sure. Yeah, quad Doom Divers would also karate chop that. If you had 3 Doom Diver catapults, they would just wreck those land ships. Absolutely wreck them. I know, I'm not measuring it just in the damage it caused, trust me. I'm measuring it in the damage they tanked and the terror routes. The land ships carried that game. It's a very destructive build. And if you're not tech for it, you're going to lose hard. It's what we call like a skew build, sort of. All right, GG, well played. But yeah, they need a cost increase, 100%. Well played to the Hippo, man. And who would have thought? We're on game 4, and if Hippo wins this next one, the series is 100% over. Man, oh man. So Tim the Wilder, the defending champion of the Chaos Clash, is going to be on the ropes. Okay, so let's get the bracket up. We pull up the next replay. And it is time. Let the Nurglings feast. Someone wanted a Palpatine cap. Well, I got you. Hold on. I think he's on my soundboard still. Is he? There you go. I got you. Oh, interesting. Interesting last one. Okay. So game 4 here. And then game 5. Okay, I got all these loaded up just in case. We have Tzeentch versus Kislev here in game 4. All right. It's just time. Let them party, dude. All right, so loading into the Arachnarok lair. It is going to be Tzeentch versus Kislev. The weakness of the landships, aquatic units, yes. Dude, imagine if the landships could like go into water and then they could like set anchor and just like become super powerful. So you can't see what your opponent picks, right? You cannot see what your opponent picks, correct? You cannot. All right, guys. Tzeentch for Tim the Wilder versus Hitman Hippo is going to be coming in with Baba Yaga. Badger, thank you for the 20. Oh, you don't know what's going down. You guys got no idea. Throwing a curveball at you. All right, so taking a look at the build here for Tim the Wilder. The double Tzeentch Soul Grinder, man. And how many of you guys have seen how gnarly the Tzeentch Soul Grinders are in land battle? Oh my god, they're so obnoxious. Like, watching high-level Tzeentch play in land battle is probably one of the worst experiences in Total War. Yeah. So it's going to be double Soul Grinders, and those things are designed to kill chariots, monsters, big things, and also are respectable fighters in melee. Tim also coming in with Kairos Fate Weaver with Pendulum and the Blue Fire, and we do have Pink Horrors as well as Zangors, and a couple units of Zangors over here on the outside as well. So yeah, a lot of sniping. This is very much like a, I'm going to snipe your lord and I'm going to cheese your business here. Now, for the forces of Kislev, and it is going to be Hitman Hippo coming in with these sweaty here, it's going to be doubled Zargard with Great Weapon. I do like the Zargard pick. They will dominate pretty much all of the infantry of Tzeentch. So they will require a little bit of focus fire from the Changer. Changebringers would be awesome here. Getting some Changebringers to roast these Zargard would be very, very strong. Very strong. Oh, was there a soul Grinder change? What was changed? Let me know. Did they get nerfed? Let me know the changes. Elaborate, please. Yes. Good. So on the far side, we see the Zangors of Tim the Wilder rushing up to grab the objectives. Tim is going to be getting a triple cap right out of the gates here. And in the meantime, Kislev is going to be moving forward with its Unholy Legion. Now, the Kislev hybrid shooting did get nerfed, which was a really good change. It did way too much damage. Like, honestly, they could kill big armor and felt pretty bad. But yeah, Kislev is at the ready. Oh, Akshina ambushers as well. It is now one of the best anti-infantry tools. The missile rework effects and shots. So now it spreads. Oh my god, really? So Soul Grinders and Tzeentch are just like good against everything now? Oh dear god. So Tim coming in with the dirty build here, huh? Alright, so the Javelin. Oh my god, that is really good. That's just like, why is it like that? Shouldn't they just be anti-large? Now they're just good against infantry too? Oh man, okay. That's something. Well, Baba Yaga is going to be hiding in the bushes, launching bears out. So she does launch a bear from the bushes and gets on the Zangors here and gets some good shots. And in the meantime, we do see the Soul Grinder of Tzeentch getting poked by the Horse Archers and by the Akshina ambushers here. There's going to be a Pendulum coming down, but it looks like Hitman Hippo dodging. Oh, but the Gaze of Fate. Oh, he Gaze of Fates the Akshinas. Is there going to be a Pendulum follow-up? Oh, man, he's missing the opportunity. The Gaze of Fate did go down, but there's no Pendulum follow-up. Trying to blue fire Baba Yaga over here. So Baba Yaga going to get popped, and Mother Ostankia is going to be taking her stanky leg back behind the rock. And we're going to see what she's up to here. So Tzeentch continuing to throw the Grinder Javelins. And yeah, so those Javelins still do good damage against big targets too, huh? That's pretty wild. Yeah, that's pretty wild. All right, guys. So Objective 3 owned by Tzeentch. They're able to hold it down. The Horse Archers and Mother Stank are going to be pulling away. Meanwhile, Kislev gets a firm grasp on the other two objectives and are going to be very, very tough to remove. We do get these Sour Guts. Sour Guts are an amazing unit. Those are the Arwar Pinks. When they die, they explode and do a lot of damage to whatever attacks them. So if you're getting attacked by like Kislevite Dervishes, things like that, Winged Lancers, very, very decent at kind of blowing up on them. In the meantime, Zangor's cruising up for a bruising. A lot of anti-infantry killing power here for Tzeentch with their anti-large units. And you can see one of these Zargard with Great Weapons is kind of on death's bed already. So a very, very good start for Tim the Wilder in terms of value trading. So yeah, and he certainly needs to get this, right? He's down 2-1 here. So he needs to get these crazy value trades, which he currently is. Kairos Fate Weaver cackling about. Where's he going to go? Could just attack these Zargard here. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Soul Grinders maneuvering away. Horse Archers trying to chase down the Soul Grinders. Blue Fire going into the Akshina ambushers. Cool to see the ambushers being used and not being like, remember how stupidly OP the ambushers were? Oh my god, those things were awful, especially the ones that could like net you down. That felt so incredibly bad. Soul Grinder of Tzeentch here getting the DACA, so the Akshina ambushers melting in. They don't have the AP they used to have, but still very, very good. Zangor's moving up to contest these Zargard. Zargard are very low, so the Zangors probably win that fight. Kislev just anchoring down on two objectives and just kind of trading very casually here, but also we see Mother Stank. She's in a dangerous situation. Between the Blue Fire and the two Soul Grinders, she's got to be very careful. The Bear Launcher, the MLG Bear Launch. Look how much damage that did. My goodness, that was brutal. Absolutely brutal Bear Launch coming in from the Stank train. A couple Armored Kossars coming down. This big chicken better be careful. The hybrid shooting did get nerfed, but it's still very good. And Kairos is lightly armored anyway, so the shooting, nerf isn't really going to be that big of a game changer there. But Kislev looks like they're rock hard on all three objectives, so Tim is just going to be focusing on value trading, but man, oh man, he's going to need some tools to push them off here. He went very, very heavily into sniping here, and we'll see if it works out. Another Blue Fire coming down for Tim the Wilder, going to be shooting into the Stank. Stank does get popped by that Warp Flame. Probably has a Patriarch in reserve. Gaze of Fate active, and oh man, and the Tzeentch army ability. She tries to heal herself with the Witch's Broth, which will heal her a little bit. But overall, the kaboom! Big army shot coming down from Tzeentch. That is their army ability. But there is going to be a response from Kislev. Mother Ostankya calling in her creatures from the woods. It is going to be the things in the woods chasing down the big Soul Grinder here. And the Soul Grinder is getting caught up pretty hard. Curse of the Ancient Witch, negative 60 armor. Oh my god, there's like stuff I never use the Ostankya these days. But yeah, that's really good. Putting it down to 30 armor, it's going to be taking a ton of damage from these guys right there. That is pretty crazy. Now, as far as the objectives go, we do see Objective 1 being held by Kislev, Objective 2 by Kislev as well. With Tzeentch getting a formidable amount of firepower here in the middle with the Soul Grinder, and Centaurs of Tzeentch have been called out as well. Very good choice. Centaurs of Tzeentch have solid AP, and the Soul Grinder, yeah, he's not having a good time at all. Zangor is also going to get chewed up by the things in the woods. Soul Grinder at a low amount of health, and aside from that, we do see Mother Ostankya getting popped. So she's getting hunted pretty good by the giant chicken with his dreaded humping animation. Oh, hell yeah. That's what we're here for right now. That's what it's all about. It finally does land, and Mother Ostankya does get hit, though. 1 or 2 more blue fires might finish off the tank train. Oh man, that was the worst blue fire I've ever seen. That one literally just like went in every direction. It's like heroes in movies where the bullets just fly around them. That was basically like it is. All right, so Pink's blasted away. We do see the front line starting to fold up. Armored Kossars getting pounded by the Centaurs of Tzeentch, which are now going to be maneuvering down to the low ground and trying to help out a little bit. Sour Guts on the run, but honestly, you could just let the Sour Guts fight here. This is a big loss for Tim the Wilder, though. Losing this Soul Grinder of Tzeentch has got to feel really bad. That's an expensive unit that had like 2,000 HP. Those things are not cheap, right? Now, here in the middle, we do see Mother Ostankya getting hunted once again, and the Blue Fire probably in the back pocket. Screamers have also landed on the stank train, so killing the Kislevite Lord is good. It's not as good as against like low leadership factions, but yeah, taking out their caster and their Lord is quite good. And the stank train is probably going to be going down here, so no longer will she be doing the stanky leg, rather probably going to be dead. Yep, Mother Ostankya down for the count. The Tzeentch Warp Fire has taken her out. Tim the Wilder pulling a value lead, 7.5 against 6.4. And we have a pretty hotly contested game on our hands. But the question is Tim going to have enough to contest the points? Kislev has been sacrificing a lot of their value to get these points here. The Sour Guts able to chase back these Kossars. So those Kossars are going to run back home to Mother Kislev. And, you know, they did okay. They deserve a break here. Kossovite Dervishes getting melted by the Chromatic Abomination. Centaurs of Tzeentch coming in for a big surround. Going to be incredibly clean here against the Zargard as well as the Kossovite Dervishes. And Objective 1 owned by Kislev. Objective 2 owned by Kislev. A Patriarch coming in. A little bit too late to save the stank, unfortunately, but maybe Mother Ostankya will be called out. It seems like Kislev is winning a lot of the infantry fights. Look, if you invested a huge SE like Kairos and then, you know, 2 other big SEs that are super expensive, your ground core is going to suck pretty bad. And Soul Grinders of Tzeentch are not land ships, right? They're not going to be quite as destructive. Granted, I mean, they've got good value. This one has gotten 1,700 value already, so I don't know. Maybe they heard me saying that they're not land ships and they're trying to perform here. Nice pendulum going down from Kairos here, but Kairos struggling to get the objectives. Also, Kairos ends up fighting a bunch of halberds, which is not what he wants to be doing, even though he's a big, scary chicken. The halberds will be able to chip quite a bit of HP off him, which is very, very valuable. Kislev anchoring all 3 objectives down, and the Centaurs of Tzeentch of Tim are swarming up, and Tim looks like he might be able to get that second kind of push of momentum here. We'll have to see, but yeah, there's a lot on the field for Kislev. We got Winged Lancers coming out. When the Polish cavalry arrive, here they come. So the Winged Lancers are here, and they're going to try and wreck these Centaurs. And if they do get the rear charge on them like this, it will wreck them really badly. So Tim is going to be eating that charge right there, and here it comes. They're moving, and well played. Tim does get away. Really good micro on his part. So Tzeentch does have a solid core of units in the middle. If they could have maybe salvaged that Soul Grinder and gotten it up and around the side here, that would be a huge amount of extra stopping power they have. But that Soul Grinder dying, that really, really hurts. Winged Lancer is kind of getting wrecked here. Centaurs do get the counter charge on them once they charge their Zangors. And the Patriarch trying to provide a little bit of healing, but he no longer has passive healing. He only has the Lullaby, so not nearly as good as he once was. Zangor is heading towards Objective 1. Is Kislev going to be able to respond to that? Hitman Hippo is banking on... Well, he's probably saving up for a Griffin Legion. Griffin Legion are going to just crush Zangors. They're a really, really strong unit. One of the better shot cav units in the entire game, actually. And here are the Winged Lancers trying their best. Tim scrapping where he can, but he looks like he's just running out of steam a little bit, you know? The double Soul Grinder was a very much like a skew build. I personally think like wider Tzeentch would be stronger, and then using the Changebringers, because Kislev doesn't have any flying units. So using the Changebringers to come in and roast their good units is brutal. I'm telling you, it's absolutely brutal. But overall, Kairos is trying his best. Objective 3 is going to be, or 1 going to be maybe going to the Zangors. What's the call-in for Hippo going to be, though? Oh, Zargard, okay. So he just calls in elite infantry to try and hold down the point. Not a bad idea at all. So there's another pendulum. Remember when that spell used to just be disgustingly OP. And on the low ground, we do see Winged Lancers and Armored Kossars fighting off the Zangors. Kislev's passive really playing into the game here, obviously being unbreakable for long periods of time. You know, they don't have too many downsides for it, so very, very good. And you guys can see Kislev's still a top tier faction. Granted, they have some new predators. Like, Kislev can lose to Greenskins. Empire can trade into Kislev pretty well. It's more of an even match now. Empire Dwarves also trade well into Kislev in my experience. I think Cathay can hang with Kislev a little bit better after some of the nerfs now too. But yeah, this objective here is getting taken by the Changer. So Tim does get this one. And yeah, Kislev's looking a little bit raggedy on the battlefield, actually. Like, if you look in the middle here, we do see these units are really beat up. And remember, Tim has shield healing. So even though Hippo's ahead, Tim has shields that regenerate, which essentially is like healing. It's HP that's coming back here. So could there be a comeback? I don't know. There might actually be an opportunity here. 13-11, we do see the Pink Cores moving up, as well as these Soul Grinders. And the Centaurs of Tzeentch going to come around for a big flank, and Tim might be able to grab this. The only issue I can see Tim running into would be getting that last objective that's being anchored by Zargard and Armored Kossars. Yeah, that's going to be really tough to get. Some more Centaurs on the way in. Tim the Wilder's on the way back in. He is going to flip this middle objective most likely. Kislev looking really beat up here, ladies and gentlemen. Really, really beat up. And objective 2 likely going to be flipping as all the Kislevites on the point are broken. So now Hitman Hippo has found himself in this position several times today where he's like on death's bed and he just needs to like hold on the points, but he's really good at it. So we got Kossars, double Zargard coming out. If those Zargard make it to the other side, man, it's going to be brutal. So Tim's got 1 minute and 40 seconds to do this. And the Centaurs are moving. Patriarch is here. He needs to just like ignore this Patriarch though and take that Soul Grinder down here. Kairo's going to be landing on the Zargard here. Looking really, really tight, man. We got some Armored Kossars hustling over to help. We'll see if they can make it in time. The old Zargard with Great Weapons are definitely going to take a pounding from those Centaurs. One of them should have gone around the back maybe for a bit of a flank. He cycle charges. And now there's going to be a Tzeentch army ability going down here. That's going to do a ton of damage against those Zargard if they stay in its radius. On the middle objective, we have the Soul Grinder versus the Patriarch, so quite a duel of fates. And that army ability will do some respectable damage. Hitman Hippo's moving up on the point. Tim is swarming it right here. Here he comes. We got the Centaurs of Tzeentch duking it out, doing very well, and they're already broken. So Buyer Blood has procced, and that ability was just nerfed. So what it does now is it's 5 seconds less. So instead of 30 seconds of Unbreakable, it's 25 seconds, which could actually be the difference maker here. Is Tim going to be able to clutch this? I don't know. He's on it. The capture weight is going for Tim. He needs some infantry here, like some Zangors or something. Kislev's Unbreakable stats here really, really hanging in there, right? Like any other faction, he would have broken and maybe lost that point. Kossovite Dervish is on the way up, and look at the capture, guys. It's halfway. It's going very slowly. Tim is getting some Zangors as well as some Pinks over to the objective. Middle objective is in flux, though. He needs to be careful. So here's the thing. I think Tim might have blundered by not sending more units over to objective 3. Like, just leave the Pinks with the Patriarch. Take the Soul Grinder. You might have actually captured this, but now it's getting really close. If Tim flips this, he just straight up wins. If Tim flips it, he just straight up wins here. Oh my god, 9 seconds left. It's in flux. The Pinks are arriving. Are they on the point? No, Tim needs to move them on the point. Little things like that can probably cost him the game. We'll have to see a lot of units breaking here, and GG, well played. Our new Chaos Clash champion is going to be Hitman Hippo. Wow, what an insane game. What an insane game. Oh my god. That was nuts. That was really close. Like, if Tim sends his Soul Grinder to objective 3, he wins that game. If that Soul Grinder moves down to objective 3, he wins that game 100%. The extra capture weight, the killing power, that was so close. But Hitman Hippo clutching the objectives today. He did it with the Chaos Dwarves, and he did it with Kislev here. Really impressive. Shout out to everyone, man. Hitman Hippo, absolutely god tier play today. Same with Tim the Wilder. They both played really good. We've had great matches all day. So if you guys want to continue enjoying glorious, sweaty Total War content, please do drop a like on the stream on the way out. It helps a lot. Helps keep the old multiplayer engine alive. And a special shout out to all of our map makers as well. We have a lot of glorious map makers in our community who make these great maps for domination mode. Without that, it would basically just be a potato. So we couldn't do it without our map makers. So thank you guys. And lastly, thank you to CA as well for sponsoring the prize for the players. That is huge. So thank you guys so much. It's really cool to see them supporting the multiplayer scene as they are. So thank you guys again. And thank you guys for, supporting the players, which is great. Hitman cutting every game as close as possible. Yeah, I know. Crazy. Crazy. Surprise FFA. No, that's going to be it for today. I got some stuff I got to take care of, and we need to make it official, though. You guys ready? Oh, yes. It's just time. So we're going to copy this. This is I know this is your favorite part of the stream, guys, so, you know. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, Tim. It's Hitman Hippo. You know what? Hippo's just going to teleport magically. There you go. You guys get the idea. All right. I figured it out. Whatever. This is my least favorite part, is doing the tech stuff. So once again, thank you guys all for joining today and supporting Total War Competitive. It's a lot of fun. Love this game. And thanks again to the map makers and the players. And of course to Creative Assembly for paying the prize support to the players. That is really huge. Normally it comes out of my own pocket for the bigger events, but really, really nice to, you know, have them, you know, put it forward for the players. So, all right. GG, well played. See you guys around. Take care of yourselves. And that is going to be it for tonight.